On a rainy day, one of those where it felt like trees could fall at any moment, there he was, Lee Howan, a guy without an umbrella, but he was holding a report that said, "You're screwed, buddy." Unfortunately, he got betrayed and pushed toward a Titan snake, and it looked like it was ready to dine tonight. The guy was screaming, "Why does the worst stuff always happen to me?" But in a twist of fate, he ended up in a place where sucking isn't an option, but a requirement. And guess what? He didn't even have to pick up the tab. He found himself in a totally different world, filled with succubi, all giving him these bright-eyed looks while he stared at the red screen, the expression of someone who just hit the jackpot but has no clue how to spend that cash or get more. Suddenly, our umbrella-less hero became the god of blood, and surprise, surprise, he even scored a succubi fan club. But hold up, it's not what you think, or is it? The succubi were just whispering about how perfect he is. Now Horan's on a mission to suck it up, level up, and dominate, but with all these distractions, will he be able to focus on that XP? Let's find out. At the city hospital, we find our boy, Lee Howan, just an average kid holding his test results. When he was around 6, his parents died on the battlefield between evolved biologists and mutants. He and his sister were passed around from one person to another. They grew up in a really harsh environment with little love, but as life would have it, trouble never comes alone. Just when you think it can't get worse, it truly does. Holding his test results, he sees that he contracted a mutant, disease caused by mutant beasts. This illness basically makes it so people can't handle the energy from extra-dimensional beings and are gradually worn down by it until their bodies become paralyzed and they die. But that process varies from person to person. For some, it can take 3 to 5 days. In another 8 years, all he has to do is go to bed early, wake up early, sleep early, work out, and eat healthy. But no matter how long it takes, someone who contracts that disease is bound to end up in the grave. And since death is imminent, he's lost all hope, poor thing. But there's still one thing shining in his mind, his mom's wish for his sister. For that reason, he fights to stay alive. A few days later, everyone's gathered around that town to kick off a new hunt. One guy is explaining that a few days ago, people saw dozens of level 1 mutant beasts attacking the residents of that area. Their mission is basically to infiltrate the nest and wipe them all out. And just look at their team. Level 1 beasts shouldn't be too tough. That guy over there is Sheen. He's got a higher evolution level. He goes on saying that if everyone follows his orders, they'll finish this mission with ease. So, if there are no more questions, they're heading out now. And there's our pro tag, Lee Howan. He's not the only one who hasn't evolved. Damn, look at the size of that backpack. Are you kidding me? One guy turns to our pro tag and says it's a huge responsibility being the one carrying all the team's stuff. Our pro tag understands the weight of this mission, and it seems pretty significant. For an ordinary human, the only way to join a hunting squad is to be a porter. You don't have to fight, just stick with the team and make sure the supplies are good to go. Nothing more. And after all the battling's done, he'll be responsible for collecting all the valuable materials from the beasts. So there's not much to worry about. After all, this isn't their first rodeo. So in the forest now, the battle is on. The guys are sending a ton of monsters back to base, one using his weapon and another just throwing punches. Those goblins don't stand a chance against the team. And look, there's even a girl taking them down left and right. Apparently, everything's going according to plan. It shouldn't take long to finish up. You see, ordinary and evolved humans are miles apart. Suddenly, he feels the pressure. Some rocks start bouncing off the ground, and he realizes that common beasties can't do that. There's definitely something way more dangerous lurking around. As the ground shakes, we now see something crawling through the woods. Huge. It looks like a dragon, and there it is. A giant snake. Enormous. A level 5 mutant beast. The Titan Cobra. Man, everyone there started, trembling in their shoes. They've seen that creature on TV, but thought it had already been taken down. It initially stares at the woman, who is shaking, wondering how there can be such a massive being when the intel only mentioned level 5 beasts. This is beyond anything they can handle, no doubt, and the whole group starts running. When the guy turns to our protagonist and asks what he's doing there, if he doesn't run, the snake is gonna get him. In other words, the snake's gonna take him. Out! Everybody starts to bolt, including the woman, even in her high heels. As she runs, she realizes she nearly froze in fear because of that thing, but when someone yelled, she managed to snap out of it and started running too. Wow, that thing is really huge, huh? But you all know he's not looking back, right? While the snake is roaring loudly, getting ready to pounce, the snake seems way faster than him, and they just need a decoy to escape. After all, while it's busy eating, they keep running. But the internet's version of Kakashi already has a plan. They've got a decoy. And check it out, he heads towards our protagonist and slashes at him with a dagger, leaving him incapacitated. While Brota can't figure out why this is happening to him or what it all means, before he can grasp what's going on, the guy grabs his throat and tightens his grip. After all, this dude is the only one without any skills in the team, so his value is way less than the others. This means he's gonna be used as bait now. He'd read his file and was diagnosed with a mutant disease. Not long ago, he was doomed anyway. He must have a short time left to live, so it won't make a difference. Before he goes, he should do something useful for everyone there. So he throws some liquid toward the snake. The snake spots our boy bouncing through the foliage, while the guy yells that he should only blame himself for being too weak. He's been done in, betrayed, hurt. Now he's just going to be dinner for that giant snake. It notices the sprout on the ground and gets ready to strike, while he watches that huge mouth coming at him. Is this really going to be the end? Moments that are crucial in his life start flashing before his eyes as he remembers his wounded mother telling him she won't be able to take care of him anymore, and he has to promise her one thing. No matter what happens, he has to look after his sister, stay strong, and survive. Unfortunately, he won't be able to keep his promise about surviving and staying alive and strong. Poor guy. But suddenly, a magic circle appears and he gets teleported to another location. He doesn't know what just happened. After being eaten, what could possibly happen next? Wasn't he just about to be devoured by a snake? And what's with this cool outfit he's wearing now? It must have been because of that red light he saw before he died. He notices some people talking around and there's a man among them. Nico managed to summon a guy. Who would have thought that old scroll would actually work? The girls around are finding him really good looking, definitely a handsome guy. Wow, they hit the jackpot this time. It's been ages since a perfect guy came by. One of the girls says her blood is already boiling, while another says he seems really pumped. Plus, he looks pretty strong since he's giving off an incredible magical aura. All the girls are crushing on him and seem eager to play with him. They can't wait, while he looks around and still doesn't get what's happening again. Why are there so many succubi gathered in one place? And besides that, it looks like he got himself a little system. He's a level 1 player, Lee Howan, a vampire of the Blood Demon God class. No chapters, 100 HP, 100 mana, 10 strength, 10 intelligence, 0 stamina, 10 agility, 10 spirit. Pretty average. While he's checking his status, a girl comes up to him and says she's the one who used the ancient scroll to summon him here. When it activated, the skies and the earth shook. An incredibly powerful magic came out of the ritual, and they were both freaked out. That one over there is a level 3 mutant succubus. Her name is Nico. She thinks that if this power is so huge right after being summoned, it means he must be really strong, and she swears absolute loyalty to him for all eternity, promising she'll never betray him. Check it out. The system is now notifying him that he's gained his first follower, but with great achievements come great responsibilities. The system warns that when a follower's affinity hits 100%, they can be added to the harem, and he'll get some extremely mysterious reward. Interesting. It was at that moment that Liren finally realized he had been reborn thanks to these things in front of him. He gained an even greater power than one of the evolved, and look at that, the Blood Demon God system. This time, he finally had a few months to get his revenge, no doubt about it. But suddenly, one of the succubi interrupts his thoughts. She gets really close to him and asks what's wrong, because he seems so distant. Is it because he slept for too long? Is he uncomfortable? Or does he just want to move around a bit? Maybe some exercise would do him good, right? Nope. He thinks that's exactly what he wants. He wants to move a little, but she just mentions that maybe he needs to touch something soft and, if she can, help him relax a bit more. Is she ready? Are you kidding me? She said she's going to do everything to please you, while the others over there are watching that scene, totally shocked. Nico, being super bold, is trying to take charge and all that, but isn't that supposed to be left for someone else? Nope. That other girl thinks she has the upper hand just because hers are bigger and softer. Pertino tells her to chill out, saying he has no intention of taking advantage of them, and asks if all the butchers around here are like that. Unfortunately, the system notifies him that his affinity with Nico dropped to 85%. She got rejected, poor thing. She thinks the master doesn't like her, but that's not what he meant. Apparently, this affinity thing is a key function of the system. If he wants to get back at her, he should use the power of the system. So he figures he needs to do something to maximize affinity with all of them. He then tells her it seems like she misunderstood. That's not what he meant at all. She's beautiful, and they're all beautiful. He's never seen such special women like them. She asks if he's serious, while the system shows that affinity jumped to 90. She feels all shy, and he starts making excuses, saying he just got summoned and is still adjusting, so he needs more energy. Oh, if energy is what he wants, then she's got it covered. After all, he's a blood demon god. As long as he has blood, he can regain his energy. She then pulls her hair to the side and tells him to drink as much as he wants, saying it would be an honor to feed her god with her own blood. He notices he feels a tremendous urgency, and it seems like there's a natural instinct from his vampire lineage. He can't hold back anymore and starts activating his vampire fangs, taking a nice bite right into her neck. Are you kidding me? Nico's affinity shot up to 92%. Amazing. After getting more blood, he acquired a new ability, blood fusion, and his strength attribute, increased by 1 point. What an incredible new skill. So this system basically works like this. He starts clicking on the screen to see more info in the skill list. Blood fusion is a passive skill. By absorbing fresh blood from a woman, he'll randomly gain 1 attribute point. Each target can only activate this effect once, so he gets attribute points without leveling up. Wow, that's kind of OP. Even though the points are granted randomly, if he has enough targets, he'll get stronger in no time, and it looks like there are plenty of girls around, right? So he's set on getting a bunch of points. After all, that skill is pretty powerful. He asks Nico where he can get more blood, and she just asks him if he wants to keep going. I mean, he can drink as much as he wants, but it's not just her blood he's after. He needs blood from other people too, specifically from women. The more, the better. Apparently, there's a whole crowd there ready for him to drink from. This game seems super exciting, while the girls in the audience are jealous of Nico and want to try it out too. So if Nico doesn't have any more duties, he'll be able to feed a bit more. Then he keeps boosting his attributes, gaining endurance, intelligence. He also got another point in agility, 1 in spirit, 1 in endurance, 1 in strength, agility, strength again, intelligence, agility. Lots of points later on. One of the girls thinks it's all amazing. She's never experienced anything this thrilling before, even if the bite hurts a little. Her heart feels like it's about to explode. It's like they have this deep connection with the master, and he's already there with a full belly. Perfect. He managed to fuse blood with all of them. Thanks to them, he got a huge boost in attributes, but all he had to do was bite their necks, and he thought their reaction was totally over the top. And he's getting more notifications. After all, his affinity with the succubi increased drastically. Looks like they've got pretty sensitive bodies. So, under the moonlight in the succubus city, our guy is lying in his room when one of the succubuses, Nico, sneaks in and shuts the door. She walks in talking about how there were a ton of people outside, and maybe he didn't handle it too well, right? Then she jumps onto the bed saying ever since he bit her, she's been obsessed with that thrilling feeling and wants to have a deeper connection with him, if you catch my drift. Now it's just the two of them. She asks him to let her become a real succubus that night, but when she touches him, she realizes he's way too stiff. Something's off. She pulls back the blanket and sees there's just a piece of wood underneath. Maybe he found something way more important to do than her, huh? And there he is, in the cemetery, checking his system again. Even though he's unlocked a bunch of skills, he's still level 1, but now with 56 strength, 52 stamina, 48 intelligence, 50 spirit, and 43 agility. His stats are looking pretty solid. After sipping some blood, the most important thing now is to seize real combat opportunities. In other words, he needs to level up because he's set on getting revenge on that guy, no matter what. This cemetery is filled with dark energy, and from his experience, hunting squads in places like this are usually inhabited by mutant, undead beasts. If he unleashes his magic energy here, he should be able to draw all the beasts to him. So, he starts activating his aura, showing everyone that he's ready to take on multiple monsters at once. Then, suddenly, several souls start to rise from the graves, asking who dares disturb their eternal rest. They begin to materialize, questioning who he is, and there they are. Several ghosts, a mutant beast, and a level 1 faceless specter. Screaming like a madman, he disturbs their eternal rest, and they're gonna kill him for it. One of them starts sprinting at him, yelling that she's going to take him out, but he just decks her right in the face with a ridiculously powerful punch, claiming that none of them can even touch him. Meanwhile, 3 of them charge at him, and he just throws a left hook at one, slamming the other's head into the ground, racking up more experience. After taking out those 3, he scores 5 attribute points and keeps demolishing those specters, earning even more experience and adding another 5 points. After wiping out a bunch of them, he's racked up a ton of points, and guess what? He managed to unlock a new skill, Crimson Flash. This skill lets him pull off 2 short dashes at 5'2". After spending a lot of time fighting those monsters, he's panting and can't wrap his head around how those guys feel taking on mutant beasts. It's an exhilarating rush. He's now at level 8 and needs to allocate all his points. Looking at his system, he realizes he's not that pathetic little baggage carrier anymore. Now he's got 520 health points and 500 mana. That's a serious upgrade. For now, the attributes that really help his body are strength, endurance, and agility. In other words, he just needs to invest his points into strength and endurance. Suddenly, the system starts blaring danger alerts, and behind him is a massive level 2 mutant beast, the Butcher. That monster is about to send him 6 feet under, but he manages to dodge just in time, the shockwave strong enough to wake several graves in the ground as he escapes unscathed. He's never seen a level 2 mutant beast before, the Butcher. Despite its huge frame, this guy is not slow at all, no doubt about it. He's a monster who's not only fast, but has long-range skills too. A chained axe comes flying at the protagonist, and he manages to dodge again. If that attack had hit, he would have just been another one of those faceless specters. They show up with green names, which means they aren't really a strong challenge for him. But this guy right here has a yellow name. That means this enemy is really tough for him. So now that fate has given him a second chance, no matter who's in his way, he's going to get through and take them all down. Now, to even things out a bit, he's up against first two butchers. He dodges one attack and jumps up to land a kick right on the other's head. After that powerful kick, he realizes it's going to be really tough to deal with these monsters using just punches and kicks. After all, their skin is super thick, so it's going to be hard to hurt them. Still in the air, the other butcher throws his chains at him, trying to trap him mid-flight, but the protagonist notices and activates his crimson steps, managing to slip out of the chains unscathed. That was close. These two really support each other. They're quite the trouble. He then pulls out a rusty, deteriorating steel sword. At least he managed to snag one of the butcher's weapons from his back. It's a bit more damaged, but it'll do the job. While the monster still has its back turned, he lunges at it, determined to end the fight as quickly as possible to save energy. The monster, also ready to slice him in half, delivers an incredibly strong strike, but the protagonist deflects the monster's sword to the side. I mean, trying to go toe-to-toe with a rusty sword is just plain stupid. 8% of his stat points are in strength. This was a direct confrontation. He's not afraid of that big guy. He pushes back even harder against the monster's sword, yelling for it to get out of the way. The monster is now off balance and starts searching for the protagonist. Where did he go? And suddenly, a light shines down on the monster, asking where he's looking, and there he is under the moonlight, shouting that it's too late. He rushes into the trench and drives the rusty sword right into the monster's brain. Just taking down one of these monsters leveled him up 5 times, and now he realizes that fighting stronger monsters is way more rewarding than dealing with weak ones. With that, he hits level 10 and unlocks another skill, a blood ability that summons a swamp of blood in the target area to disable the enemy. Plus, he fires blood blades to seriously injure the opponent, a pretty solid skill. And look at that, what a perfect target to test it out, right? As the monster screeches and yells, he asks what happened to it. Did it hurt to see its little buddy smashed into the ground? But the monster doesn't say a word, just lets out a grunt, and he notices the monster's name has turned green. Does it know what that means? It means it's no longer a rival. He should finish this monster off in a second or two. Then, the monster throws its axe at him, but he easily dodges it, while the boomerang axe comes back trying to catch him in chains. Even though his combat experience is limited, he's got tons of experience as a carrier. He's seen plenty of battles and can evade effortlessly. After all, its moves are repetitive and easy to predict. He's about to take this monster down with his new skill, Blood Burial. The monster grabs its boomerang axe again and begins to charge it up. It's like a lake of blood, but that lake quickly transforms into multiple blood spikes piercing through the whole monstrous body of the Frankenstein butcher, and he bags another 5 points. Fighting strong monsters is definitely the way to go, no doubt about it. Even though he's already read the skill description, seeing it in action is seriously disturbing. A brutal skill, and now he's earned a new title, Zombie Slayer. With that title active, he inflicts 5% more damage to undead enemies. So, early in the morning, with the sun just starting to rise, he thinks this was extremely dangerous, but he managed to score several points. There's just one day, or rather night, that seems to have been worth it. His level is now 11. He has 500 mana, 630 health, and he even has a new occupation, Vampire. With the Zombie Slayer title, he's put a lot of points into strength. Hey, if he keeps this up, he'll catch up to that guy, Shane. They say that dude had a top-notch steel rank, but suddenly, he sees another notification. His daily mission has been generated and completed on time. A daily mission, but he didn't even know he had to complete any daily missions. Naturally, he's about to get a reward. And check out this notification. Before the next dawn, he needs to absorb fresh blood from at least one character of the opposite sex to activate the blood fusion ability. But right after that, there's a warning. Each female character can only activate blood fusion once. If he doesn't complete the mission in time, 5 attribute points will be deducted randomly. And he's already drained everyone, huh? He's in trouble. What kind of mission is this? Drink blood from a woman every day? That's definitely a vampire thing. Plus, there's a penalty of 5 attribute points. What a disadvantage. He drank the blood of almost all the juicy ones in town yesterday, and now they give him this mission today. Is this some kind of joke in this desolate desert? Where in the world is he supposed to find a woman? But suddenly, he gets an idea. Who says there are no women around here, huh? And check out the idea he comes up with. That specter over there is definitely of the opposite sex. No doubt about it, even if he's already killed her. Still, a female ghost. Does that count as a woman? He'll only know by trying, and after he tries, the system notifies him that the target's blood is rotten and he won't be able to activate blood fusion. It's obvious it's going to be rotten since she's been dead for a long time, but there are still a lot of faceless specters around, and he thinks that probably some of them won't mess with him, no doubt about it. So he starts trying to find one that doesn't have rotten blood, but the system keeps notifying him repeatedly that the blood is spoiled, and after 10 tries, he's already freaking out. This is probably happening because those creatures creatures belong to the undead. In other words, they don't have any fresh blood to offer him. All because he absorbed the blood of all the succubi yesterday. Damn, he was way too compulsive. He starts to reset his massive aura, shouting that he needs a woman. Where are all the women in that world? Then, back in the succubi village, there she is, Nico, lying on the bed, saying that the master's scent is still on that bed, and apparently, lying there, it feels like she's in his arms too, but suddenly she gets a bad feeling. She quickly sits up and asks, what's happening with her master Oran? Does he really need her right now? Meanwhile, somewhere else, a couple of guys in suits are driving a pretty fancy Mercedes. They've been searching all day and haven't found a thing. Did they take the wrong route? But the guy insists they didn't. After all, a special magical energy appeared yesterday, even if it was just for a few moments. He's sure it was in that direction. That energy is extremely unique. It must be some kind of extremely rare mutant. Beast, no doubt about it. If they can bring it back to the corporation, they'll get promoted and might even score a raise. But if it's as rare as he says, they really don't know anything about that creature, and it could be really strong. Can they handle that without any issues? Then, a woman in the back interrupts the conversation, calling that guy a huge coward, and warns him that if he keeps acting this way, he won't fit in at that company. He's supposed to move forward without fear. After all, that corporation didn't teach that useless guy anything. The dude apologizes to the leader because he's just worried since he has no info on that monster yet, but she tells him not to stress. She'll handle everything while she's there. Nothing's going to happen to him. Raquel is the leader of the 4 teams of the evolved at Angshan Corporation, Polar Rose Likshu. I wonder why people are so into that name Likshu, huh? She casually mentions that they're not the only ones feeling that magical energy around, and they need to stay ahead of the others. Then, they stop right in front of our protagonist, and he realizes these people are humans. Does their vehicle have the woman he needs? So only the 2 men get out, and one asks if that's the guy they're looking for. The other replies that, yeah, the magical reaction is him, but his magical energy isn't that strong. It barely hits level 2. Poor guy is in trouble. He thought there was a woman in there, but it's just dudes, and it looks like they came to hunt him down. But suddenly, a red high heel steps out of that car, and there she is, saying that based on his outfit, he looks like a mutant vampire beast, which is pretty bizarre. That woman is ranked lower in gold, and she starts to mock the underdog, saying it's a shame he's only a level 2 mutant beast because it's not even worth bothering to fight. She then tells those 2 guys to take him out quickly while she watches, and once they finish with him, they better put him in the trunk and take off. The underdog is pretty excited. There really was a woman in that car, but why does she have to be such a high-level gold? It's going to be tough. In his current state, he has no chance against her, and the red name above her head is the biggest proof of that. Plus, even her 2 subordinates aren't easy opponents for him. One's at upper bronze level, and the other is too. The guy pulls out his dagger with a grin, spots the other guy, and puts on his stylish gloves. The little guy can't just stand around either, but suddenly he disappears from sight, using his flash-like quick steps, and there he is, right next to that lady. She notices his movements, but wonders how a level 2 mutant beast can move so fast. He grabs her arm, which is really strong, wrapping around her like a snake with his arms and legs. She's never been in a situation like this before. It's completely embarrassing. The guys around are getting pretty anxious and tell her to step away from their leader immediately. What is he trying to do with their leader anyway? She keeps asking what this means, why he's hugging her, and he just says he's sorry. He only has one choice to make and bites her neck. Inevitably, the notification pops up. The daily quest is complete, and his strength attribute increases by 1 point. She starts gasping heavily, mentioning how she has grown a lot, and after all, no guy has ever touched her body before. He was the first. She lets out a sigh, and then suddenly bursts out, emanating her immense power, telling him not to be so excessive. That power is so strong that our guy gets thrown back and hits a tree hard. He wipes his mouth and says, "Excessive? Never." She speaks as if she really hates him, getting closer while starting to exude her blue aura, saying that guy only touched her body. The system notifies her affinity level increased to 30%. Unfortunately, our guy left a mark on her neck, and that is absolutely unforgivable. She's determined to turn him into an ice sculpture. Only then will she be able to calm down. He realizes that this woman is tough on the outside but soft-hearted. He's seen many like her, but she's blushing as she tells him to stop talking nonsense, claiming it's just a bunch of fluff while he thinks she seems like the opposite, right? Not considering that she doesn't actually want to kill him. He's still got a chance to escape, but suddenly a letter comes flying from a distance, and it jumps right at him as he catches it. A sneaky attack, huh? She tells that guy to stop hiding and show himself right now, while the dude realizes that this woman is incredibly strong and fast. He only says he has no more intentions, no need for her to get so worked up, and he keeps saying she went for the attack first, so he was just trying to lend that guy a hand. Zhang Zhen, his rank is gold, and the other guy, his name's Baisho Wayne. You get it? Baisho is a gold rank too, and if she doesn't plan on killing him, she better let him stay with them. After all, they're from the elite center. Our little hero is apparently in deep trouble since there are 2 other players with red titles. One's a lower gold and the other a higher gold. What's up with everyone everyone chasing him. Today doesn't seem to be his day. Everyone wants to take him out. She starts saying those guys are from the elite center. Not a chance even in her wildest dreams. The little hero starts laughing as she says that Guy was marked as her prey first. For that reason, they can't turn him over to the elite center. That's just impossible. A platinum player thinks exactly like she said. Only a beautiful, noble, and cold woman like her has the right to own his body, and those two over there aren't worthy. Apparently, her affinity for him even went up more, and she says that guy's already hers. And if anyone wants to touch him, they'll have to go over her dead body. He just thinks that's impressive. This woman's presence is overwhelming. Just by her aura, they've already lost, and now her affinity's at 45%. He already figured out that complimenting her is pretty effective, and he looks over at the girl's companions and says, those two are pretty attractive and strong. They're not gonna lose to those two repulsive guys, are they? In the Zhang NGO group, they don't fear anyone. The little guy already says, the negotiation has failed, and tells the avocado-haired guy to attack first. That guy throws several letters at them, saying that they've already given him a first chance and he asked for it. What a legit twist. The only thing they did was dye their hair and put on a hat. Those letters are just hanging in the air in a chilly fog, and with just one finger, she chants, snowstorm. A frost moves towards everyone there, an incredibly annoying skill, but the little guy is chilling, while the other one thinks the wind is so strong he can barely keep his eyes open. That woman uses snowstorm to restrict her opponent's movements. Apparently they've found a seriously strong opponent, and she notices that the snow melts before it even gets close to him. That dwarf looks pretty tough, but judging by what he says, it seems he doesn't plan on fighting. He's just underestimating them. She then becomes intensely disgusted that the dwarf is underestimating her powers and starts to unleash all her power. She tells the two of them to keep an eye on their guy while she goes in. She launches herself into the sky and chants another spell. The ice music, and a polar rose emerges in the sky. What kind of joke is that, man? She's using an ice flower. Damn, is she mocking him? That massive power looks like a dictama and comes flying super fast, huge, towards the two, causing a terrible shock. Awesome! She hit the mark. Now those guys can't act so arrogantly like they were before. There's no doubt that their leader is amazing. She's the strongest in the group. ONG Shang. And there he is, petrified, inside the ice crystals while the dwarf is just fine. Apparently, he thinks that guy is putting him in danger. He's going to tell everything to his dad when they get back. He can't even defend himself against a woman like that. But the woman up there on the ice said that guy is really strange and keeps underestimating women even more. And he's next, but the little guy Joe said maybe she just didn't get it. His situation is intense, and suddenly, arrows with heart tips hit her guards and they're turned to stone on the spot. Wow, who did that? Is there someone else behind that guy? And then, out of nowhere, she appears. There she is, a voluptuous woman, embracing and calling Uren master. She finally found him. Our boy has never been happier to see a woman and asks her how she got here. She simply says she felt that her master, Uren, really needed her, so she rushed over. As long as she can, be helpful. She's willing to give it her all. Meanwhile, that girl, watching the lovebirds, starts to shake with rage while the two lovebirds are right there. Oh, you're such an amazing subordinate. How incredible you are. You really saved me. And she says, it's an honor to serve my master. That woman is already getting on her nerves, trembling with anger. But she doesn't understand why she's so mad. After all, those two are flirting right in front of her. This is such a huge affront. Unbelievable. But she knows she's not a shallow person. And why did she turn her guards to stone, huh? Is it because of that? So she activates her power, demanding to know why that girl shot her guards. She better turn them back to normal now. Seems like she picked the wrong opponent, huh? And there's that guy right behind her. That guy is super fast. He keeps saying that she took down everyone and now wants to leave. No, it's not gonna be that easy. He lands a solid hit on her, throwing her far away with tremendous force. The blow is so strong that she's knocked back several meters, bouncing through the bushes, while the protagonist thinks that's some next level power. It's really strong. Even an inferior gold leader can't match him. He tells Nico they're no match for him. And there's the disturbed guy in Crocs, but he remembers that the system had warned him that if the affinity with a follower hit 100%, a secret reward would be unlocked. If he wants a shot at survival, he's going all in on this reward. That guy is really strong and he can't back down, nor can she, especially not in front of her master. As he radiates that scorching power, he came here just to face this rare blood beast, but also discovered there's a sought-after piece of candy as a bonus. Not too shabby, right? His luck is unbelievable. If he manages to haul everyone here back to his dad, there's no doubt he's gonna score a sweet reward. And with a grin on his face, he adds that nobody should be scared. This will be over quick and no one will feel any pain. Then the girl shoots several arrows at him, but he takes them all down, charging forward with insane strength, calling everyone pathetic. They're just trash, like the Xiang NGO crew. They can't even tickle him, and now they're staring down a Succubos. But inevitably, the little guy leaps towards her, blocking the guy's view, grabs her, and activates his flash Karmizim skill. He vanishes before the guy can hug her. Where did that guy go? Can a mere level 2 beast really be faster than his eyes? That's just impossible, man. And there he is in the bushes, clutching a Succubos in his arms. That was a master play. He's already used 2 flashes and has nothing left to escape. He needs to snag that secret reward before that guy catches on. He thought that doing all this would crank up his affinity with her, but she's feeling worthless, poor thing, and keeps apologizing. Sadly, her master had to, step in to save her. From now on, she's gonna work harder. She hugs the Prota and gets real close to him while he tells her it's not the time for apologies. Then he leans in and gives her a big kiss, saying that the perfect moment for this is now, while she thinks, but really, master? In the middle of a battle? He just says it doesn't matter anymore and leaves it at that, and she thinks, if the master wishes it, then let's please him. And boom, there's Nick's affinity. It shot up to 99% while that guy over there, who wanted to beat everyone up, is noticing and taking in the scene. Seriously, who decides to make out in the middle of a fight? Dude, what a fool. He's really something. They're hiding to kiss during a battle? Are you kidding me? The guy's exploding with rage. After all, he's still a virgin and they're trying to hook up in the middle of a battlefield. That's unforgivable. He's going to turn their rotten bodies and souls into mere, ashes. The ground starts shaking and cracking under the force of that guy. Potter realizes it's only 1% left, and that's still isn't enough. The guy charges forward, saying he's going to kill both of them super fast, and suddenly he notices several obstacles forming an ice barrier around them, and there she is, messing up his plans again. He says he didn't kill her only because of the NGO group, so she shouldn't get the wrong idea, and she just replies that he talks a good game, but still, lets his enemies live. That vampire over there is her prey. If he wants to touch that vampire, he'll have to get through her first. As the Trash and Jan start a fierce battle inside the ice prison, Leorin has reached the final stage, and Nico's 100% notification has gone up. The kiss in the middle of the master's battle almost made her melt, and now he's unlocked the secret reward. Congratulations. He's been given permission to use Bloodbeak once. By using the Bloodbeak, he should be able to block all attributes and skills. The Blood Demon God gains unmatched combat power, and the duration of the Bloodbeak is 10 minutes. He starts exuding all that blood power, forming a prison. That power starts blasting upward with incredible intensity. The enemies notice the precision and magnitude of that monster's power, infused with blood darkness and with vampiric eyes. He asks them, "Oh, weren't you going to turn me to ashes?" He steps in calmly, and the guy starts sweating bullets, wondering what's going on, but it wasn't a level 2 monster. Suddenly, there's this mind-blowing power. The guy is shaken, and our protagonist, on all fours with that long hair, says since that guy isn't gonna move, he already had his chance and didn't take it, so now it's time to go down. The pro launches a power that starts pulling that guy in. Skill activated, demon hands. He completely lost control of his body and was yanked straight into the protagonist's grip, who grabs his throat tightly. The guy starts trembling and stuttering, begging the pro not to kill him, but the pro tells him he's got it wrong. He wasn't talking to him like this before, was he? He used to be pretty arrogant. The guy starts stuttering and shaking, saying he was too stupid and foolish to recognize the greatness of the lord he was facing, and he begs for forgiveness. But the protagonist finds this scene oddly familiar. Back then, he was also caught like this, by the neck, like a piece of trash just waiting to be tossed aside. The trembling guy hears all of the protagonist's words, and he remembers that this guy is an evolved being registered at the Elite Center, which drastically lowers his chances of being forgiven. So he activates his demon hands, throwing the guy up into the air, and when the guy falls, he gets hit with a devastating punch to the stomach. The shockwave from the punch is so strong that the ground behind the guy gets completely demolished, launching him several meters back, crashing into the ice crystals nearby. He lands far away, battered and even smoking from the force with which he hit the ground. Wow! He starts coughing heavily. The pro gets closer and sees the power and feeling of those who are at the top. He can definitely get used to this. That's the power of the Blood Demon God, an incredible power. As the girl gets closer, she wonders if that's the power of the little vampire that bit her before. Was he hiding this terrifying power all along? But maybe he was letting her win on purpose earlier, while the sugar succubus thinks this guy is truly worthy of being the master she chose. This is amazing. She's completely smitten with him. But Avocado Hair manages to break free from those ice crystals, grinning, and says he's finally out and ready to attack with all his power. He notices that guy's presence and is his posture. When did he pick up that stance? Suddenly, a big vampire activates the Red Storm ability, and soon his body starts transforming into hundreds of bats that swarm toward that guy. The guy isn't a fan of bats and finds them all disgusting, but the bats start biting him at lightning speed. In less than 2 seconds, he's turned into nothing but a skeleton. He devoured everything, nothing left, and scored 5 attribute points. Multiple attribute notifications pop up. Now we've got ourselves a ruthless protagonist. Instead of leveling up this time, he keeps checking his system. After all, golden enemies provide impressive experience. Now he's got the Red Storm ability. Red Storm summons a swarm of bats to attack enemies, dealing massive damage, especially effective against multiple targets. The guy, all crumpled on the ground, is still begging for mercy, but our proto moves in closer, Android 18 style, and asks, "Huh? I didn't catch what you said. Beg a little more and maybe I'll take pity on you." The guy keeps pleading not to die, please. His dad is the president of the Elite Center, and if he lets him go home, he'll give the proto whatever he wants. He guarantees it. Our boy just says, "Oh, so you want to go home? Don't worry, I got you covered." The guy thanks him and the protagonist launches him into the skies. He's not the type who likes to help others. He's just ensuring the guy has a heck of a ride. He throws him high up with immense strength at hypersonic speed while everyone watches this guy soaring above. But the girl realizes that the city is in that direction. Is he really sending that guy to his home? The dude is moving so fast that he crashes through several mountains on the way and reaches the city super quickly, smashing into the Elite Guild building with tremendous force, like an intercontinental missile. The system notifies him repeatedly that he's earned more experience. He seems to have made it home safe and sound, huh? We know he's collected that experience. Now that you've literally arrived, you've made it. And he keeps leveling up, even though his experience points have dropped significantly. It looks like the higher the level, the more experience he gains, but he has to use more experience points to hit the next levels. He turns to the 2 girls. The girl asks what he wants to do. After all, it's her turn now. He doesn't say anything, just ignores her and calls for Nico, leaving her confused about what's going on. He mentions that he needs Nico's help to sort out some issues. Nico is ready to tackle whatever the protagonist needs. Suddenly, she starts glowing, and energy radiates from her chest. It seems like something massive is about to emerge from her chest, like it's hiding something incredible. The tip of a sword begins to appear, the sacred sword of Master Aran, an impressive and enormous weapon. She screams, "Please, Master Aran, take this sword away from me," but in a very gentle, slow manner. The master then starts pulling the sword out, telling her to just hang on a little longer. That special, beautiful sword has been drawn. The soul resonance ability can only be activated when a follower's affinity is maxed out, and through this reincarnation, a special weapon materializes from the follower's body, and now he wields the Black Blood Blade. He gets a really cool piece of gear from Nicole. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. The side story has a few chapters, but I found it pretty interesting. It really fits the channel's vibe. The protagonist is getting super strong. Does he have other upgrades to make him even more badass? If you want to see part 2 like I do, just subscribe down below, hit like, and drop a comment. We're in this together. Thanks. And now, on to the next video. So, he pulls a weapon from her chest. That's pretty creepy. With the strength he has now, he won't even need a weapon to take her down. You can tell she's totally horrified. Is he really planning to use that sharp sword to finish her off? Then suddenly, he just swipes the sword to the side and keeps saying she talks too much. And with just one cut, Lau has shredded parts of her outfit, leaving it all torn up. She looks down and feels incredibly exposed. No way. Now we see her tights and some sensitive areas. She starts screaming, saying this is just some dirty 15-year-old prank. And if he's gonna kill her, he better do it right away instead of messing around. Why is he taking her clothes off? Then he steps a little closer and tells her to shut up. What just happened was just a little test, and if she wants to end this, she'd better head over to the little woods back there in the middle of the bushes. He has something he wants to discuss with her privately. In the bushes now, and she's feeling really embarrassed thinking about what this guy wants to talk to her about out here. So weird. First, he ripped her clothes off, and then he told her to follow him into the bushes. What's he planning to do? Then suddenly, she thinks she gets it. He's just spared her life. He hasn't killed her yet, so there must be only one explanation. This guy, a vampire, has fallen for her and wants to take advantage of her beauty. No doubt that's his plan. Despite being a vampire, he's surrounded only by dark energy, but his appearance and build aren't that different from a human's. So maybe it's acceptable, right? While she's there observing and judging him, he's also watching her. She finds him kinda cute, and following that logic, she knows what's coming next. The dominant being is going to make his move. Suddenly, he closes in on her. She has nowhere to escape. Trapped near a tree, she thinks he's about to start. Now, is she really gonna lose her virginity to a vampire, but that goes totally against morality. Well, if vampires exist, right? He starts to lean in close, his voice calm and smooth, telling her to repeat everything he says from now on. I am your dominated one, Trash, and I pledge eternal loyalty to you for all eternity. I will never betray you. She starts laughing, teasing him, asking what that even means, if it's some kind of roleplay game. But he starts exuding a creepy aura and says he won't let her live to question his orders, just obey. So she begins to recite those lines, breathless, and asks if he's satisfied now, and bam, another notification pops up in her system. Look, you got your second follower. Check out the details. Name, Lickshu, human race, 24 years old, evolution level, low gold, trait, great strength, and extremely competitive. Though she seems cold and distant, she has a pure heart and is a bit narcissistic with a dominant personality. In other words, she likes dominant men, and her affinity with him is at a solid 45%, pretty high to be exact. He moves even closer. She can feel the warmth of his vampire body. The best part? Total coolness. He starts saying that she did everything right and he's satisfied. While she's wondering if he's going to kiss her now, she starts to close her eyes thinking she's about to lose her chance right there. The first kiss, and then what comes next. Even though she saw him get really close, it all happened too fast for her to react. Then he leans back a bit and says, time's up and the reward ends there. She asks, what's finished? Where's the rest, dude? Where is it? He just mentioned that her two subordinates should regain their mobility soon and she needs to take them with her. He leans in closer again and tells her not to spill anything to anyone. She just nods and then he's gone, leaving her all wobbly, saying he can't waste any more time with her. Bye-bye, and she starts stammering, asking him to wait, while he thinks she wanted more. All she says is that if her buddies see her like this, everyone's gonna find it pretty weird, especially out in the woods. She really needs help with that. So he just grabbed his clothes and handed them to her, but she can still feel the warmth and the scent embedded in that vampiric fabric. That's really intimate, and she feels super embarrassed. But then another notification pops up on the screen. Now, her affinity's at 50%. She's totally blushing, right? Or maybe there's something else going on too. As night falls under the moonlight in the succubus village, he's there lying on the bed, checking the system status. A lot happened today. Not only did he reach level 21, but he also unlocked a bunch of new skills. To be precise, more than the blood demon art. He scored 73 in stamina, 48 in intelligence, and 50 in spirit. Incredible. He really got stronger. If he keeps pushing like this, he's going to get a whole lot stronger than before. In fact, he already is, isn't he? So, all of a sudden, another notification pops up on your screen. Now he's hit level 21 and has the right to challenge the Blood Hell Arena. Is he really considering joining? But there's a catch. In that arena, he can't gain any experience, and his injuries won't heal automatically, even when he levels up or backs out of the challenge. However, the rewards for completing the challenge are pretty substantial. Does he really want to step into that blood pit arena? Here's the deal. It means that win or lose, any injury he takes won't heal, and if he gets hurt, it'll mess with his leveling pace. It doesn't make much sense to jump into this right now. It's better to wait until he's at a higher level. Then he'll think about entering when he's got more under his belt. He then stands up and asks the system to open the Blood Hell Arena. The guy thinks one thing and says another, giving off a heavy dark and red aura. He just mentions that they say wealth and power come from taking risks. In other words, he doesn't care about anything or anyone else. Our guy slowly starts to step into that portal, fully ready, saying that he even got a new outfit with some really intricate details. But this doesn't seem like a typical battle arena. Then, another notification appears on the screen. Welcome to the preparation room. Select a weapon for your combat. A weapon. Around him, various types of weapons appear. Axe, sword, spear, shield, all sorts of weaponry. Then he notices two that catch his eye. A two-handed knight sword with 30 agility and 10 strength. There's also a piercing dagger with 30 agility, and check this out, a big battle axe with 15 strength, plus a sun shield with 25 resilience. Each weapon has additional attributes. Any one of them would be a great upgrade for him. No doubt about it, but he doesn't have experience with any of them. So sadly, which one should he choose? One catches his eye. Wow, that long spiral yellow cucumber should really be green, and it doesn't provide any stat boosts, but it has a pretty interesting effect. Attacking the enemy repeatedly causes a brief spasming effect. He grabs the cucumber, starts swinging it around, and says, this is exactly what he needs. This is going to be his new weapon for combat. Seriously, man, what a trip. A cucumber as a weapon. That's pretty weird. Even though the shape of that that cucumber is definitely unique. The ability to spasm the enemy could be useful. If he plays his cards right with that cucumber, he's going to be incredibly dangerous. Why am I finding this so strange, huh? It should be pretty normal, right? Having a cucumber as a weapon. Another notification pops up. Choose one of the following upgrades to aid in combat. Look, there are 3 options. A defense break, where every time he Sao deals damage, the enemy's defense decreases by 1 point. A potion that immediately restores 30% of his health, HP, and an equipment upgrade that gives him a random additional item. He has to choose even without knowing who his opponent will be. So, based on his past gaming experience, he decides to go for the one that reduces the enemy's defense. After all, that option is pretty versatile and highly effective against stronger, higher-level enemies. The tolerance has been activated, and he's being transported to the Blood Inferno arena now. Once in the Blood Inferno arena, the crowd starts screaming. This is the inside of the arena. It's a really cool place, kind of like a coliseum. The arena has a total of 50 levels, each with a special guardian, and if he can take out a few guardians, he'll earn some valuable rewards. And we're moving on to the next level. So now we're looking at 2 red high heels in the arena. Over there, the official commentator for the Hell arena, Blood Hell, seems to be a mix of a succubus. I think she's a half-breed, part human. She just claims she's lovely and charismatic. The little devil knows today's challenge is a powerful crimson vampire, Oron. He starts scratching his ear, saying those guys have commentators. How about that, right? Just look at the audience, a bunch of skulls. That woman starts talking about how he's a member of a very rare race, but also a total rookie. Is he really going to win this tournament? Now she's going to introduce the host, the renowned level 1 guardian of the Night Forest, the fairy who represents omens and death. And there he or she is, precisely opening that door, starting to exude a heavy pressure and a cold wind. All he can think is, what's wrong with this woman? She seems to be crying a lot. She walked into the hall crying. She just said she's the messenger of hell, able to foresee the deaths of mortals. That's why she's always crying. That's the pathetic beast. Wherever there's an omen of death, she'll show up to mourn those who are about to perish, still weeping. She sees that he has an overwhelmingly terrible aura of death. He starts crying even more. The reason she's crying today is because of him, but he only thinks she's saying he wants to die here. That's exactly what she's saying today. He starts looking at her and realizes there's no level identifier. That means the arena has restricted some system functions, so he begins to exude his power and transforms into several bats, flying towards her. But suddenly, she reveals her claws and starts shredding several bats right there, all the while still crying. She says that bats can't hurt her and that he'll never be a match for her. Then, out of nowhere, with this massive, powerful leap that actually creates a crater in the ground, she's right behind him and just says it's over. But suddenly, he pulls out his cucumber, grabs her arm, and manages to dodge those claws while telling her she doesn't know a thing about the tactic of luring and taking out her enemy. If the red storm can't hurt her, then maybe his big, spiraled yellow cucumber can. She just notices that he has a big green cucumber, the best yellow one, aimed right at her forehead. And then, out of the blue, she opens her leg. Wow, what a stretch. And she gives a kick to the protagonist's cucumber, saying she'll never let him touch that. The cucumber flies away, and the commentator is freaking out, saying that dude dropped his weird weapon. It seems like Brangda has a serious aversion to staff-like objects. Could this tilt the battle in her favor? While he's got one of her hands and one of her legs, the cucumber seems to be heading in a completely different direction, while Euron has her completely caught in an embarrassing situation. She tries to break free, but no luck. How can this guy overpower her? Then he throws her to the ground, crashing down on top of her along with the cucumber. He says he didn't expect his weapon to have that kind of effect, and it looks like just looking at that cucumber makes her lose her mind. What's she remembering? He's just telling her to surrender. After all, in terms of strength, he's unbeatable, and she won't escape his attacks. Completely immobilized, he leans in close and whispers that holding this position must be pretty painful. If she doesn't want to suffer anymore, it's better to give up. In the end, there shouldn't be any more divine beings left for her. She, crying, starts screaming, releasing a massive amount of pressure. And he realizes that woman is really strong. The strength in her legs is doubling, tripling now, and she throws him up so hard that he slams against the wall. He just wipes his mouth and says that woman has an incredibly amazing cry. He can't underestimate her power anymore. The commentator is going wild. How did that guy manage to take on the final attack from Baishada? How is he even an alpha? Then she starts saying that anyone who hears that scream feels an absolute fear of death deep down in their heart. That's Baishada's alpha howl. And now she starts singing a haunting tune, gradually breaking breaking down their spirits until they lose all capacity to fight and are finally dragged into the abyss of death. The mental strength of our Haran is only 15. That's not enough to handle all this, but it's tough for that guy to take the beat of the cries. He starts covering his ears while the commentator says that, as expected, Lee Howan isn't going to be able to skip any levels, or rather, ranks. It's like the outcome of this test has already been decided. Then, seemingly in Lee Howan's subconscious, a girl says, "It's been a long time, Lee Howan. Has he forgotten her face?" He realizes it's his mother and starts tearing up. Is this really happening? She just calls him an idiot. Who else could it be? My little Howan has grown up and become an adult. Those last few years have been really tough for him, poor thing. She reaches out and tells him to come take her hand so she can look at him more closely. She proposes they come together as mother and son and never be apart again. She tells him to hurry and take her hand, but he just pockets his hands, completely suspicious, while she says that together they will seek eternity, eternal happiness, and never part ways again. But he doesn't take her hand, and she keeps asking what's wrong with him, saying she's his mother and she's reaching out to him. Doesn't he miss her? But he just says he's been fooled time and time again, stabbed in the back by his own comrades, and look at that, turned into live food for beasts, suffering from an unknown disease. Constantly threatened by sudden death, he barely escaped an accident involving evolved mutant beasts. As a kid, he had suffered too much to believe in mere illusions. His mother risked her life to save him and his sister from that disaster. It makes no sense for him to be lured in and throw away his life like that, just like that. He won't fall for that kind of nonsense. Then, all of a sudden, he shatters that illusion, unleashing his deep power. Those who say he will survive no matter what. Baishida thinks that's all impossible. He really pulled it off. So he grabs his cucumber, now armed with that legendary weapon, while the commentator exclaims how incredible this is. He really managed to resist the Alpha Howl, with his mental strength only at 16, which is nothing out of the ordinary. This is a tough fight, and it's getting scarier by the minute. Then, out of nowhere, he starts to fade away, declaring he finally understands his true power, activating the hidden blood art skill. Now it's his turn. Everyone in the audience, including Baishida, starts searching for him. He can really use invisibility, a beta howl. That's it. Then suddenly, she starts crying even more and gets a bunch of premonitions. She begins to unleash her howl in that arena, and since she can't see him, she starts letting it out all over the place. The entire area of the arena starts exploding with her powerful sounds. The energy from her cries is incredibly potent. Her fourth technique is even more brutal than the alpha, a reckless attack that covers the whole arena. Even if you can go invisible, it won't mean a thing. It doesn't make any sense. But then, as she screams and cries, here comes the cucumber and takes a hit right in the mouth. Are you kidding me? Cry and eat the cucumber. The system quickly announces an upgrade in his break. With her defense activated, he just tells her to stop crying. Her defense dropped by 11 points. What an embarrassing attack, man. Wow, the commentator is shocked. He really broke through that technique. He pulls the soggy cucumber out of her mouth and says, "This isn't over yet, there's more to come." Then he launches a series of consecutive attacks with that long-range cucumber, an explosion of long cucumber action, and she starts feeling the cucumbers hitting her. Consecutive cucumber smacks, breaking her defense over and over. Her defense is getting slashed down drastically, and she starts crying, realizing it's just a cucumber. How can something so simple be so painful and powerful? Her defense drops by 14 points, 16 points, climbing higher. And with each attack, they hit harder and hurt more. She can't keep taking all those hits. He just tells her she can endure more because his assault isn't finished yet. Now an extra effect from the long spiraled yellow cucumber activates. In a spasm state, he keeps attacking, breaking her defense even further. All she can do is cry, saying she can't take it anymore, she can't handle it. Her body isn't moving, and she can't control herself. Now her body is getting weirder, with even more spasms added on and her defense dropping further. 15 points, 20 points, more consecutive losses. After several cucumber hits that even make a crater in the arena floor, she's down on all fours, begging him to stop hitting her with the cucumber, and she finally surrenders. Dude, what a historic fight. I've seen a stick, but this is the first time I've seen a cucumber. Man, they won the fight. The entire audience of skulls is in shock, including the commentator whose jaw dropped. That attack is terrifying just to watch. Her whole body starts trembling. I think she wants some of the action too. So he just points at her and says she's already given in. It's better for her to announce the fight's outcome. She just apologizes and admits she got a bit carried away. Then she starts shouting, saying Baishida has surrendered. The winner of that round is Howan. He earned the right to challenge the 6th or 2nd tier. And check this out, he's also gotten way stronger. He gained resistance to abnormal states, 10 points against mind control, poisoning, bleeding, and other weird effects. Plus, he got a skill point that lets him enhance unlocked abilities for even more powerful effects. He feels more more confident now. It's like a new battle spirit for him. It's not just about the special stats. It also means he can upgrade his skills. He definitely made the right call picking that beautiful, big, thick cucumber. The system asks if he wants to move on to the second level of the Hell Arena. Yes or no. He's already claimed his rewards, so he's not fully healed yet, and he decides to pass. After all, it would be foolish. Better to level up some more before trying again. So he heads back to the Succubus City and right away gets a notification that he's unlocked a hidden skill, Pact of the Victors. Did that skill activate after he left the arena? The skills tab says that defeated opponents in the arena will become his followers outside it, and he can summon them to help in battles. So, does that mean that whiny woman is a follower? She's going to be pretty useful. And if he hits level 50, that means he can summon an entire army. Wow, that's crazy. Then, he notices some familiar sounds coming from his room. He opens the door and walks right into a totally smitten Asukos in a slightly awkward situation on his bed. And she's just saying that even though the master isn't there, his bed totally holds onto his scent. It's so strong that it brings her a ton of happiness. It's literally heaven for her. So, she opens her eyes, feeling that the smell of the master seems to have gotten even stronger. He, completely awkward, asks what she's doing there. She just thinks it's not what it looks like. She wasn't doing anything weird in his bed, absolutely nothing. You guys get it? She just came in to bring him some new clothes since he gave that coat to that human woman. She stayed up all night making sure they fit him perfectly. He ruffles her hair and says he really was thinking about buying new clothes, and now that she brought them, he won't need to do that anymore. He thanks her a lot and asks what he'd do without her in this world. He mentions he's going to keep that coat and will never give it away again, and she feels so happy, thinking that Oren-sama said he can't live without her. How's that for a straightforward declaration, a full confession of love? Alright, I believe that too. It means he wants her to stay by his side for the rest of her life. After 2 intense battles, day and night, Uran finally managed to fall deep asleep. However, some succubi come rushing into the village shouting that there are orcs. The orcs are attacking the village, and suddenly she gets caught and completely immobilized by a big orc behind her, telling everyone to charge in, loot everything they can from the village, and leave nothing behind. He's got a bunch of slaves, and the orcs are snatching up all the succubi in the village. Apparently they want to take them all too. One guy is shouting to tie them all up and not let a single one escape into the orc slave bags. They're loaded with succubi while the guy tells them to grab all the gold and treasures from that hive. But then, out of nowhere, several poisoned arrows strike those 3 slaves, quickly turning them into mere stone. The guy already realizes, who's there? Who dares to attack her subordinates? Is he tired of living? But she only calls that bunch of orcs. Disgusting story. Just bastards looking to raid that village. If he doesn't want to end up like those guys, he better free all the people from her village. But he starts to give off this threatening vibe, saying she doesn't understand the real situation her village is in. What cards does she have to threaten that orc? Then, several slaves jump at her from behind, just for a quick moment, but all of a sudden level 2 blood terror rays activate, and those orcs drop dead in midair. What an impressive attack. And she can only think that this attack, this presence, is none other than Hauran saving her village. Hauran is pretty pissed, saying that sooner or later, that guy won't let him get a wink of peace. Oh, that guy's going to pay. He just tells Nico not to worry. He's there to sort everything out. In his level 3 mutant beast form, the Centurion says, "What's a vampire doing in a succubus nest? This doesn't concern him. He better not get involved or he might end up 6 feet under." But our protagonist is really fed up. He says he carries the blood of each of them in his body and won't say it again. Now he's seriously angry, and it might be too late for that orc to regret it. He starts activating his Winner's Pact ability, and there she is, down and crying, still at his disposal. Nico, watching this overwhelming presence in front of him, doesn't know what to do. As his master, Horan is capable of summoning such an impressive creature with incredibly formidable magic power. Then the orc starts shouting, claiming he summoned an assistant, and his orcs number more than 80 or 100. In other words, he has nothing to fear. The beat starts to exude its terrifying chant, and all those numerous orcs, they're completely wrapped up in his magic, and they start killing each other, boosting his XP even more. Some of them say they've betrayed their orc ancestors and don't deserve to be in this world anymore. Others start bashing their heads in with clubs, claiming that he's abused the weak, killed, pillaged, burned, and that he's a disgrace in their eyes. Then he takes his own life too. More despair is added to our aura. Several orcs begin offing themselves while an orc warrior watches the chaos unfold. It's such a strange thing, a sound that can shake his mind. His head is filled with suicidal thoughts, but he hasn't been completely corrupted yet. He is truly an orc centurion and can't fall into his trap. He gathers himself and says that the honor of the orcs rests on his shoulders, but suddenly, what rests on his head is just a knee pad right against his chin, shutting that big mouth of his while Hauran says, "Murder, pillage, burn. That's the honor of orcs. Pure trash and totally unacceptable." He slams his hand on the ground and jumps right up into the orc's chest, declaring that all that's left on his shoulders is the hope of his entire people. The orc gets thrown up into the air with tremendous force, and suddenly, to finish off his attack, he activates the Crimson Storm, transforming into bats and starts assaulting that orc in midair. But the orc claims his defense is impenetrable. Those bats won't be able to touch him. If it weren't for that weird wailing from the depths of hell, he would have already become a corpse. The aura, incredibly irritated, tells this guy that he brought so many orcs to this village and expects him to fight one-on-one. Is he really that naive? The hollow starts to let out its alpha howl, and Nico uses Love's light to project several beams towards the orc, blowing everything up in the air. He lands on the ground completely skinned alive, while Orhan says that being lenient. With the enemy, it's about being brutal with yourself. He raises his hand and activates his blood power, piercing the orc all over his body. He finishes by saying that the only thing he can give his enemies is to strike when they're at their weakest and take them out in one go. That's mercy for him. Those are just the real rules of combat. New notifications flood the screen, telling him he leveled up. Well, since everything's sorted now, thanks to him, the village didn't take any damage, and the buddies who got tied up only suffered minor injuries. The succubi there say that Haran looks so badass beating those orcs, and after dealing with those bastards, they definitely won't bother anyone again. They just ask how they can repay our dear Haran, all blushing. He steps a little closer, lowers his voice, and says it's the first time he summoned her, and she did a fantastic job. Thanks to her crying, it was super easy to get rid of all those orcs. She just says that serving him is an honor, since now she's become his humble servant. Finally, we see her without tears. She says that as long as it's an order from Haoran, she'll give it her all, but he just mentions that he has an important task for her. They head off into the woods. Damn, that guy tries to take everyone into the woods and he starts to drain her like a legit vampire. As she says that last night he tortured her with cucumbers until she was in that state, she asks why he's now biting her neck and not letting go. She, totally blushing, asks what the important task is. Is it to satisfy his weird kink? She finds it painful, but since it's an order, she'll endure it till the end. Then the system fills the screen again. Affinity with the bite increased to 50%, and daily mission completed. A spirit attribute has been added. He wipes his mouth and says it's not a weird kink. As a vampire, he has to. Drinking blood from someone of the opposite sex every day to stay energized is crucial for survival. He watches her and thinks she looks a bit off. Don't tell me she's anemic. But she quickly bows her head in embarrassment and says that ever since she fought him yesterday, her body has been acting weird and is really sensitive. Every time she sees him, the scene where he defeated her in the arena flashes in her mind. And now that he's gotten so close in this intimate way, her body feels strange again. It's like she's about to lose it. She closes her eyes and breathlessly admits she can't take this anymore, saying it might be totally inappropriate. She apologizes to Haran and says she'll excuse herself for now. Suddenly, she disappears while he's left thinking about how sensitive she really is. Later that evening, by a beautifully tropical lake, she's there with Nico and a few other succubi, chatting about what happened in the village before Haran saved everyone. They feel like they need to repay him in some way. It's only fair. One of the others suggests maybe they could use their bodies to show their sincerity, but she, still standing with her feet in the water, points out that Haran is only interested in battles, and he has gorgeous women like Baisita and that human leader by his side. Plus, she has no experience with romance between men and women. You get how this works, right? How could they possibly satisfy him? And that's where our story wraps up. That's it. The tale's interesting, and I never expected a twist like this after such an epic fight, but I guess it's just what we anticipate, huh? It really can surprise us with new developments, my friends. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment below, and if this video hits its goal and there are more sequels, we'll bring them to you. That's all for now, thanks, and stay tuned for the next video. That girl is still worried because Haran doesn't seem to be interested in her. She thinks he might be, because she's actually tried several times, but she never had much luck. The other one just thinks it's easy to seduce a guy, and that's the secret to getting what she wants. She feels that girl is trying too hard and it's best to leave it alone. She's got a way of making that Lord Haran unable to stop chasing after her. She has a plan, so she tells that girl to take off the towel, and now she's going to teach her some lessons. The girl just asks what she's up to next. Suddenly, the woman shoots out this power from her fingers that hits the other girl directly. The girl can't believe what's happening. What kind of power is this? That girl claims her talent is way better than anyone else in the tribe, but even with that, she'll become a true succubus. Then, we see a tattoo of hearts appear on her abdomen. Later, far away in the succubus city, there's Haoran. The mana consumption of the victory contract is really high. If he wants to up his game in battle, he needs to be more energized. We see on his status screen that he's made some serious gains in intelligence, strength, and even summoning, but he's still not satisfied inside and keeps pushing himself harder. Now his body has even become muscular. The more strength and endurance he gains, the stronger he'll get. For now, he can only rely on crazy workouts to maintain that body. But then, suddenly, the succubus walks into the room still wrapped in a towel. She calls out to Lord Horan and says she knows how she can repay him for what he did for her. Horan starts getting cleaned up, now all buff, and says that Nicole is a cutie, which gets her all excited. She looks at his body and starts blushing completely, thinking that pretty and flashy clothes would make him look even better. But when she looks closely, it seems like his body has been sculpted with a knife or an axe. It's a work of art to her, and she's starting to get really pumped, and her body starts to go out of control. Suddenly, that towel drops, and he looks shocked at the scene, asking what she's going to do. Out of nowhere, that tattoo starts glowing in her eyes, and the system notifies him that her resistance to the alien state activated the pattern, making him immune to lust's control effect. Mac, still back at the hot spring, realizes that girl forgot something really important. Once the lust mark is activated, it can seduce another part. She'll be hooked too. Lord Horan is the blood demon god, and Nicole's floating pattern shouldn't be able to seduce that guy. Wow. She starts sinking into that hot spring, wondering how this is all going to end. Now, the Lord, feeling totally awkward, comments that Nicole doesn't seem quite right. What's with that tattoo she just got? As she's roasting in the hot water, saying it's too hot, suddenly flashes of lust race through her mind with indescribable scenes, and her body feels like it's about to explode. Then, she awkwardly smiles and says that Lord Horan is really handsome and that she can't take it anymore. Out of nowhere, the protagonist hugs her and says he understands her intentions, but unfortunately, she seems a bit out of it, dreaming. Suddenly, Horan kisses her. Then the lovebirds start making noise all night in that house. Wow! And just like that, the night flew by. Suddenly, it's morning. She wakes up feeling an incredible kind of magical power coursing through her body, an endless supply of magical energy. She's never experienced anything like this before. Her strength feels incredibly enhanced. She sees the protagonist still sleeping, and apparently, that strange power is emanating from her after that adult conversation she had with him last night. Shingle, Master Horan, unexpectedly has magical effects. Even though the tattoo she got yesterday didn't work out, she still managed to seduce that master, and it was an incredibly pleasurable and amazing experience. She had never felt anything like it in her life. So, Yoran wakes up to a bunch of system notifications. Follower Nicole has obtained the essence of the bloody demon, and her attribute points have been greatly enhanced. Her level has been upgraded to 4. Lowered? Holy crap. The essence of that demon really has this effect, but the essence of the facial demon can only be taken by followers whose favorability reaches 100%, and can only be used once per follower. Even though that effect can't be repeated, it's extremely extravagant. 4th level down, and that attribute has already surpassed expectations. Are you kidding me? She then starts looking at Master Horan and asks if her performance in the battle yesterday wasn't enough for him. He just says no, she did great last night. She states that it's an honor to be his follower, and now she's completely his. Suddenly, the system chimes in with more notifications about his daily tasks. Please take at least 1 dose of fresh fluid from a sexual horn before the next dawn. Activate the blood-melting platform ability. Whoa, what could that even be? He starts thinking and asks her if, aside from her tribe, there are any weird animal tribes nearby, and if there are a good number of women, that would be enough for him. She begins to explain that it's actually the Bingru people's tribe that they saw the other day. It's on the other side of the forest. They've burned, killed, plundered, and oppressed other animals. There should be female orcs among them, so there they are, near the entrance to that tribe, guarded by 2 watchtowers. But Master Horan shows no fear. That's the tribe she was talking about. Those guys have been intimidating the village for a long time. Now it's time for revenge. He's excited to see Nicole's power. After advancing against 4 enemies and taking in his essence, she's supposed to remember to keep all the women alive. She then starts to channel her power and says she understands. Now she's going to show the power that Howran gave her and take her chance at revenge against those wicked orcs. She ascends into the sky, surrounded by a circle of power that sends bolts of energy flying everywhere. The orcs look on in awe. What the heck is going on up there? She shouts that this is the unmatched power granted to her by the gods to fulfill her vengeance. Now she's going to make those vile guys feel all the pain they've inflicted on the succubus camp all these years. That giant ball of plasma energy starts to grow and begins to obliterate everything in its vicinity, sending orcs flying. Incredible. It's just like when a finishing blow takes down an enemy. They rack up tons of experience points. Every time a follower kills an enemy, they can earn additional experience points based on their target. So naturally, they can gain experience even without lifting a finger. The girl's power is so immense that it leaves a massive crater where the explosion happened. hand. Wow, that's amazing. And she hasn't even used all the strength Master Aoran gave her. She starts shouting, her voice booming, that in the name of Lord Lee Howan, the blood demon, she will wipe out half of the orc tribe all at once. Today's the day those orcs are going down. Suddenly, several warrior orcs come out, telling that succubus to shut her mouth. They think she's just some little succubus with big talk, and what the hell is a blood demon? Is he as tough as our centurion? Huh, I doubt it. But then, the succubus grabs one orc by the face, then goes for another and smashes their faces together, making the two orcs kiss. Are you kidding me? She smashed it. Then she starts radiating some kind of power from her hands and says she's been waiting for this moment for a long time. Now she's going to reveal the secrets of the succubus traditions, and suddenly she grabs a spiked whip and begins cracking it on the ground. Then she starts flying, saying this is going to be the perfect way to send those guys to their graves. The whip is huge and bright pink. That succubus is determined to send everyone to the pit all at once. She starts using the whip skill, hot and furious, cracking it across the backs of those orcs. The system starts notifying Oren with a bunch of XP points that he's already earned, and he's reached 5 rebound points per day. It's all in the system's hands now. Then he gets another 5, and then 10, and even more. It's all rolling in without him doing a thing. That's a pretty suspect way to level up a follower, huh? Nicole is really helping him level up way more efficiently and super fast. What skill will he pick up at level 25? While the system tells him to level up to 25 to gain new skills, he just watches and keeps racking up experience. The skill bar pops up. Night affinity in dark environments increases movement speed by 30%. Critical hits will cause bleeding effects, dealing 0.5% of max health per second, lasting 5 seconds. Oh boy, now Raulum is fired up. He's getting stronger at night, and the darker it gets, the better. From now on, he'll have to fight at night. This time, he's really become a vampire, body and soul, while still racking up tons of experience without lifting a finger. As night falls, there she is, Succubus Nicole, standing on a mountaintop surrounded by orc corpses. She just keeps saying that those are the kind of orcs that run around everywhere. How disappointing. She was looking for stronger orcs, and suddenly this huge, muscular female orc shows up and calls her a stuck-up slut. She's ready to teach those succubi a lesson. Finally, a female orc has appeared. So here he is. It's time to complete his daily mission, but that orc doesn't even notice when the guy sneaks up on her. He starts baring his teeth and just tells her she's not welcome here, and then he bites right into her neck. But I think she didn't mind that bite at all. His daily mission was accomplished, and now his party attribute went up by 7 points. A little while later, a few hours pass, and he's got a bunch of female orcs tied up. In that first battle of the Bangaroo tribe, Nicole took out about 178 enemies, a seriously high number, and he managed to capture around 30 female orcs. Absolutely phenomenal work and extraordinary results. After she was promoted to level 4, she became super strong. Huh? Nicole asks if that town is a good place for him, and he just looks at those women and says that with her magical power, she must be able to extend the petrification time of those love arrows, right? So it's better for her to take those captives back to the village and petrify them to preserve them for future use. What kind of use is that? She just said she'd do as ordered. I didn't even know there were red-haired orcs. Now, if he can keep those female orcs in check, he won't have to worry about daily missions for a long while. After all, his daily blood supply is secured, but he wasn't the only one getting rewards. She also found an orb, an isolated aquifer, and discovered that it's a common item, and she plans to use it. He picks up that item and realizes the orb is some sort of magical accessory. Once consumed, it can raise the upper limits of speed and magical value, plus it can block the evil spirit from the outside world. In other words, if she eats that, it can keep his evil spirit at bay. But what if he eats it too? He won't be detected by the evolved ones when he goes back to the city. Basically, no hunter will be able to tell that he's a vampire. Pretty interesting object. So he consumes it, and now he's taken another step closer to his revenge. He's all set to return to the city and relive the past. The next day, after Lionheart finishes his daily task of wearing the glasses he captured, he tells her that he's leaving, but she doesn't believe he really has to go. Did she do something wrong that made him unhappy? But he just says he has matters to deal with, so he needs to head to J City, and he'll wrap those up in a few days. No doubt he'll check in about his orders when he's not around. He doesn't want her to worry. He tells her to treat that village as her base and take out any enemies that come within a 10-mile radius, and if she encounters any female monsters, she's to follow all those old rules, if you catch my drift. So, with his preparations complete, he sets off towards the city. The two watch the ship take off while Baishata asks what he has to do in J City and who might be waiting for him there. Nicole doesn't know either. After all, Master Horan's thoughts are something they can't predict. As night falls in J City, there she is. That girl thinking about Master Horan, so that's his name. She keeps folding and smelling the clothes he gave her. The night passes, and morning comes. That girl fell asleep on top of the... Horan is watching her sleep in her room. She wakes up and asks what that noise is, still hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. There he is, all sweaty, training in her room. She starts to sit up, looking at him as he asks if he disturbed her. She jumps in surprise and gets chills all over her body. She asks how long he's been there and how she didn't feel his presence and how he knows her home address, but he just says she swore loyalty to him, that he can sense where she is, and it's nothing weird. He just stopped by to visit his subordinate. He asks if she needs any help. She replies, of course not. Suddenly, the system says her favorability has gone up 63%, and he just mentions that he needs her help with something really important. The task at hand is for her to help him find someone, Shen Jingjing, an advanced evolved from the elite S-rank center. He wants to know everything this guy has been up to during missions. She looks at him and says, that's a pretty strange question, especially since she's also the leader of the Han group. Does that connection between that guy and her group still exist? One more thing he needs to know. She asked why he looks at her while smiling. Why does she always sleep in her clothes at night, curled up? And why does she keep repeating the words he said to her that day? What was she dreaming about? She feels completely flustered and starts to sweat. Now she's blushing and stammering. That is... Then suddenly she remembers her dream. He was on the couch while she was sitting there saying they should finish what they started in the woods, but he was just telling her that from that moment on, he wouldn't be a knight anymore. Suddenly the alarm goes off, so she quickly runs out of there. She needs to escape, get out of there, because she has work to do and the things he asked for will be sorted out quickly. As soon as she gets off work, he's stuck thinking that her reactions were way over the top, way too complicated to figure out. Seems like that dream really got to her, huh? What do you think? In the underground parking lot of Hongshang-wu, she's standing there thinking about how this guy actually saw her ugly face in the dream. How is she ever going to look him in the eye again? And there she is blushing, just assuming he's probably laughing at her. So embarrassing. Suddenly, someone gets closer. I wonder if she's Trash and the team leader. Trash. He's got some issues and wants to sort things out with her. Just a few days ago, there was a magical explosion in the area. Does she even remember that? 2 guys. One looks like a pimp and the other has a shiny bald head. This guy keeps talking about how his brother and Wayne and their crew went to investigate, but they both got killed. Those 2 are the short guy and the one with avocado hair, and he starts saying that his brother's body was dumped on top of the elite center building. And as far as he knows, that team was also looking into that magical anomaly incident. Even Yuno, who used to be the top dog, met a violent end. He adjusts his glasses and stares at her intensely. But what's really puzzling is that she and her buddies made it back safe. She narrows her eyes and asks what he means by that. Is she implying that she killed his brother? Clearly things are getting tricky for her. Even the legendary Yu Yu is there, investigating those deaths. The illustrated head dude starts snapping his fingers and radiates his power, telling him not to waste his words on her. That's the advanced golden selector, Pharaoh King. The only real conversation they're going to have there is going to be with their fists. So, she's ready to talk. Every step he takes toward her is packed with an intensely hot power. The guy's body tenses up, getting ready to throw a punch right at her face with his explosive fiery fist. But when he swings, he slams into a shield of ice she just conjured up to defend against the attack. She stumbles back and starts summoning ice spikes, questioning whether this is how they settle things at the Center of Excellence just because they have a legendary figure present. He thinks he can be all arrogant and rude with women, but that's not how things work. This is Tailu's office, and everyone up there is hard at work. If he wants to fight her, she's ready to throw down until the very end. The guy just tells her not to get the wrong idea, but a subordinate of his is like a brother to him, and he's pretty impulsive, though his heart is still completely kind. He doesn't mean any harm toward her. He just wants to know what she found that day, if she has any leads on her brother, or anything weird, or some kind of beast or monster out there. She starts lying, saying that when she showed up at the site that day, all she saw was a skeleton and nothing else, not even a shadow of a strange beast. Is he satisfied now? He thanks her, and she takes off. As expected, she's now a target for the Jianingui Center. Things are getting tougher, and she doesn't have enough power to stand up to those guys. She starts sweating, thinking most evolutionists only reach the superior gold level in their entire lives. Breaking through to the cobalt star level is genius level stuff, not for just anyone, and the legendary level is even higher than the stellar diamond, being the absolute best among all the geniuses. And Yu seems nice and friendly, but dang, I thought he was just a guy. But she says he's a dangerous person, hiding daggers behind his smile, and she's going to have to remember him. In other words, she'll have to tell Oran everything. And over in the parking lot, the guy is furious. Extremely upset, annoyed, and feeling like he's going to throw up, the guy asks what's going on with the master. Does he need to see a doctor? But it's nothing serious. It's just his obsessive disorder flaring up again. He's the first to admit it, the first to spill everything to John Jones. All he can say is that her hairstyle is awful, it's asymmetrical, and she smells terrible. He's so embarrassed to see her, and that just makes him feel even more uncomfortable. Now all they have to do is grab those 2 junk team members and then they'll uncover the whole truth. If what she said doesn't match up with what they've said, that's when they'll know if she's telling the truth or not. They're going to grab all three, and only then will they bury his brother. So, as night falls, there he is, still Horan, racking up more XP without doing anything at all. He's already hit level 27. It seems like Nicole's lackeys haven't been lazy, even though the experience needed to level up is steadily increasing. He needs to level up faster and faster, and he also needs to boost his follower count, otherwise his upgrade process will hit a wall, and then he earns a new title, Official Combat Command Battle Fighter. Everything he desires will come true. Actually, that just gives all his followers a 10% boost. By using Liu Yu, all attribute values go up by 10%. That's way more dangerous and way stronger than one dead killer. Then, out of nowhere, she shows up saying she's already figured out everything he asked her to find out. Chang says he's going to lead a team that will be leaving the city for a mission at 10 p.m. tonight, and that team has 8 members, all of them elite steel level. Those details are all laid out in the mission, along with a list of team members, skills, movement, family location, contact phone numbers, and other info. It's all right there in that dossier. She did a great job. But unfortunately, that's where her abilities stop. She can't gather any more information about him. He starts looking at that dossier and asks her if she considers it to be insufficient. That's everything he needed. Just then, another notification pops up on his screen. Now her popularity has gone up by about 1%, reaching 69. She puts her finger to her mouth and says it was just a small effort, nothing significant. And even though he praises her like that, she'll never be satisfied with just that. But he changes the subject and asks about the box she's carrying. That's a little gift she brought for Oren. Several level 6 magic potions, Argaksan, Chan, and 500 magic points, an advanced life potion, and a main life potion. Plus, there's an amazing piece of armor, the golden shoulder pad, which has 30 defense, silver armor with 10,000 defense and 18 physical strength. It also comes with defensive gauntlets, and a killer sword that adds another 126 strength points. To him, it feels indestructible now. That's really a crazy set of gear. It must be super powerful and expensive. He doesn't have the money to repay her for all this. Why did she give him those things out of nowhere? She sits down, saying he's now become the target of the elite center, and his opponent is even legendary. He needs to be ready, and she just hopes that when he is, those equipment and potions will help him a bit. He leans in closer to her and looks deep into her eyes. As she gets startled and starts trembling at the base, she asks what he's doing. He then kisses her right on the lips, and now his affinity with her has shot up by 73 points, not 83. She's shocked and breathless. It's her first kiss. He just took away her first kiss. He smiles and says, "Thanks for the kindness, but now there's something much more important." So what he needs to do is that system kept the equipment but hid the visual effects. There's still quite a bit of time until 10 o'clock, so he decides to check in on Shan Yu at Jay's high school at level 1. There she is, Gi Roran Lee's sister, Shan Yu. He walks into the classroom completely invisible, mentally apologizing. His current identity is really risky, and he can't afford to be seen in public. If she recognizes him, he fears it could lead to unimaginable disaster. In that world of evolution, being weak is a cardinal sin. He has to keep getting stronger, 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 extremely overpowered. Only by seeing it that way can he qualify to stand openly beside her. Raoran is becoming increasingly determined never to be underestimated by anyone again. Suddenly, she turns her head and notices the open door. Was that just an illusion? Then tears stream down her face, and she feels completely strange. How can she cry just from seeing the door open? Then, at 10 o'clock, there he is, slaughtering a monster bear. Mission accomplished. That's the master of fine steel, Shen Gizem, the guy who sent the protagonist packing. He needs to gather up all the gear from Commander Bear and anything recoverable from him. The guy starts to butter him up, saying that not even a 3rd-tier Earth-level Master White Bear could stop his sharp sword. The captain's current level has been bumped up to Silver Scale. This means that guy's worthy of being their champion and captain, but he doesn't give a damn about the brown noser, telling everyone to cool it. And the blabbermouth kissing up to him wants them to hurry up and get it home. Then he's planning to take a nap. Suddenly, Oren pops up. He just wants to go home and catch some sleep. He's overthinking things. If those guys want to brown nose him, they better hurry up while they still can. After that night, they'll never be able to suck up to that guy again. The dude starts pulling out his dagger and asks if he and Aurora weren't dead after being stabbed by his sword. How did he escape death in that giant python's mouth? How's that even possible? Aurora says nothing is impossible in this world, just like he never thought someone would pull a knife and attack their teammates without hesitation. Oran starts to give off a terrifying pressure and says she's there specifically to send him to the grave, to make him pay for all his sins with his life. The guys start laughing, saying Haran isn't even an Iron Awakened, and what's up with that Dracula outfit? The dude steps closer to Haran, saying the captain decided to sacrifice him for the greater good of the situation. Does he think the captain made a mistake? If he wants to blame someone, he can blame himself. After all, he's the one who was weak. Besides, he should be dead right now, and if he's not, he will be soon. Everyone's geared up and ready to go. Why did he come here just to annoy them? And look what he's got in his pocket, 200 bucks. Considering that as personal compensation for his lost money, that's just an invitation for him to forget everything that happened. But inevitably, Aran draws her sword and delivers a precise strike right in the middle of the guy's neck. Out of nowhere, before he can move a muscle, his head hits the ground. Aran doesn't want money. All she wants is revenge. The guy now realizes Aurora means business, that he doesn't have any aura. He's just an ordinary dude. How did he manage to kill Chang, who was at the elite iron level? That's impossible. He starts to tremble and thinks that guy must have been careless. Then how did he manage to steal gear? He screams for everyone to kill that guy for revenge. Then, one of the mages, he starts to levitate, calling Haran a piece of trash for killing an iron level guy. Now his bad luck is never coming back, because he's about to die. He begins to emanate power from his hand and unleashes a thunder shock. That guy is intermediate level, and the shockwave is incredibly strong, causing an explosion throughout the forest. Then he lands back on the ground and starts examining the explosion site. After all, he hit a weak person with full force, so there's no way that guy could survive his lightning strike. But before the smoke can clear, he's already gone to the grave. An upward strike pierced his skull, and he gained another 5 attribute points. Holy crap, he just killed 2 people, and everyone's left in shock. Haran starts walking out of the smoke, sword in hand, saying that was the full force attack of an intermediate tier enchantment. He just felt a little numb and let that hit land to gauge those guys' skill level. He spots another guy over there, caught off guard. They really have a long way to go before they reach a higher level, and he's super weak. Who's next? The guy starts to wonder if this isn't just some ordinary person and that he's been hiding his abilities. But even if he is strong, he's just one guy. If everyone attacks together, they can take him down. So he signals everyone to charge at Haran, thinking he's all alone. But what makes them think he's on his own? Suddenly, there she is, sneaking around, smashing both of them with a single strike, saying channels like this won't be able to touch her master, and they don't even come close to his level. She starts dismantling everyone on one side, while the big guy takes out a bunch on the other, and he keeps racking up XP, leveling up and gaining another 5 attribute points. After taking out everyone, the embassy claims they're going to finish off the rest, but he puts his hand on her shoulder, and she gets all tingly as he tells her not to worry about the leftovers. He's going to take care of that last guy hanging around while the others start sweating bullets. He's really surprised that a loser like him can pull this off, but he's already caught on to the trick. Even though he's hiding in that body, his magic is going to be revealed all at once the moment he makes a move. And that beast next to him keeps jabbering away, calling him master. So it means he's not even human anymore. That guy has given up his sanity and humanity just to take this dude down. Aurora said this is all thanks to him. What qualifications does he have to judge Aurora? But the guy stays disgusted. How can he come back from hell just to seek revenge? Is he really that confident he can take on a higher level silver? Unfortunately, he miscalculated big time because his last mission was wrecked by a 5th level monster, and he was well prepared for it. Then he starts injecting some weird liquid into his neck and gains this strange power, saying it's his dad's new drug he bought on the black market for a ridiculous price. His whole body is about to get way stronger than it already is, and he can even break through his level cap in no time. Now with that liquid, he's hit the mid-tier level of silver guys, and he's going to die before he gets his revenge. But the hour is drawing near. It's already nighttime, and he's not going to get a chance to face him. The guy charges at our protagonist, yelling about what he means by nighttime. He doesn't understand how powerful he is now. Not even a higher level silver can keep up with his current speed. In other words, he's going to be unstoppable, and there's no way he can escape the fate of being killed by him. But suddenly, the spider remembers that at night. He gets 30% stronger, but he also loses 0.5 from his max health for a few seconds. This guy says that uranium can't run away, but suddenly a bunch of attacks start coming his way, and he's totally lost about where they're coming from. He just thinks it's all impossible. Absolutely impossible. He takes a shot, and his eyes can't keep up with how far he is, so the attacks pass right by him, hitting back for what he did earlier. Now he's in a bleeding state, losing 0.5 from his max health for a few seconds. Right now, that bleeding state makes him lose 5% of his max health over 5 seconds. While more attacks keep raining down on him, he's bleeding more and more, losing health, and he just can't take it anymore. Fueled by rage, he yells, but Byakushita hears him and realizes her master clearly had a chance to finish that guy off with his blow, but he held back from landing a fatal hit. Apparently, that guy is loving the feeling of tearing the other one apart, bit by bit. As he starts to tremble, cornered and with no escape, how's he going to get out of this? But this guy is hell-bent on not dying to a loser like that, and he's ready to kill, even if it costs him his own life. Suddenly, Suddenly, a sword gets stabbed into his chest, and there's Rao behind him, whispering in his ear that this is all he needs to do. Return everything he took, and also that he has an old friend who's still hungry. You remember his old friend, right? But that's all we have for now. Peace, if you want to recharge, just send a super chat. That way we can unlock new parts. Helping out with a ridiculously low amount just to boost the video, around 20 cents is all it takes. Thanks for watching and stick around for the next video. Zizan just collapses on the ground, and our crazy guy Le Laurent takes the chance to keep draining health from him with his ability. Blood is pouring from Zizan's eyes as he begs Leorin to kill him because the pain is unbearable. Man, Leorin just laughs and mocks Zizan, reminding him how not long ago the dude was all cocky, wiping the floor with him, and now he's begging for mercy. Then, Leorin pulls out a health potion and says he's not going to kill Zizan that easily. Instead, he's going to heal him, and that's exactly what he does. Dude, he gives Zizan a potion that restores about 500 health points, but as soon as Zizan feels better, Leorin stabs him again. He says he has plenty of health potions for him. His plan is to stab him every 5 seconds just to keep Zizan in a state of eternal pain and despair. What a jerk. With the little strength he has left, Zizan complains that he's Hauran. It's so cruel. He's Hauran and doesn't show any mercy, revealing the final stage of his plan just to show how cruel he can be to Zizan. He says he's going to throw Zizan into the giant piton, letting the snake have him for lunch. How crazy is that? Meanwhile, Ida realizes he's Oran, loving to taunt his enemies. She remembers when he tormented her in the arena and concludes that he's a certified sadist. Meanwhile, Yugi gets some intel about a strange mana wave approaching. They say it's close to the squad's mission, and he immediately radiates a terrible aura, ready to hunt down whoever killed his brother. After Leoran finishes off Zizan, he drags the body to where the piton is and lifts Zizan's head so he can see what's about to happen. Zizan realizes the situation is dire and starts begging Leoran not to go through with it. Poor Henrique reveals his fear and says he doesn't want to be piton food man, but Leoran ignores the pleas and, without hesitation, cuts Zizan's throat, tossing the body into the piton. The snake catches it mid-air and swallows it. Oh my god. Once the viper finishes devouring Zizan, it turns and slithers away as if nothing happened. Leoran is shocked to see the snake, already leaving. Then he realizes that the serpent doesn't see him as a threat because he was labeled as a beast. By taking down Gizan, Leoran hits level 30, unlocking a new insane skill. The system displays a unique resonance ability, saying that when a follower's affection reaches 100%, their soul will resonate like that of Adelaide Auran, generating an exclusive power equipment. Auran realizes that the skill activates at max affection, but he's already felt the resonance of Nikos' soul, even though he's only wielded a blood sword for 10 minutes. The weapon's stats are ridiculously powerful. At that moment, Leoran realizes he can generate exclusive equipment from all his followers, which basically means his potential is limitless. Ida's affection is at 50%, while Desoju is at 83%. Aoran decides he needs to focus on his life right now because things are getting intense. Out of nowhere, the system sends an alert saying that an extremely dangerous target is approaching. It advises him to disappear immediately. You know what I mean? Leoran doesn't take the warning lightly and yells at Ida to cancel the summoning. Meanwhile, Yugi zooms in at full speed and makes a thunderous landing that causes a huge explosion, but he finds no one there, not a single creature, which leaves him super confused. You getting this? He senses a weak presence in the area, but suddenly the blood trail he was following disappears right where he is, and Gu starts wondering where the hell the beast went, since it's clear it didn't just vanish into thin air. Suddenly, Apatu bursts out of the forest, charging towards Hugo. Hugo's flying up high and thinks about ignoring the weak level 5 beast, but when he looks back, he notices something weird about Piton. He sees an extra horn on Piton's right side, and since Hugo hates anything asymmetrical, he decides that Python needs to be taken down. Meanwhile, Leoran has managed to escape the mess by sinking into the sand. He realizes the system warned him because the guy he mentioned is out for revenge. Leoran Hay comes to the conclusion that the pill of the magic blow can hide your presence, but in combat, it leaks right through human. He decides he needs to keep a low profile until he reaches his full strength. The system notifies Leoran that all his gear will be disabled, and he needs to pick his next weapon for the upcoming battle. Leoran realizes he can't leave the arena until the fight wraps up. In other words, he's in a risky situation. Even without equipment, he thinks he can still get his hands dirty since he's now a level 30 vampire. He checks out the available weapons and notices that their stats are better than last time he was in the arena. He figures it's because he's stronger now, but he still has several weapons to choose from in the booth. He remembers that last time he found a cucumber with a special advantage, so he believes he might score another weapon like that. This time he finds a heart-shaped mini whip, and without a second thought, he chooses the whip. It doesn't have any bonuses on the stats, but if he hits both himself and the target, they enter an excited state, which boosts both of their attack power by 1% for every 100. Now he's shocked to see that the whip has a high-risk, high-reward system that increases both both his power and that of his enemy, but he thinks he can dodge the attacks, meaning he'll come out on top without taking any major risks. After selecting the whip, the system displays the upgrades he can choose from. One option is Adventure Mode, which makes him lose 50% of his HP right away. If he wins, the rewards go up by 20%. The next upgrade is Good Buddy, which can randomly summon a follower to fight alongside him. Finally, our boy just unlocked the last upgrade, Turtle Shell, which reduces the damage he takes by 90%, but also decreases the damage he deals by 90%. Like, what's the point, right? Then Lauroran, our protagonist, pauses to think about the upgrades, and soon realizes that Adventure Mode carries way too much risk for so little reward. And the Turtle Shell upgrade is pretty passive, my friend. Plus, without knowing who the opponent is, it's pointless. Totally useless. On the other hand, Roran notices he has 3 super strong followers, and no matter who he picks, his chances of winning are high, you know? So with that in mind, he decides the ideal upgrade is a companion, because who wouldn't want some support, right? A system randomly chooses one of his followers to provide some solid backup. Then we cut to Chunrei, who's in the bathroom freaking out, wondering what might have happened to Laurora and if someone has captured him. So, feeling that weight on her shoulders, but then her mood shifts quickly because she remembers how strong Laurora is, so she calms down a bit. Suddenly, a light appears in the bathroom and boom, shower pulled to the arena. I mean, come on, what a crazy situation. And she's there naked, and then the system gives her an outfit. But before the clothes even show up on her body, Leroy has already sneaked a peek, you know? And the guy is left speechless. The system finally outfits her with some shorts and a tank top. So confused, Chori steps into the arena and says, "Leroy, what's got you thinking so hard, buddy? Why am I here?" A lion tries to calm the girl down, saying he didn't see anything and was just evaluating her skills, if you catch my drift. But then, Chewie can't help but laugh when he hears that because, dude, he's holding a pleasure whip. Like, seriously, what a situation, man. Soon, the commentator jumps in, announcing that they've just entered the arena, and today's challenge is in their hands. Their big opponent is the Flame Witch Baloo, the real master of fire, flaunting all that power. And when Baloo shows up, man, her appearance is terrifying, with flames raging all over her body, a true walking lava. She's surprised to see 2 opponents ready to face her, but she's not intimidated, saying she won't back down like a coward. Watch out, she's about to turn everything in the arena into ashes. And now she's throwing fireballs the size of cars. Are you kidding me? It's creating terrifying craters on the ground. Even Ronan's jaw drops at that, thinking the raw power at play is just insane. He quickly realizes that using a whip against Balo is one of those really bad ideas because it would only boost her power, just like the damage in the arena reflects in real life. He knows this could end badly. Then suddenly, he remembers that the whip's description says that the target is the same and, like, doesn't count as an enemy. While he's lost in thought, Balo is showing off her powers, proving how fierce she is. She looks at Leo Ronan and says she doesn't care how many there are. She'll wipe them all out without mercy. And at that moment, she unleashes another wave of fireballs, showing no mercy. But Chun-Li, fearless, raises an ice wall to block all those flames. She says she hates anyone with fire attributes and guarantees she'll put out Balo's flames real quick, making it clear that Balo isn't on top just because of her fire powers. Balo doesn't waste time and fires back that she also dislikes anyone with ice powers. She warns that she's not using her full power yet, and that things are about to get serious with those 2. Meanwhile, Chun-Li seems relaxed, telling Balo it's all okay. But in the middle of this chat, Chun-Li bends down to stretch, and guess what? Leo hits her with the whip, activating its effect, and leaving Chun-Li kinda hyped up, boosting her attack. Power by 100%. What a twist. She asks, "Why'd you hit me, dude?" And he replies, "Just bear the pain because the plan's changed." Like, what a trip. Leo starts hitting her repeatedly while trying to find the right angle to deal more damage. The commentator, watching the scene, is stunned by what's happening and begins to question why Leo is hitting his own partner. And the shouts from Junie and Calm throughout the arena give everyone the impression that this fight is for real. But actually, it's a strategy. Baloo, not quite getting what's going on, feels embarrassed and starts to wonder what's up with those 2. Well, to her, it seems like they're just clowning around while fighting, and she can hardly contain her nervous laughter. Chewie's affection level is shooting up, reaching a whopping 90%. What are they even doing? She can't believe that a mid-level executive from Hyde series is being publicly whipped in such an embarrassing situation. She admits, despite everything, the whip does sting and it's humiliating, but at the same time, she doesn't want him to stop. You know how it is, right? Let it keep going, my friend. And wouldn't you know it, her affection level jumps to 92%? She's actually enjoying the chaos. Bye! And she feels this energy energy surging through her body like she's about to burst from how powerful it feels. Soon enough, she grabs an additional 69% boost to her attack power, which is just insane. Horan isn't slowing down either, activating the Battlefield Commander title, boosting Chui's stats by 10%. A total war machine. At the same time, he's gaining power too, because his Night Affinity skill is kicking in, ramping up his movement speed and attacks with some bleed effect. Then the scene cuts to Balu, who just broke through the ice wall, and she starts mocking Chui for having such a flimsy wall. Balu, on the other hand, is furious that they're out here goofing off while she's trying to take them on, and she's had enough of it. She takes a deep breath, and the commentator realizes Balu is about to unleash her ultimate move. Things are about to heat up, my friend. Here we go. She lets out a lava breath, unleashing a massive wave of fire heading straight for the duo. Meanwhile, Juon is laughing and tells Leonore not to interfere because she wants to handle this herself. Total focus. If she's fired up, then so be it. But Juon doesn't back down and counterattacks with a powerful ice blade that dismantles Balu's fire attack in an instant, and Junri's ice attack is just as strong. Balu was an easy target with that fish in the net style, and just like that, he gets completely frozen. What a spectacle. The commentator is in shock seeing this, realizing that you shouldn't mess with Chun-Li's strength. With just one attack, Chun-Li manages to take down Balu, so they come out victorious from the fight. Now the commentator reveals that Lei Roran is qualified for the next level, and the rewards he earned from the battle include fire resistance, boosting his defense, and reducing the damage he takes. Pretty awesome, right? Our guy also secures one skill point that he can use to pump up his powers and make things even crazier. Then, the system throws a question at him. Hey, Lei Roran, are you up for a third level? He finds out that new weapons or upgrades will be available, like some insane move, and Lei Roran is pondering all this. He realizes that his pumped-up attack should breeze through the third level, but hold on. There's a mini whip in the air, which is already leaving him a bit stunned, and his brain isn't exactly working at full capacity, you know? He glances over at Suri and compliments her, saying she did an amazing job and that he's really proud of her. Like, you're awesome, girl! Then, he asks how she's feeling since the situation was a bit weird. Suri, who's all confused, admits she's never felt anything like this before. It's a really crazy vibe, but her body is complaining from the hits. Still, despite the pain, she's feeling good overall. Lei Roran notices that Suri's not in the best shape, and if he moves on to the next level, he might end up in the same situation as her. So he decides to send Suri back home through the sand portal. He's relieved that the arena is working fine, just waiting to see if an enemy is going to want to chase them. The portal opens right at Suri's place, and she immediately complains about her whole body being sore. She asks Lei Roran to help her out and massage her back, and he agrees. After all, it's kind of his fault, right? Not really. But then the system chooses Suri's outfit, leaving her with nothing on, my dude. What an awkward situation, you know what I mean? So if Ri gets startled by nudity and bolts to get dressed, like, help, somebody save me. After a quick change, she flops down on the couch and says she's ready for the massage now. With that look, it's like she's saying, come here, help me out. Leonore can't believe Ri put on black socks just for a simple massage. Dude, that's so intentional. He places his hands on her legs and notices the texture is something else. It's way too smooth. Those black socks added an extra charm, but then he realizes he's overthinking it. Seriously, chill. What's up with you? He notices that the mini whip effect isn't fading away. No way. On the contrary, it's intensifying with every touch. Chun-Li, for her part, thinks the massage is incredible and says Leonore's techniques are next level. Man, the pain is just melting away, and she's really enjoying his touch. Uncle Rima believes Leonore is the first guy who kissed her, and now he's touching every part of her body. It's all so new for her, she's still processing it all. Now Chun-Li is even thinking about marriage because the dude did all this with her, and it's a whole lot of love. This isn't stopping. Her affection meter is shooting up to 96%, and the guy starts shedding clothes, remembering that she wanted to do this. He suggests they just dive into the situation like, let's go for it, babe. But the girl tries to keep things in check, saying she just wanted a massage without crossing any lines. He tells her she's not really ready for this mentally, but hey, she's the one who sparked the situation. At this point, especially after that scene with the whip, him lying on top of her, their bodies close, he goes for it. Call me daddy, bro. The chemistry between them heats up, and Junri's affection shoots up to 98%. Total tension. When Orhan wraps things up with the joy, their affection hits a peak, and they unlock the special reward, the blood kumbri, which is super rare. Ri wakes up feeling energized, like she's had 10 cups of coffee. I mean, it's either the coffee she drank or the tea. She's glowing, feeling amazing. What a crazy vibe of happiness. There was a brother who believes his master opened the doors to a whole new world. A totally new type. Ah man, this is what life's about. The system notifies that his follower, Shui, just got the blood essence and the blessing, boosting her stats a lot. And as if that wasn't enough, she's evolved into Diamond Star, a major upgrade. It's a lot of evolution all at once, bro. She's so hyped, it's like she hit the lottery. Leonore smiles and admits the system is pretty wild, almost like a magical lottery. And check this out, he's shocked to see that an awakened golden tier, like Chunri's, has already been promoted, and he wonders if this will happen to the others too. Then he remembers the blood sword he took from Nikos, and suggests maybe Chun-Ri can make one for him too. You know it's about to get real, bro. Chun-Ri gets excited and says she's ready to give it a shot, all motivated. Leora activates the soul resonance ability, and things get intense. A purple light appears, just like the one that came from Nico's body. Nicole's attention only grows stronger. Johnny wonders what kind of weapon the master is going to get this time. Meanwhile, a black crown emerges from her chest and she's amazed, thinking it's just as impressive as the blood sword. She discovers this crown is the Night Crown, which gives a boost of over 100 intelligence points and 20% more magic power at night. Leonardo admits that an item like that is surreal and starts imagining how he's going to look like a badass vampire. But then he gets a little worried if the crown will show up and mess with his vibe. Then the system applies an invisible mode to the crown just to avoid that whole thing. The system lets him know that the stats will keep rolling, but the crown will stay invisible. Later on, Leonore thanks Chun-Ri for her support and says he needs her. He also adds that he managed to achieve all this because of her, and unfortunately he can't stick around for long. Suddenly, Leonore makes a face like he's about to leave, and before he goes, he asks to borrow some cash because apparently Chuvinia has some money, right? I think it's a bit much to ask for money, like, bro, seriously? It's their first night together and he's already asking for cash. Are you out of your mind or what? She chuckles and even though she finds the situation a bit weird, she says what's hers is his too. She assures that Leonora can take whatever she wants, no problem. Right after grabbing some cash from her, Leonora takes a trip to Zayu's school to drop the cash on her desk. When Kaim opens the backpack on the table, what does he see? A nice surprise. It's stuffed with money. After leaving the cash there, Leonore also wraps up her mission of the day by grabbing a quick bite from a student who thought she was just bitten by a mosquito. What a wild move. The guy is fast. Our boy isn't too thrilled about being able to see Cheyenne, but can't even say hi to her. So, to keep everyone safe, he decides that laying low is the best option. Man, hold up. That girl better use the cash wisely because he had to swallow his pride to ask his sister for it. Deep down, Leonard just wants his sister to be happy, even if that means not getting into a top college. When Chirino goes back to work, he can't stop thinking about Leon Horan and starts groaning in the office. It gets pretty awkward, right? He snaps back to reality when a teammate walks in and catches on. Feeling uncomfortable, he's shocked and starts stuttering while trying to explain what just happened. But the guy's just like he couldn't care less. She mentions that her classmates were kidnapped by some guys from the Elite Center the night before, and she thinks it might be connected to Wayne's death over at the Elite Center's factory out in the suburbs. The two guys who were with Chuva are being tortured by the bald guy. That dude is a real piece of work, no doubt about it, and they say that bald dude has nothing to do with Wayne's death, claiming that when they got there was nothing left, just a standing skeleton. The two macho guys refuse to back down and even back each other's stories up, like cool, right? They think they're being targeted by the Elite Center because they managed to find the killer, and since they're the weakest and easiest targets, it's simple to crush them. They say the bald guy, the Oni pushman, is basically intimidating them, but that just makes the guy even angrier, saying they must want to die for talking so much. Then, out of nowhere, the factory door bursts open like something out of a movie. The guy is shocked and asks who just walked in. So, there was this wealthy guy searching for his kidnapped buddies. The woman storms in with a fierce attitude, totally shifting the vibe, and demands that the guy hand over her friends. Both of them are relieved to see their leader and admit they were right to wait for her. The bald guy gets annoyed with Chun-Li's arrival and warns her that there are several silver-level guards watching the warehouse. One dude even has the nerve to ask how she got in, intrigued despite being a low-tier gold. Chun-Li mocks Worldman, saying she already took care of the underlings keeping an eye on the warehouse. She turned them into ice sculptures. She warns this guy that he's next on her list and gets ready to unleash her ice powers, maybe even to test out a new technique on him. Chun-Li sends a barrage of ice wheels flying toward Worldman, but the guy is totally confident in his abilities. He thinks her ice wheels won't stand a chance against his fire fists, even saying he got lucky last time, because Yugi stopped him, but this time he's all set to wipe the floor with Chun-Li. Chun-Li fires back, saying he's actually the one in trouble since Yugi isn't around for backup. Then she launches ice wheels 16 times in an all-out assault. It's like a massive attack. The guy insists in horror as the ice wheels come hurtling at him at crazy speed. As they get closer, Worldman unleashes his flames, shouting at Chun-Li that he's one of the strongest gold-level warriors, boasting about it, and making it clear that she doesn't stand a chance against him. Chun-Li yells back that she's not the same person she was during their last fight. The guy starts shouting and destroys the ice wheels heading towards Chun-Li, claiming that, to him, she's still the same weak person. Suddenly, an ice arrow hits him in the head, leaving him stunned. He's shocked to realize Chun-Li can control even tiny shards of ice with insane precision. More fragments pierce through his body, and Chun-Li activates them. As ice flowers sprouted from his skin, biting through him, he finally realized he had fallen into a trap and attacked the ice wheel, which was a ruse. He let his guard down and got hit by the ice shards, not realizing he had been played by the flame that had everything planned out. Chun-Li praised Odin for catching on to the plan, but it was already too late. "Crazy," she said to Odin. "The ice shards I'm controlling have already entered his body, and with a snap of my fingers he's gonna freeze up." She insisted he surrender because it was over, adding that she might consider sparing his life if he behaved himself. The teammates were watching all of this unfold, unable to stop praising their leader for being unbelievably skilled. Woodman's ego kicked in, and he remembered he was chosen as Yugo's partner because he's one of the strongest fighters. He didn't want to admit he was humiliated by a gold-level woman. That was a total blow to his pride. So he unleashed his fiery aura, challenging Ashun-Ri, claiming she couldn't scare him with that, and declared he'd melt all the ice inside him. With his blazing aura, he burned the ice flowers sprouting on his body and charged at Chun-Ri with a powerful fiery punch, but Chun-Ri just sighed in disappointment and called him a fool. Then, Chun-Ri snapped her fingers, and the ice shards lodged in Woodman's heart took effect. His body shattered, and a huge chunk of ice emerged from him. What a scene! He collapsed to the ground, shattered, dying in a horrific way. How grim. As this guy lay there dead, Ashun-Ri just kept cultivating her aura, claiming his fire couldn't melt her ice. A chilling aura radiated from her body, and she was no longer a gold-level warrior. She had now ascended to diamond level, but after the crazy dude's defeat, Chun-Ri checked in on her teammates, asking if they were okay, and they assured her that everything was cool, just took a few light hits. They say they didn't reveal any confidential information, so everything's okay for now. Suddenly, Chun feels a thirst for blood in the area. As he imagined, it's Yu-Gi-Oh standing at the factory entrance looking pretty unfriendly. Our protagonist tells Shuri he's impressed with her effect, going from gold level to diamond star level in just 2 days. Man, that's when Gu lays it all out and admits he can't stand two things. First, he doesn't like people with asymmetrical features, and second, he can't tolerate liars. Yeah, dude, and Sui fits both categories. What a bummer. Meanwhile, cut to the Succubus village, where Lee Howan just returned. He activates resonance with Nico and retrieved the blood sword because he's dying to use that thing. The last time he got the sword, he just got a taste and didn't really get to test its abilities. Plus, this blood sword shines brighter at night or in dark places. It's a real beast, since it can restore 5 health points with every kill. Naorao wonders if these exclusive weapons are basically designed just for nighttime bonuses, you know? On top of that, these weapons boost the user's stats, giving 30 points to all stats per level. So, the stronger you get, the more powerful the sword becomes. Right behind him is Nico, the little red one, because when Leorin came back and resonated with her, she thought he was giving her a hug, and honestly, she's super happy about it, huh? Suddenly, Leorin gets a bunch of experience points, and quickly realizes the whole Joe thing. Thanks to the points he just received, he levels up 3 times in a row, my friend, and it's clear Joe's opponent is no joke, that's for sure. Out of nowhere, he realizes Chun-Ri might be up against some big dude at the Elite Center. Without a second thought, he concludes Chun-Ri is in constant danger. He grabs Nico, asking her to fly to where that girl is before anything happens. She replies she's already at max speed and complains that the way he's holding on makes it hard for her to focus. Alright, back to it. As they arrived at the warehouse, Gu reaches his target, and before she can blink or react, it's already too late for her. Gu punches with anger and throws her out of the building. Along with his buddies, they witness a stunned Rifika. I can't believe it took just one punch from Gu to break her defense. Soon she realizes that Gu is both incredibly strong and kind of crazy at the same time. Looking around and noticing that the other 2 on his team are already out of the fight, Jun feels like his only shot is to go all out against Gu, and without hesitation, he activates his power and unleashes a massive storm of ice, spinning almost 1,000 ice wheels all at once. Gu is taken aback by how this woman managed to control so many ice wheels, but soon realizes she's already nearing her limit. Gu tells Chun-Li that it doesn't matter if she's a gold-level warrior or a lover, but Chun-Li quickly retorts that they'll never know unless they give it a shot, right? She sends all the ice wheels flying at Yugi, but he just stands there and shatters them all without breaking a sweat. This leaves Chun-Li in disbelief, as she never thought he could demolish over 1,000 ice rocks so easily. Finally, she understands the true power that stems from a legendary tear, and suddenly realizes she can't move in this situation. She's shocked by what's happening until she notices she's being paralyzed by Yugi's aura. His aura is so strong, it completely destabilizes her mind and body, leaving her frozen. She sees Yugi running toward her, ready to finish this. Chunhua realizes there's no way out and starts regretting that she won't see her master again, just when they were finally starting to have fun together. Just as she's about to be crushed, she feels a powerful presence, so different from Yugi's. Quickly, she realizes it's her master's aura. She looks up and sees her master blocking Yugi's punch with his hand, telling him to back off because he promised to protect his woman. Leoran warns Yugi that he'll smash his face in if he touches his woman. It seems like Leoran triggered his ultimate blood skill before confronting Yugi because that skill gives him everything that the demon blood god has to offer, but he only has 10 minutes to sort this out. Yugi figures this guy is getting involved with the enemy, and that's why he's protecting this woman. Yugi is furious, but at the same time satisfied because Leoran finally decided to show up to save his woman, especially considering he himself killed Leoran's brother. Yugi thinks he might finally get his chance for revenge. What a mess. Leoran is shocked to hear Yugi talking about revenge on his brother. He replies that it won't be necessary and rips Yugi's right arm off like it's just a piece of paper. My god! Yugi screams in pain, realizing his arm has been amputated. In his hand, oh man. Then he turns to Achuri and apologizes for being late because of the chaotic situation. Achuri is soaked while watching. Leoran but says she never worried. She knew he would come. Leoran tells Nico to watch their back since time is short and they need to deal with Yugi fast. Nico accepts his master's orders and asks for a health potion. Even with one arm missing, Yugi thinks he still has the upper hand, saying he's Hao-Ran and that he only managed to take an arm because he caught him off guard. Yugi mentions he reached legendary status at 13, seeing a unique talent in his generation. He tells Leoran that he'll never understand what real power is, but he's ready to prove it. Then Yugi, releasing an immense aura of rage, transforms into his true form, with wings sprouting from his back and something terrifying in his hands. Thanks to the power of his ultimate form, he manages to regenerate the arm he lost. And then, Yugi appears like a true villain, with his left hand in his pocket, revealing his ultimate form is called the Six-Winged Butcher Angel. Yugi also mentions that the guard he's holding changes. His sacred sense of symmetry drives him mad with this transformation. He lost an arm, but he couldn't care less because Hao-Ran changed his whole vibe. He plans to teach that bastard a lesson. Then Hugo activates his god mode, the Soul Invasion Throne, and the fight is on. Shun Yi, our girl, picks up on Hugo's murderous intent and gets that cold chill in her stomach because she realizes the guy wasn't even trying hard when they were sparring. The more he gets humiliated, the more impressed she becomes with Leoran, who's ready to risk it all just to protect her. I mean, wow, right at this moment, Leoran gets a hefty alert from the system dropping one of those crazy missions, and Gu wants to turn him into mincemeat, dude. The system tells him to take out Gu in 5 minutes or things are gonna get ugly, plus it throws in a special reward if he finishes a quick mission. Leonardo is stunned because he thinks that even the system doesn't give a damn and decided to jump in against Yugi with nothing to gain for it. He thinks it'll be a pleasure to finish Yugi off, like finally fixing this mess. So Yugi doesn't waste time and starts throwing a flurry of slashes at Leoran, thinking he'll catch him off guard, but Leoran is cool as a cucumber, not even flinching as the cuts come at him. He's so disappointed with Ogum's moves that he says they don't even compare to a divine attack. It's like a warm-up from his training. Dodging effortlessly, he tells Yugi to watch closely because now he's gonna show him what a real cut looks like. Leona pulls out his blood sword and swings it with such force that it unleashes all its power. When the strike heads toward Yugi, the guy jumps thinking he's gonna save himself, but he's too quick to escape the slash, and suddenly, the bastard feels his left arm getting sliced off and screams in pain and disbelief because he thought he had dodged it. Meanwhile, Leonardo, all smug, tells Yugi he's pretty dumb for not realizing he got cut by the sword's own aura. And just to make it even funnier, he mentions that since Yugi always complains about symmetry, he just helped the guy out because now his arms are the same. Yugi, realizing things are getting messy, tries to fly away to escape the situation, but Leoran isn't going to let that happen so easily. So, with a timer ticking, he decides to wrap up the mission before time runs out. Leoran activates his flight ability, feeling like the devil now, and with that, he grows wings and goes after Hugo, saying the guy isn't leaving here alive. On his watch, the mission clock shows 4 minutes as Leoran flies toward Hugo. Hugo thinks he's got the situation under control, feeling like the king of the air with an unbeatable flying speed. Then, using the power of the Angel of Slaughter, he easily regenerates his severed arm. This guy guy still thinks he's going to wipe the floor with Leoruan's head, but his confidence starts to crumble when he sees Orhan behind him, asking why he looks like he just won the lottery. The realization hits, and Gu figures out that Orhan is faster than him. Before he can react, he gets punched in the face, making everything spin. Leona calls his special move Fly Swatter, and the attack just crashes to the ground, causing a huge noise and creating a crater. Completely out of strength, he decides to use his father's card because, well, it's now or never, right? He warns Leona that his dad is the director of the elite center, and if Leoran doesn't back off from the city, he will come for him. However, Leoran is unfazed. This is the same move his brother pulled earlier. Leoran tells Yugi they're not playing around. This isn't some school fight where you go crying to mom because you got a slap. No chance. He finishes by saying that Yugi needs to kill him if he ever wants to live in peace. In a fit of rage, Leonardo delivers a powerful sword strike to Yugi, hitting him hard and making the force penetrate every inch of his body. And with that, Yugi says his goodbyes as Orhan sees a bunch of notifications popping up. He gained several attribute points. Taki was so strong, so monstrous, that he left a hole where Ogu used to be. Chun-Ri is left speechless, unable to believe that he and Ura took down Ogu, who was so powerful that he barely broke a sweat fighting her. She's even more shocked because Ogu was supposedly a legendary figure close to the century, but Neko on the flip side seems pretty chill and tells her that this is just normal for their master. Leonore is now at level 36 and unlocks a new skill, Torrent. This new ability unleashes a wicked surge of blood energy that wreaks havoc, and the best part is, it changes based on the weapon the guy is using. After finishing the mission on time, Leoran gets a special reward, the Blood Mini Moon. It's a consumable, but there's a catch. It's single use only. The name of the skill even sounds weird to Leoran. The Blood Mini Moon creates a blood moon that lasts for an hour. While it's active, all the stats of the blood tribe double, and when Leoran finally sees what this ability can do, he's blown away by its overpowering strength. He lands back after making sure everything is okay and asks the girls if they're all right. The girls reply that they're good. Of course they are, right? Thanks to him. Nico agrees, saying both of them are relaxed. She jumps into Leon's arms and says that with him around, they have nothing to fear. After all, he's there with them. Leoran feels happy that the girls are fine. Then, he glances to the side and asks if she doesn't want to come with them, because going back to town would just make her a target with no chance. Nico, in a moment of wisdom, agrees. So Leoran suggests she should come with them to the succubus village, but she admits that the offer is tempting, but warns that it's not possible at the moment. She mentions that Ogu's death is going to cause a huge uproar in the city, and that the authorities are going to want to catch Leonardo. Juninho gets a bit wary, thinking that leaving town with Leonardo could be seen as a threat. So, the clever one decides to stay back to avoid complicating Leoran's life because of her selfish desires. Our hero Leoran is left stunned to realize that even with everything crumbling around him, there's still hope. Keep putting him first in your life. Wow, that's wild. So he gets real and asks her to stay safe, saying that if she ever needs help, all she has to do is shout and he'll be there in no time. He makes a promise that he'll always look for her, no matter where she is. Ah, such a determined guy. Then the scene cuts to a rehabilitation center where Scythian, Ungum's dad, is receiving treatment for a pretty strange illness. And this isn't just anyone. Jin Xiang is a legendary awakener known as the Man of Tears, and he's also the president of the Elite Shander. Even though he's not at 100%, he's not about to spend any more time in this center and decides it's time to head back to the elite headquarters in the city. As soon as he arrives in the city of Jai Tiqian, he takes a boat and discovers the news of Hugo's death, which everyone already knows about. Man, his heart just drops. This guy can't let the deaths of his two sons slide. He gathers everyone together and calls for an emergency, meeting with the most powerful awakeners in the city. And at the meeting, who shows up but Giffen, a top-tier trickster and member of the Trickster Association, explaining why everyone's assembled. She reveals that some tricksters who worked for the Elite Center were murdered, including Taishin's own sons. Damn, things are getting serious. She mentions a suspect, a mysterious beast that appeared during the recent Mana anomaly chaos. Considering that the warriors present are the ones who run the Eye City, one of them asks what the plan is. So, how are they going to react? Then Tishin, without a second thought, is the first to suggest it's time to stir up some real trouble in the city to find out who took his sons away. But then, Billy Lyon from the Zenlin group, an epic awakener in the area, brings up a different perspective, questioning whether Tishin really wants to drag his men down just for vengeance. This guy doesn't think it's wise to risk everyone's lives just for personal revenge, and asks if Tishin is ready to take the blame. Losing men on this hunt has made Billy's vision super clear. He's not willing to sacrifice his guys for something so personal. Meanwhile, Lil Sam from the Justice Guild jumps in and counters his point, arguing that with great power comes great responsibility, which just complicates things even more. Then he says he's going to provide shelter for the beast, using his group's resources. resources. Check out the strategy. Leon, who jumps in with his 2 cents, says that their passion for the fight isn't going to do them any good against that monster they're trying to take down. He reveals that he once had a run-in where Yugo fought, and he didn't find a shred of the beast's blood there. Then Goopim chimes in, saying that anyone who can take down Yugo without a scratch must be a monster of at least level 8 or 9, and the conflict is intense. He also adds that, so far, only members of the elite circles have faced the fallout from this. He suspects that the beast has its sights set on the elite center and doesn't mean any good. Chan, all worked up, he shouts at Le Hongping, reminding him that one of his soldiers, Sui, was at the crime scene where their kids died. He claims that the Radise group is super dangerous and is probably plotting something with the Open. Talk about drama. Taking a step back from the chaos, Sam Jaffe tries to mellow things out and says he's heard it all, everything, but he doesn't have enough info to make a decision. He adds that he's going to set up the headquarters to send 2 top-level guys, and of course, he tells everyone to keep it low-key until they get a response. Stay calm, everyone. Chanson isn't into this plan at all, since high-level awakens are few and far between, and even when they show up, they're always busy. He mentions it could take at least a month for headquarters to send reinforcements. Then Richan steps in, not wanting to wait around for all that, and tells De Inverno to gather all the awakens in town. They have a shot at taking down that beast. But just as he finishes, Gife lets out a dark aura that makes everyone shudder and says the elder needs to rest because he's really sick. Meanwhile, back in the Succubus village, Lee Howan knows he can't waste any time. He needs to get stronger before the enemies arrive. His plan is to maximize all his followers and unlock exclusive rewards and weapons. Yeah, brother, it's all or nothing. With Bushida's response not being too intense, Dia de Balos, our hero, decides to start with her. He activates the Pact of Victor and calls Bushida like he's inviting everyone to a party. Bushida rises from the depths and says she's at Leia Horan's service, her voice all eager. But the first thing she notices is that they're not on a battlefield. They're in the forest. What a change of scenery. Bushida wonders what Leia Horan is up to and why he summoned her out of nowhere. Farara mentions that the night is long, and since he can't sleep, he decided to take a walk with Bushida. And man, that's when Bushida's expression changes, lighting up with excitement as she asks if he's trying to hit on her. Leonor takes her hand and tells her to just go with the flow. Who knew such light touches could create such chaos? It's easy to follow Leonor wherever he wants to go, just by holding hands. There's this amazing vibe between them, just from the hand holding alone. Her affection for him skyrockets by 55%. Look at the power of love. She can still feel the warmth of Leonor's heart radiating towards her. Oh man, that warmth makes her feel a rush of energy. It's like magic. Life feels so shy. After all, holding a guy's hand for the first time is an inexplicable thing, and the more they walk, the more affection grows between them, if you know what I mean. How cute is that? Is it really? Leonor is buzzing because he realizes that just holding her hand is making waves. He decides to push his luck a bit. Leonor takes Eda down a path lined with reeds, and as she walks through, the plants start tickling her. Those pesky reeds are brushing against her from every direction, creating a scene of restlessness. With her whole body wet, she can't help but feel the reeds touching her, sending her head spinning. Her face is on fire, man, as she tries to figure out why her guy chose such a overgrown path. She's really confused. It feels like the plants are touching her down low, almost like hands. What the heck? Are they hands or just plants? The caresses keep intensifying, and when she's almost at her limit, she admits that the reeds are making her itch and feel hot. She confesses to our hero that her body is acting in a really weird way, and honestly, she might not be able to control herself. It's that crazy. He's practically crying. The guy looks like he's been hit hard by how intense the situation is. He didn't even know it could get this wild. Dude, I swear to you, this was absolute madness. No doubt things are reaching epic proportions. What the heck is happening? But let's keep going. He remembers the last time she went completely nuts just from sucking a little blood and realizes that Ida might faint again if he keeps this up. So, in a flash, he grabs Ida and throws her on his back. She says this will keep the annoying rushes from bothering her. She's super grateful and mentions that now the rushes aren't itching her anymore. Everything's chill. But with the two of them stuck together, there's only so much affection they can show. It feels like a competition for affection. The more Leon walks, the more he feels his body pressed against hers. And man, it's way more intense than the rushes. For her, this is way more pressure than the annoying itch from those darn rushes. She feels like she's about to lose it and tells Leon that she's close to breaking any second now. She says she needs to leave, but Leon, quick as lightning, lays her down on the soft grass. He falls, she falls, and gets all wet, thinking, oh my god, what is Leon trying to do with her? Because the vibe between them is off the charts. Leon, not wasting any time, realizes he can't let Bushida go and says he still needs her for something really important. Then, all crazy, when she hears that, she thinks he's looking to take things to a hotter level, even though they don't have that kind of relationship yet. But in her mind, it's hard to say no if he wants to make a move, right? In that moment, Leon starts touching her and tells her her to stop trying so hard, making it clear that she's really important to him. He lays it all out and reveals he just wanted to take a nice walk with her and nothing more. She still can't believe it, and her affection level shoots up to about 98%. She realizes she was having some pretty sinful thoughts, crazy stuff, and Oran, feeling humble, apologizes to Ida, saying he knows it's her body, but he still took her to a place full of rushes. Terra Rome starts sharing how life was cheap for him when he was younger, and mentions that when things get tense for him, he comes down to the pond just to take a look, just like they're doing now. He comments on how there's something calming about the water that even gives him relief and strength to move forward, still in disbelief. He knows the master has a vulnerable side, but the biggest surprise is that he's starting off with her as a loving couple strolling at night, and by showing that vulnerability, Aida ends up making his affection level hit 100%. He fumbles, and Ron's jaw drops when the system alerts him that he's reached max affection. But instead of getting max health, he receives a castle forged from blood. He thinks these two tests were just luck, but he's hoping the reward will be as special as the secret reward. He's gonna dig into the skill's details. The skill builds a personal fortress in a desolate area within the domain of L'Aurent. He and his followers will regenerate MP and HP super quick, like a feast. Leon doesn't realize he just secured a fortress, a base of operations to gather everyone. So, at that moment, the soul resonance skill activates and Aida's chest starts glowing like a LED. A necklace appears on her chest, called the Spirit Necklace. This necklace boosts her spirit by 88, which controls all her mana. It also provides resistance and even a 1.5% chance to nullify magic attacks. There it is. Leora checks out the necklace and is stunned by the benefits. It's like a super item to take on magic users. The guy's convinced this necklace is going to give him a boost when the going gets tough. Oran explains to Bashida that this object is only for those with soul resonance and can only be used when the souls and hearts are linked by the significance of the item. Leoran assures Bashida that he owes her this favor. After this explanation, Bashida figures out why she's feeling that tingling in her chest. For her, it feels like she's giving birth to a baby. As for Laro Ram, he believes the next step is to keep pushing in the blood prison arena, defeating enemies and gaining more followers. Then he'll try to maximize the effect quickly, hoping to get max blood and change his luck. He also doesn't care if he doesn't get max blood because he's got Blood Castle to kickstart your own empire. While she's thinking about it, Ada suddenly sneaks up and grabs him from behind. He's totally taken aback, and Ada reveals she's bursting with happiness because it means a lot to her master. She sees her master as the person she's always waited for, as their hearts and souls are so intertwined. According to Leoran, Ada believes they're practically soulmates, and then she drops the bomb that she also has a baby for Leoran, which is why she wants their bodies to connect even better, if you know what I mean. At that moment, when a guy senses that soul resonance, the girl's wild side goes a bit crazy. She kisses Leoran. Of course, that was coming. They end up in bed, and Bashida receives Leoran's essence. Finally, we have a protagonist who can really deliver. As always, her stats give her that boost, and she levels up to 5. Bashida is lying there moaning and singing Leoran's praises, talking about how amazing she feels and the unforgettable experience he just gave her. Leoran stands there, a little uncomfortable, realizing Bashida is way too sensitive and that he needs to take action. He's hesitant about it because he doesn't want that sensitivity to spill over into battle. So, with the moon rising, Leoran decides to step into the arena. Usually he's welcomed there, and they inform him that all equipment is consumable. All equipment and consumables are disabled except for the exclusive ones. And then they ask him to choose his combat gear. Since the exclusive is active, he decides not to pick any weapons. Instead, he opts for the Topaz Pumpkin, which replenishes 15% of his health per use. It still has 3 uses left. In the upgrade section, he finds the Thorny Armor, which reflects 20% of the damage back, and the Risky Adventure, which instantly drops his health by 50%, but, if successful, boosts his max health and loot by 20%. The last upgrade he chooses is Berserker, which is a battle with a 20% increase in attack power. So with time running out and the mission urgent, our hero realizes he needs to power up fast. Unexpectedly, he decides to take a risky journey, fully aware it's a dangerous gamble. With this bold choice, he enters the 3rd round of the Blood Prison Arena. The commentator seizes the moment, announcing to the crowd that Leonardo is coming in with 3 exclusive gear pieces, questioning whether he can maintain his winning streak. He then introduces the opponent, a divine knight holding the sun and the silver moon. It's a level 5 centaur warrior named Centaur. Feeling pretty full of herself, Centaur acknowledges that Leoran is clever for having beaten the fire demon, but warns right off the bat that he doesn't stand a chance against her. While she brags, our hero thinks about how Centaur is the first rare species he's ever encountered, so he tells her to shut it because she's talking too much. Centaur immediately releases a strange aura, forcing Leon to attack. Leon doesn't hesitate and strikes with his sword, unleashing a red aura, but Centaur defends herself, weathering the blow and blocking blocking it with her shield. Centaur recognizes Lee Howan's strength and tells him to keep attacking to see what happens. What they really want is for him to go all out. Lee Howan is annoyed by this centaur's arrogance and promises he'll turn the tables as soon as he gets a win. But dude, all of his attacks keep hitting the shield, and they're just charging it up right now. The Leonative skill activates, giving him resistance to the nagging effect that was messing with him. He sees the hack kicking in and gets super stoked because this weird resistance got him out of that annoying situation. Leonardo is impressed by Centaur's shield, since even with his blood sword, the night bonus can't pierce it. On the other hand, Centaur can't believe he's still moving, even with the taunting effect still in play. She starts to realize that Leonardo could be a real headache since he's resistant to crowd control, but Centaur still thinks she's got the upper hand. Because her silver moon lance is charged up, it's all thanks to our boy's attack power. The centaur raises her spear and warns Leoran that she's about to smash him with a bolt of energy. She practically lifts him off the ground. Leoran, all battered, realizes something's off about this energy blast from the centaur, and he comes to terms with the fact that she's used her taunt on him, forcing him to hit his own shield while she absorbs all that energy into her lance. In other words, it's a tactic that turns his own attack against him. The idea is simple. The harder he hits, the stronger she gets, and it's hurting him too. The commentator quickly figures out that Leoran is surrounded, and only a genius move can save this poor guy. So, in a moment of bravery, Leoran jumps from where he is and charges straight at the centaur. When he's right in front of her, he drops his sword, leaving the centaur in shock, wondering what the heck he's doing. The centaur yells at him not to give up, and even cheers him on to hit harder. She taunts him again, forcing Leoran to attack once more, but our boy isn't shaken, and his skill kicks in, reducing the effect of her taunt. Leoran goes for it, using his bare hands on the centaur's shield, and she finally realizes he dropped his weapon on purpose. That centaur is impressed because it's the first time a lion's gone up against her, and he's already picked up on the flaw in her tactic, but she still doesn't believe it will change anything, since she's a level 5 beast and not just there for defense. She lunges forward and drives her spear into Leoran's shoulder, asking what he's going to do now, seeing as he doesn't have a weapon anymore. Leoran, with a smirk on his face, asks her if she really thinks he only trusts his sword. He grabs the centaur and activates his skill, Buried Blood Prison. The centaur looks totally surprised, and suddenly, Leoran's blood starts to move, freeing the centaur from his shield and wrapping around her neck like a noose, ready to strangle. It seems he's given his blood prison skill an upgrade, making it totally customized. The centaur, caught off guard, realizes that everything Leoran did was basically just to provoke and attack her. She acknowledges the credit he deserves, but criticizes his use of tactics that she finds shameful. Leoran responds that he's been honing his skills and wants her to be his follower. Before the centaur can fully grasp the situation, Leoran's already on her back, making it clear that he could have made her take herself out if he didn't want her alive. And since she's a centaur, our hero is already brainstorming some pretty wild ideas for her. He grabs her by the neck, and she starts to feel his presence pressing down on her, turning her face beet red. Dude, what kind of fight is this? As always, the audience is nearly passing out because Leonardo is pinning the centaur down with his body. She admits that the move is brutal, but her body can't help but react to his arm. However, the centaur is now furious. Why does it have to be a guy who's the first to ride on her elegant back? She feels Leoran's body pressing against her, leaving her almost breathless. She can't tell if she's in pain or if she's turned on and realizes she's about to black out. Trying to defend herself, she attempts to lift her legs, but Leoran warns that if she doesn't submit, they're both going down. Her face is pale, and Leonardo keeps tightening his grip around her neck. Unable to take it any longer, she passes out, leaving the commentator in shock. Just like that, there's no way for her to continue. Leoran immediately declares himself the winner. He's feeling all proud of himself as he lifts her head for the finish. The commentator announces that now Leoran has the right to challenge the 4th floor. Our hero Leoran checks his own stats and notices his stamina has dropped to 45%. Even after taking a serious beating, he's all proud of holding his ground in the fight. After taking a hit to recover some health, he realizes he has 2 hits left. True to form, he gets Sao, rewarded with a skill point to upgrade his abilities. Right after that, the system chimes in. If he's feeling brave enough to take on the 4th floor of drama, the system lets him know that if he decides to go for it, he'll keep his gear and upgrades, fully aware that he'll continue to level up. He accepts the challenge, embraces the plot, and gets transferred to the 4th floor. Once he arrives, the commentator starts introducing his next opponent, but the kid couldn't care less. He's confident that he's still at his best. He knows he had to be cautious in the last round because of Fry, Centauria's annoying mechanics, but this time he's ready to show everyone what the blood sword can do. If the guy gets the chance to use lose it, his opponent won't even make it into the arena because she'll launch her tentacles at Lee Howan. Lee Howan reacts quickly with a precise slash and is surprised to find that his opponent is eager to fight, or rather, practically begging to be defeated. Finally, the opponent takes off her mask and tells Lee Howan that his aura is so alluring that she couldn't help herself and went for it. What he soon discovers is that his next adversary is Beatty, a level 5 mimic beast with tentacles, and she's got legs like a people, brainstorming various ways to mess with Lee Howan. Lee Howan feels uneasy with her unusual attitude and decides it's best to put an end to this nonsense as quickly as possible. He charges at her, determined to slice her into pieces, but she proves to be way too quick, like a District 1 tribute from the Hunger Games. She dodges, and in the end, Lee Howan misses his attack and leaves himself open to Beatty. With that opening, Beatty launches a wicked assault. Dodging her tentacles, Lee Howan warns Beatty that her tentacles are nothing to him, but Beatty replies that the kid is judging her too quickly. Before he knows it, multiple tentacles appear around him, making Lee Howan wonder what Beatty is planning. He thinks she's trying to immobilize him, but suddenly the tentacles grab him and lift him up. Lee Howan realizes he's lost control and walked right into Beatty's trap. So, with a smile on his face, Beatty tells Leona that he's now in her clutches and the only thing left is to figure out the best way to make him suffer. As she says this, she gets a bit shy and all excited. She can't wait to do whatever she wants with our hero. The commentator doesn't miss a beat, letting everyone know that Bade's tentacles are no joke. Laren is probably already in a world of hurt for not having fully recovered from his fight against the centaur. He thinks Laren's future looks bleak, and that his choice to go up against 2 level 5 beasts, Cardass, was a complete disaster for him. But Leo doesn't realize things are about to get real when he receives the creepy notification that he's been poisoned and is losing 0.5 HP every second. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. This is going to last around 60 seconds. He connects the dots and realizes that Big's tentacles are laced with poison, and not just any poison. This stuff is super potent, so doing the math, he figures he's in trouble in less than 2 minutes. Beatty, with that annoying little smile, mocks him, saying her tentacles are covered in tiny mouths that are all stuck to his skin, injecting deadly venom non-stop. She goes on to explain that the moment she caught him, the fight was already over, but she jokes that she might let him live if he plays nice. Suddenly, Bid feels a weird sensation coursing through his body and starts moaning. Guess what? Leorin took a bite out of her tentacle. This is some bizarre conversation, man. In a moment of desperation, the poison's draining his blood through the wound. Lauren seizes this chance to finally complete his daily mission and inflict some damage on Bid. She's forced to let him go, and in a huff, she complains he's playing dirty. At that moment, Leonore disappears from her sight, leaving her wondering where that little sneak went. Our boy used blood concealment to pull off an invisibility trick. While he's invisible, he takes the chance to pop the topaz's head off and take another swig, recovering some of his health. He admits that Big's poisonous tentacles, they're a problem because for every hit they take, they lose about 30% of their health. So, since the gourd only has one more use left, he realizes he could be in deep trouble if he doesn't wrap up this fight soon. Meanwhile, Bide is still trying to figure out where Leonore keeps popping up from. In the blink of an eye, he appears underneath her with a blood spike aimed right at her, almost impaling her, but she manages to dodge the fatal blow to her heart. However, before she even realizes it, several spikes emerge around her, forcing her to shift position. She jumps and spins, but when she lands, she finds herself surrounded. Leoran has scattered blood spikes all around. There's nowhere safe to land without getting hurt. For a moment, she's stuck in the blood spikes, feeling her tentacles getting sliced. The confusion clears, and she starts calling him out, labeling Leorand as a tough guy who's not cut out for mercy towards women. But she believes the fight is still on her side, so she calls Leorand arrogant. This guy just made her totally furious. Suddenly, she hears Leorand's voice behind her, and he makes it clear that he won't go easy on her until he's tamed her. At that moment, Bide realizes that the kid has more tricks up his sleeve and is way more dangerous than she thought. Leoran makes an unexpected appearance and lands a blow that leaves a trail of aura behind him. Before Bide knows it, her tentacles are done for. She falls while Leoran wields the blood sword, and Bide starts hemorrhaging, losing about 1.5 health per second, screaming furiously that he ruined her whole little body. She vows she won't forgive him for what he did. Meanwhile, Leoran's health drops to 39%, and he admits that you shouldn't mess around with level 5 beasts. Just from getting poisoned, he almost kicked the bucket. Leonardo takes one last swig from the gourd, and his abnormal state kicks in to help him resist the poison. Our hero feels ecstatic when he realizes he's got resistance against hits in the gourd, because if not, my friend, he'd be more full of holes than a wormhole. So, Leorand, feeling like the king of the hill, struts towards Bide, mocking her. Without his tentacles, he's nothing. It's like a bad joke. He raises his sword ready to deliver the finishing blow, but Bid panics, pleading for mercy and admitting he really messed up. In that moment, Leoran, acting like a vigilante, lets his guard down, playing the nice guy, but suddenly Bid goes for it. He unleashes a magical energy bolt from his head that hits Leoran. Let's be real, this guy should have been toast, but he's got some crazy luck and is still alive, thanks to the necklace he just got, a true Trojan gift. With the necklace, he finally manages to neutralize Bid's magic attack. Thinking he's hot stuff, Bid is totally stunned to see that his last-ditch effort to finish Leoran turned out to be a complete joke. Leoran is fuming. What a misleading video. But she goes on begging again, as if anyone could trust her. She claims she's really surrendering this time, but honestly, Leoran is not buying it again. Without a second thought, he strikes, and the force of his blow sends her flying backward, spraying that purple blood all over like it's some kind of crazy festival. She hits the ground in pain, looking like a lost pupil struggling to stay upright. Leoran warns her that it's time to learn real lessons, once he's taken her down, of course. And with that, Leoran, our hero, emerges victorious from the battle, puffed up with pride. The commentator, mouth agape, is blown away watching Leoran take down two high-level beasts back to back, like he's Neymar in the game. Honestly, I think this guy is more like Messi. As for the rewards, he now gets increased resistance to poison damage and also a bonus skill point, which is pretty sweet. He picks up the tentacle skill, which is super dope, summoning multiple tentacles from behind to bind and attack enemies twice. Oran, totally impressed, sees that he managed to snag Bid's ability and thinks it's a dream come true. She figures it was worth it, but then Sail shows up with a warning that could be pretty ominous. She said that the Blood Prison Arena releases a guardian every 5 floors that stirs things up, meaning Leoranta is about to face a boss-level beast. When he hits the 5th level, man, oh man, the room and the messenger from Dun mention that the bosses are always dangerous, and that the difficulty is epic level. Dude, she even gives a sneak peek at the next beast, which is Medusa, a creature straight out of Legends. Are you guys ready to see that? But first, hit that like button, Sally advises. Oran to be fully prepared to take on Medusa, or else he won't live to tell the tale. Hearing that, he grins and thanks Sally for the advice, like he's receiving a lesson in class. When Leon gets back to the village, he loads up on potions, but Nico pops up all ninja-like, wrapping his body in bandages. He tries to tell Nico that he doesn't need bandages because he took healing potions, but Nico isn't having it and insists that she wants his gorgeous body to stay scar-free, a complete masterpiece, like some kind of catalog model. But Nico's also worried because it's the first time she's seen Leoran take so much damage. Leoran gets her concern, but makes it clear that's the price he pays to get stronger. Life's tough, man, and he explains that in order to survive in this damned world, one has to be ready to fight for everything, and that's that. Meanwhile, the Elder, all stressed out, complains that the supreme level desserts won't show up until later. He thinks by the time they arrive, things will have already changed, and not for the better. He knows his buddies don't care because they haven't lost anyone. What a bummer, man. As time ticks away, the only thing he can think about is avenging his children. In the meantime, his personal doctor, a hotshot named Liu Yao, mentions that there are still some hungry guilds in Asheri. She wants to find a way to persuade them to back the cause just for the heck of it. Little did Chanchi know, and he, since Liu Yao is a diamond star, tear and smart, ends up shocked to hear all of this. Liu Yao admits that her plan is pretty extreme. But for big problems, you need big measures, right? And she knows that if she gets caught, it could be the end of her. What a tension. So Liu tells Aunt Shai that she just wants one thing in exchange for the chaos she's cooking up. She wants to be included in her will. Later at the Justice Guild's checkpoint, someone approaches and asks for ID. What a shitty situation. Apparently, there's a rule preventing people from leaving the city because of some beast attacking everyone. The person who shows up is Yuya, all decked out with a hat and mask to hide her identity, like a character from a movie. The soldiers are telling her to go home because the area isn't safe, but suddenly her hair turns into spears. Lil Raoul admits that she never wanted to kill the guards, but she's completely obsessed with her aunt's wealth, and she's not backing down. She grabs the tube with a special reagent that created a residual lion aura and throws it to mess up the entire crime scene. Yuya is in this vibe of taking everything that belongs to her aunt. Ruthless like a true villain. She keeps attacking more doors while leaving Lion Aura behind, making it look like he's behind all of it. Before long, everyone starts seeing Leora as a threat, and the situation gets worse when the leader of the Justice Guild, Liu Sanji, finds out what happened to his men. He's furious, feeling like it was an insult to his guild. Meanwhile, in Zuan, a diamond star who's all riled up is also out for revenge. They dream of becoming the idol, but gathered a bunch of people people for performances and they were all wiped out, no chance at all. She blames Lee Howan for that, which is exactly what Luya wanted. What a plot twist, man. She swears she'll keep fighting until Lee Howan is buried. Vivian is also in the know about everything going on. The drama is intense, dude. As a logical person, she realizes something's very wrong. Things are about to get messy, bro. So all the signs point to Lee Howan being behind this, but the protagonist can't figure out why he would do it. It would change your strategy since he always focused on the big players, the top dogs in the elite. That's why they went after the other clans and groups. Sounds like my kind of idea, no doubt, right? It's that other person who's aware of the drama. Are you sure your master wouldn't have any reason to attack the posts? Meanwhile, she's in a yoga class when, out of nowhere, Lion and Ping walk into her apartment. The guy nearly falls over when he sees the woman in his house, who turns out to be his mom. He immediately demands to know what the hell she's doing there and why he hasn't seen her in years. Young Ping apologizes, saying the work grind has kept her busy and she's still trying to keep her identity under wraps. She mentions that the city is on fire with issues, which is why she decided to drop in on her daughter's life. Then Chun-Ri, who isn't playing around, throws out, "It's not busy, since there's nothing to gain from all this drama." The mom looks surprised and quickly starts to suspect that there's something more personal going on between the two. Chui slyly lies, saying no, there's no close relationship with Leoran, but that she once slipped away from a mess. Lahong Ping catches on and tells Chun-Ri that she's a terrible liar and reminds her of the power she carries. That's when she realizes that her mom came to investigate Uran instead of worrying about her. Surprised? Not really, since her mom never cared much anyway. Chun-Ri comments that she worked hard to get her mom interested, but it never worked out. Young Ping is pretty clear that she had no choice but to serve, because if it wasn't her, someone else would be on the way to play detective. She claims everything she did was to protect her own daughter, even if it was in her own way. As she speaks, Chun-Ri uses her memory reading skills and is horrified by what her daughter has gone through, including the time Urin hit her. Chun-Ri realizes that her mom went through her memories without asking and gets furious. The mom apologizes but hints that she's seen Leoran's name pop up in a few places before. Lahong Ping states that Leoran isn't some fool, but rather a guy who should be dead. She mentions that she read a report saying that an elite center charger named Oran kicked the bucket during a mission. Mom Chun-Ri compares the memory photos with the one she saw and starts piecing things together. Mong Ping remembers that Lair Oran asked about the elite center before wiping out everyone from the old squad. She's already convinced they're talking about the same Oran. She's shocked to learn that Oran allegedly died, but then came back as a beast, retaining his humanity, which freaks her out even more. Then, she gets fascinated by the idea that Oran is just an ordinary guy who gained beast-like strength. She pats his shoulder, chuckles, and praises her cleverness in winning over Leonor, remembering that Leonor revealed herself to save Hugo's daughter. That's why Leon and Ping are eager to use it in the rough and protect Auran. She believes Lair Auran could be the key to unlocking her future. Meanwhile, Leon and Auran are hustling, building their strength before anyone shows up to take him down, because a lot of folks are after this guy now. Nico, as usual, takes him to the monster-filled cave so he can level up his attacks. Leon is super pumped about this because, man, it's exactly what he was looking for. They both enter the cave and Nico quickly warns him that it's pitch dark, barely able to see his hand in front of his face. Leon, on the other hand, realizes that his affinity with darkness doesn't affect him, giving him a huge advantage, while Nico and the rest aren't prepared to survive in the dark. Auran isn't just here to train, he wants to get the whole team ready. He activates Victor's Pact and summons the first figure, Centaur. The Centaur emerges from the depths and assures Leon that she's more than ready to fight. Then he calls on Bid, who shows up looking a bit shy, complaining about how Leon treated her last time when her tentacles were completely severed and didn't go back to normal. Look at that, she's coming in with a more human body and even prettier. But then Vala decides to show up, all irritated, demanding to know why she was summoned and saying she wants a rematch. She's the only one there with less than 10% of affection. Leoran is already stressed and asks her to tone it down, because she only called her to light the team's path and nothing more. This just makes Below even angrier, saying she's not ready to light anything, and that Leoran hasn't beaten her in their last fight. Leoran gets a system alert telling her to get Below in check because her affection level is way down, and the dissatisfaction is real. The system warns that it needs to control this immediately. Leoran realizes that Below is just mad because she lost the fight, but she thinks the best lesson is to teach her a lesson and attacks. She dodges and leaps. Below, feeling confident, sends a massive fireball and says there's no way he can escape since they're in the cave. She's so sure of herself that she thinks she's already won, but Leoran pops up behind her and tells her to stop talking nonsense. Below is taken aback seeing how he dodged the fireball, but before she can think of anything, Leoran has already immobilized her with that new ability he just got. The tentacles grip her tightly, she can barely move. Leoran makes it clear she's already lost and asks if she's ready to cooperate. She replies, "Yeah, what else can I do?" With that defeated look on her face as she answers, spiders. Leoran forgives her since he just won in the victory of forgiveness, folks. And it's not like Below's affection jumped to 50% just because of kindness. So they keep delving deeper into the cave, but Nico and Biddy are holding the master like he's a lifeguard. Leoran tries to remind them they're there to train, but that doesn't seem to bother them at all. Below starts to think the master sees her as really important after all. He even copied one of her abilities. How cool is that? Soon enough, they reach the end of the cave, and wow, there are several paths to explore. Skeletons litter the floor, and the sentence asks if everyone should get ready to check out those paths. Leoran quickly says there's no need, because all the paths lead to the central chamber where they are. He mentions that the area is covered in bones from beasts and animals, like a real graveyard. Then he casts a sly glance, and realizes the trouble is more serious than it looks. Dude, they're surrounded by creatures in that place. It's one of those spots where beasts catch their prey and devour them without breaking a sweat. Eliora has Asentaro use taunts to lure the beasts hiding in the cave. Asentaro steps up to the challenge and starts calling the beasts out, daring them to fight him while unleashing his terrifying aura. That's all it takes for the spiders to come crawling out of their hiding spots. And man, they're disgusting and terrifying. The spiders charge at Centauri, but she doesn't back down and keeps the taunt going to draw them all in. Before long, the spiders surround her shield, trying to break through and making noise like, "Sorry, not happening, bro." When they're all piled up, Leoran's followers attack the spiders and wipe them out in one go. Nico is the first to whip out her whip and take a swing at the spiders. Bid follows up with her tentacles, smashing everything in sight, and Below breathes fire, showing no mercy to any of the critters. In no time, Leoran's followers take care of the spiders, racking up a nice chunk of experience for our guy. Leoran is pleased with the amount of experience he's earned, even if the spiders are pretty weak. And to top it all off, he discovers he's gained a new skill. And guess what it's called? Devil's Hand, which sends out a wave of demonic energy to bind enemies from afar. But Leoran isn't completely satisfied because he suspects there's a high-level monster lurking around that cave. He thinks those spiders have a king or queen, and for some reason, that bastard didn't fall into Centauri's trap. Plus, the tiny paths aren't big enough for the spider, so it has to be up above them. Leonardo looks up, and as he suspected, the Spider King is up there, chilling, sitting around, watching everything. That spider spits a ton of acidic venom from its mouth, and Leoran yells for everyone to get back. Thanks to Leoran's warning, the crew manages to dodge it, but the acidic venom creates a small crater where Bid lands, and that venom is super dangerous. And that just one drop could be deadly. For sure, everyone's looking up and seeing the giant Spider King, a level 6 creature, glaring down at them with a not-so-friendly look. Leoran knows that, at their level, this beast is a serious headache, but he feels a bit relieved to have the gang with him. He activates the Devil's Hand ability and manages to trap the Spider King. "Hold that big guy there!" The spider slams down, shaking the ground like an earthquake. Leoran calls for the girls to throw everything they have at the spider while it's still dazed. Biddy attacks the spider with her tentacles, dealing a bit of damage. Nothing major, but it's something. She also launches a spear at the Spider King, thinking it'll pierce its hide, but to her surprise, the spider just catches the spear with its legs. Oh man. And with all this humor going on, the spider finally moves and casts its webs, trapping the girls. They try to break free, but the web is so thick that escaping would be easier than getting out of a horror movie. On top of that, it's super sticky and gross. Poor Nico is frozen in place, realizing there's no way out of this mess. Out of nowhere, the spider focuses on Nico, and she thinks her story's about to end right there. She starts to think that the spider is zooming in on her just because she's the weakest in the group. Nico closes her eyes, ready to accept her fate. In the end, just when the spider's about to chow down on her, Leoran jumps in and slices off one of its legs. When he cuts it, this nasty acid sprays everywhere, making Leoran realize that the spider is way scarier than he thought. He understands that this 6th level beast isn't playing around, but he isn't afraid to go after it with another ally in play. He releases Aida, who bursts in shouting that the spider's resistance is off the charts. She knows her alpha scream ain't gonna phase the spider, but she keeps screaming like crazy. She believes that with time, her scream could weaken the spider's resistance. The spider won't have any choice but to stay on guard when it's done with this mess. At that moment, the spider unleashes a rain of venom, spraying the area like it's a can of bug spray. Leoran tells Balu to burn the webs and then asks everyone to stay under the centaur's shields. As soon as they're free, Balu is super happy and lets out a fiery breath to incinerate the webs. Leoran turns to Bide and asks if they can handle the venom rain for a bit. Bide is pumped about going on a dangerous mission with her master, and the two charge in to attack the spider. Leoran slashes at the spider with his blood sword, causing it to bleed while it lets out a pained cry. He's really excited, seeing that that his blood sword is working, already racking up 3 bleeding effects. He wanted to break the spider's armor, but he's worried about the acid dripping from its blood. He remembers going through the same thing when he fought it in the arena, but now he has poison resistance. Lee Howan figures if he can withstand the spider's venom, he'll be okay. Just then, the spider takes a desperate and bold action, releasing venom to cover the entire area. Our hero, Leonardo, realizes the situation is a lot more dangerous than he thought, and on instinct, he goes stealthy like a ninja in the night. He sees that the more he attacks this spider, the more wounds he inflicts, but the crafty thing is also gaining ground, opening a path to release her toxic acid and venom like a real trap. Loram totally realizes that he's at a disadvantage in the long run. Things are looking grim. Ban. Then out of nowhere, he reads a notice that the spider is heading right for him. This can only mean one thing. The spider can see him even when he's invisible. Panic hits him as he recalls that the spider lives in a dark cave and never needed sight, making his stealth mode completely useless. What a bummer, man. And just when the spider lunges to finish him off, that life effect kicks in. Wow. Now this spider queen is totally confused. The system quickly notifies Lee Howan that his ability is active and gives him a tip to attack while the ability lasts. Now the guy is already plotting how to be the hero of the story. Meanwhile, Bide isn't sitting this one out and jumps into the fight, unleashing a ton of tentacles to hold the beast down. She notices Laurent hesitating and immediately loses it, saying that they're a tough crowd and can regenerate just fine. Not only that, she's ready to take another hit, betting that the spider's going down. Leonore agrees right away, but promises Bid that she'll reward her as soon as it's over. This motivation drives Bid even more to hold on to the Spider King and not let go for anything. Then, Leonore activates a bloody burial and takes off. Blood spikes pierce the Spider King, the spiders. Blood splatters everywhere, and of course, it causes Bid a lot of pain. She screams in agony while Leonore tries to finish off the pesky Spider King, but man, that guy is so stubborn he still tries to escape, even with spikes sticking out of him. But our hero isn't about to let that spider get away. He's convinced it all ends here and now. Leonore then uses his telekinetic powers to pull the spider, and along with the spikes sticking into its body, tears it apart. After taking down the spider, King, a flood of notifications bombards Leonore, and he unlocks a new skill called the Flesh Pact. And as if that wasn't enough, when the guy's health drops below 10% while under the moonlight, he triggers a blood rain in the sky, and blood starts erupting from his feet, activating a berserker vampire mode. His health shoots up to 89%, while the centaur and Baloo double up at 70% each. Leonore realizes that doing well in battle boosts his followers' affection. What a strategy. At that moment, Bid throws herself on Leonore, pushing him back, saying she can't handle the pressure anymore. She reminds him that he promised to reward her and wants them to lie down together right there, in that cave. Leonore's already pondering life, thinking this woman is going to be insatiable. Good thing things are calm for now, right? Nope, but Centaur doesn't waste any time and grabs Bid's attention, reminding her that Leonore doesn't have her regeneration, and they need to detox him before thinking about anything else. She agrees, admitting her emotions got the better of her, trying to get a grip. In that moment, she reveals a secret. Her tentacles can share their regeneration if they're split with someone, but she warns it won't last long, just enough to take care of the acid burns. Leora is freaked out about touching those tentacles, remembering they're all covered in poison, but Bade reassures him she can choose not to release any poison, so everyone can enjoy it. As soon as Leora hears that, he doesn't hesitate and bites down on her tentacles. She lets out a scream of pleasure, urging Leora to be gentle with her. Oh, so embarrassing. My brother Asintaram and Balon are left speechless, having never seen Leora having fun like this. None of the girls. It's such a bizarre scene. My brother, on the other hand, Nico and Bashida are totally hyped because they've felt that incredible essence from their master before. Soon, everyone starts biting into Bide's tentacles to heal up, and the healing is wild and happening for everyone. As soon as they finish eating, the wounds start to close up, but they realize something's off. He's feeling way too hot, and his blood is pumping like crazy. Then that cheeky Bide casually mentions she forgot to mention a little side effect. Sharing regeneration has a catch. For a short while, everyone who shared in the healing will be synced up with her emotions. Whoa, bro, remember that note heating up? Because guess what? He's sharing her feelings now, and it's not just him. He realizes he's not the only one with a little tentacle action going on. He turns around and comes face to face with the other girls, who are all super excited. What a situation. Then he starts showing off, talking about the big role he played in the battle, throwing in some drama about how he cried to throw off the spider's mind. So of course he thinks he deserves a reward. Naturally, Nico joins in saying she's been a burden to Leorin, but she promises to redeem herself in the next battle and begs Leorin to motivate her using his own body. Who would have thought when it's Ballon's turn? She struts up and claims she did the most damage after Leorin. She wants to be first. Damn, bro, that's some heavy symbolism. She slaps Leonardo on the shoulder and asks to be first in line, and suddenly, The girl starts yelling at everyone to stop trying to act smart. This outburst catches everyone off guard. Oren, always the one in control, reminds them that he's the boss and will reward whoever he thinks deserves it at the right moment, whenever he feels like it. He even tells the girls to jump on him all at once. No doubt about it, man, the girls don't waste any time and all crouch down together. After an intense session of rewards, Lee Howan and his girls level up big time. Valor feels the power rushing through his veins, hitting level 5, with his affection maxing out at 100%. It's a win. Bid is just standing there, mouth agape, shocked at how Leorin handled all of them. Dude, what a story. Bid is already hitting level 6, and believe it or not, his affection for our hero is also through the roof at 100%. Nico and Leoran are just chillin', enjoying the vibes because they've already leveled up before, and honestly, I couldn't care less. Meanwhile, Centauro is in a tough spot because he hasn't gained anything since he missed the leveling up party. Now Mauritino gets a notice that 2 of his followers have hit that 100% affection, and as a result, have unlocked 2 new rewards. The first one is Blood Teeteret, a thing that lets you create a humanoid doll that absorbs lethal hits. Now he's frustrated because he still hasn't gotten that max blood again. Like, where's the luck, man? Realizing he can't rely on luck, the guy decides the only way is to get stronger with his own hands because controlling your fate is key. The second reward is something called the Scaffold of the Decaying Moon, which summons dark healing pillars that trap the target to guarantee a decapitation. Oron is impressed by this ability because, my friend, no matter how strong the guy is, his fate is set in stone. If he falls into that trap, it's over. While he's still in shock over these details, the system alerts that our hero can resonate souls with 2 of his followers. Urana takes charge and tells the system to proceed. Boom. Soon she notices something is emerging from her chest. It's a cape of fire. Aurora gets a 50% reduction in fire damage and can burn anyone who attacks her. After that, Bid's exclusive weapon shows up, along with Bid's earrings, giving a 10% chance to poison enemies. Once all that junk appears, Oram feels the power coursing through her veins. She's got 5 exclusive items now, boosting her strength even more. It's gonna be tough to stop this guy. Smart girl Oren realizes she can take on the Elite Center, even without that blood high. She takes a quick glance at her status panel and bam, she hits level 42. After the Spider Cave saga, the group heads out to explore other beast nests. Kill or be killed, brother. Meanwhile, Tim Sian, the rebel, decided to disregard the orders from the Association of Smarties and join the Justice Guild. They're on a massive hunt, exterminating beasts within a 100-mile radius, and they're taking no prisoners. Nothing's left alive. It's literally a massacre. Tim knows death is closing in, but he holds on to life just to get his chance to get revenge on the rats that killed his kids. When Ake finds out, she's shocked. She can't believe Tim flipped just to warn Oren and alert the master. She hops on a speedy bike and heads toward the succubus village. She's laser focused, determined to stop Titian before he screws anything up. She zips through the forest at crazy speed, leaving a cloud of dust behind. Soon, Titian and his army knock on the door of the cliff above the succubus village. There, she feels Leoran's aura down below and catches a whiff of something really suspicious in the air. Plus, the village is close to where the king kicked the bucket, so she warns Titian that the village is in the crosshairs. She suspects the village has something to do with Leoran, even if the guy isn't hiding out there. She asks Titian what his plan is, and he replies he's gonna do what he always does, wipe everyone out in the village. He raises his hand and sends flaming rocks toward the village, causing complete chaos as everyone scrambles to save themselves. The very skin thinks this is some supernatural disaster. A succubus trips and missteps, falling and freezing in place, realizing the situation. She notices that the meteor shower is only hitting over there in the village. In other words, this isn't normal, dude. And when they connect, they're attacking the village. These guys aren't playing fair. Then, evil warriors show up, brandishing weapons and laughing about the first invasion of the succubus village. These guys are even trying to hit on their mothers-in-law, but in the end, Titian's order is to wipe everyone out. Out of nowhere, it starts to snow. The warriors are totally confused. What a surprise. They're wondering what's going on when a river appears out of nowhere, activating their ice flowers. Shuri's ice flower hits one of the warriors and wipes everyone out in the most absurd way. The succubus is impressed, but quickly realizes that no one there uses ice powers. She wonders who saved her, thinking it must be Leoran, but then she turns around to see Sue behind her. Wow, that girl made it in time and saved the succubus. She reassures Sugo, saying there's no need to panic since she's there to protect her friends. Meanwhile, Leoran, with a breath of ice energy, manages to put out the flames that were consuming the village. The succubi, relieved, are grateful that someone arrived before everything went up in flames. Raoul spots his master in the village and lays it all out for Titian. He's surprised to find out she's connected to the beasts. After all, Liu Yaro hero is also shocked by the power she showed, claiming her level is gold. But Liu Tixin doesn't care about strength. What really irks him is that she's a traitor. At that moment, Suri shouts to the warriors not to fall for Tixin's sweet talk because he's one of the culprits behind the disasters in Chura. The girl assures the warriors that she has nothing to do with that and that the old man brought them there with the intention to betray them. Lil Sanji, not one to back down, is the first to question the old man, asking if Sui is really on his side. He remembers the old man pointing out that it was actually Yude who broke the association's rules, putting the lives of the men at risk because of the blind trust he placed in him. So Yude, being the clever one, pulls some reverse psychology on Liu Sanjin and asks if he's really going to listen to a traitor instead of trusting him. Zoe spills the beans that the folks from the Red City have already reported Yude to the Awakened Association. Meanwhile, the Fey ICU is heading to the city, warning the warriors not to follow Yude's path because it's a one-way ticket to death. But Lo Raoul counters all of this, saying that Suri is just trying to buy time, and then Raoul jumps in, claiming that Suri doesn't have any proof for the stuff she's been saying, calling her a traitor and suggesting they should team up to take her out. Chan Chan, who's no fool, has already anticipated this. He disappeared, helped whoever actually killed his kids, and he concentrates his power to launch a flaming meteor toward the village. Sorir realizes how serious the situation is because stopping that would mean saving all the Asukubos. She doesn't want to run away, but fears she won't have the strength to stop that meteor. Just when Sorir is almost losing hope, out of nowhere, Leoran flies in using his blood powers and literally blows up the meteor. A guy can't believe he was gone for just a few days and they're already attacking the village again. He gives major props to the girl for protecting the Asukubos and promises she'll get the reward she deserves. Churi is chill and responds that he was just doing his job. Then he turns to Yute and says he's ready to face the old man because he wants to avenge the kids he loves so much. Wow. Oran is flying like crazy thanks to one of his skills, the Devil's Wings, boosting his speed and damage. I can hardly believe it, but he confesses he was the one who killed Uchiha's kids and makes it clear they deserved all this trouble. Since Miyuti is hungry for revenge, Leoran suggests the old man should face him alone, no one else getting involved in this mess. Miyuti, with fiery eyes full of rage, looks at Leoran and reveals he's been waiting for this moment ever since he learned about his kids' deaths. He plans to take out Leoran to finally find the peace he's been seeking. Before Leonardo can respond, Tiao moves in and nearly lands a lethal strike on the guy, but he manages to dodge at the last second, coming away injured. Leoran realizes that, despite his age, Yutian is one of the most legendary warriors and is just a step away from taking down a supreme awakened god. He acknowledges that Yutian's fire magic is seriously intense, and that if it weren't for his protection, things would have ended really badly. He tries to keep up with Uchiha's lightning fast movements, who suddenly appears behind him, almost landing a hit. Uchiha can hardly believe that Leoran, someone who looks so slow, could be the reason for his children's deaths. Then the guy channels an insane amount of power and shoots a colossal fireball at Leoran. With no time to dodge, Leoran gets caught in the attack. He sees the fireball barreling toward him and realizes Tio isn't messing around. The impact is brutal, obliterating Leoran and everything in between. The others are stunned, screaming Oren's name, fearing that he's done for. Luciano G is also in disbelief at what just went down, struggling to comprehend how a guy like that can summon such a crazy fireball that wipes out anyone. The flames consume everything, and Tiao rises amid the fire, convinced that Leoran is finished. Even if he hasn't truly died, he must be incapacitated. Tiao declares the battle won and feels a sense of relief for avenging his dead children. Suddenly, he hears Leoran's voice questioning why he thinks the fight is over. Tiao is dumbfounded, and as he looks closer, he sees a charred puppet where Leoran should be. It seems that Leoran used a blood puppet to summon a creature that absorbed the lethal attack and took his place. The system then detects Yudian's hostility and gives Leoran 5 minutes to finish him off, just like he did with Gu. If he completes the mission, he'll get a reward, but if not, he'll lose attributes and end up worse off in the Abyss Zone. He figures the system expects him to kill someone as strong as Yutian in just 5 minutes, and to make matters worse, he's not at full health, since he isn't ready to deal with losing attributes. But then, Leoran decides to use everything he has against Yutian. Yutian's illness starts to kick in, and the old man begins to cough, unable to believe he can't take down Leoran. It seems like his flame is so powerful that no one can survive the explosion without getting hurt. He keeps coughing and trying to regain his composure. Liu Ao realizes that the old man's body is on the verge of falling apart, and seeing this, she shouts for the warriors to charge at Leoran. Everyone obeys and rushes towards him. Luis Wayne leads the charge, furious that Leoran crushed her dream of becoming an idol. Lil Sanji is also pumped to jump into the fight, ready to defend justice like a true hero. However, Neko and the crew following Leoran arrive in time to back up their master. While the crowd is split between supporters, Laura notices she's the only one still with Yutian. Yutian and decides to confront Leoran, thinking she might be their last hope. So Leoran, all hyped up, pulls up his skill list and invokes a blood moon that stays active for an hour. With the moon activated, Leoran and his followers double their stats. As the moon begins to glow, he feels an insane power coursing through him and realizes his strength not only doubled, but became powerful enough to create a night sky. With that, everyone is in an epic battle against Nico. Bashida can't help but acknowledge their skills. She admits that if they weren't opponents, they'd probably offer to recruit them for their idol school. Meanwhile, Lucienne finds herself in trouble facing Below and the centaurs. It's impressive. He warns the girls that he won't go easy on them just because they're women. Man, this guy is tough. On the other hand, our hero Yutian runs desperately to the vehicle and starts injecting himself with a new experimental drug, hoping to withstand the blows and keep fighting. Liu Ao, watching that scene, is shocked by the number of syringes he's used and can't help but exclaim that it's too much even for her. Dude, but Yutian, high and impatient, yells for her to shut up because he's willing to do whatever it takes. To make sure Leonore dies, it's not Leonore who, as always, can't resist mocking our hero, making fun of him for still fighting while he's getting high. No, it's Joan, who wants his inheritance at any cost. He hints to the old man to make sure Leoran doesn't make it there before the drug wears off, or it's game over. He promises that if he succeeds, he'll put her name in the will, and of course that lights up her eyes. Yeah, the crafty one quickly realizes that the old man is trying to bribe her, but since she's a fan of some easy cash, she decides to look the other way. After all, there's always risk in making money, right? She throws herself at Leoran, but what happens? The dude disappears right in front of her, leaving her in shock. Wow, what a trick. Surprisingly, Leon appears right in front of Yutian Xian and delivers such a solid kick to his head that the kid goes flying. Meanwhile, Leon notices that Yutian is using the same drug, but the difference is that the old man has taken a ridiculously larger dose. Unwilling to give up, Leonore tries to sneak up on Leoran from behind, but suddenly a wall of ice shows up and blocks her attack, sending her tumbling to the side. She gets up confused and faces Yuri, who just blocked her strike. Now that's a problem, brother. Chun-Ri seizes the moment and warns her that she can't interfere in the battle between Leoran and Yutian. Leonore is shocked to hear Chun-Ri refer to him as Master Leoran and thinks that's really low for someone like her, who has such terrible standards. After a while, the drug starts to take effect, and the dude explodes with strength. He even appears surrounded by a blazing aura, while his eyes are smoking like a dragon. He feels that power bubbling inside him and gets pumped, saying he feels like an 18-year-old totally hyped. He's thrilled to have this new drug and is still questioning if this is even real. With a cheeky grin, he turns to Leoran and yells that he's in his best shape now, ready to fight. Leoran quickly realizes that the old man is feeling himself because he's on some seriously powerful stuff. But still, he just can't compete. Our hero realizes that this guy is a bit too full of himself, so he decides to go with the flow and acts super confident too. But deep down, he knows the old guy's strength comes from the drugs, and that's wrecking his health. Eventually, that's going to blow up in his face. Leonardo thinks about stalling, waiting for the high to wear off, but at the same time, he knows that's way too risky. However, he quickly realizes he doesn't need to do that. Dude, he remembers he's got less than 3 minutes to take down Tishan and wrap up this mission. And Tishan, who's not playing around, unleashes his full firepower and the ground shakes. Before Leonardo even knows what's happening, flames surround him. It's a scene straight out of a movie, man. Fear takes over Leonardo, and he knows he's not ready to face this. To make matters worse, time is ticking down, and he's only got 2 minutes left to fix this mess. Leonardo tries to stay calm because if he loses it and gives Tishan an opening, it'll be bad news. So the plan is to keep a cool head and wait for the right moment to strike. Suddenly, Tishan appears out of nowhere behind him, and dude, it's so unexpected that it makes Leonardo's heart skip a beat. Before he can react, Tishan sends him flying with a fiery punch, wrecking everything beneath him. Tishan quickly realizes he's got Leonardo right where he wants him and charges at him with a powerful headbutt, but Leonardo manages to dodge it, and the old guy ends up hurting himself. The impact is so strong it nearly tears the place apart, but the guy is shocked, not believing he missed Leonardo. He gets up furious, shouting where Leonardo went. He's ready to smash everything, but Leonardo, in stealth mode, is taking full advantage of the environment, as the battlefield is totally in his favor. This turns out to be a secret weapon for him. He notices that the rock under Tishan is really fragile and won't hold up against his attacks, so he decides to wait for the perfect moment before striking, because patience is key. In all this excitement, Tishan tension, shouts for Leonardo to come out and fight him like a man, but that turns out to be a big mistake. The rock beneath him starts to crumble and fall apart in a huge disaster, and it's clear that Leoran isn't about to let this one slip away. He grins like a villain because this is exactly what he wanted, but the Utician is all dazed and doesn't feel a thing. He's just raving about how amazing the new drug is. He thinks he's totally owning the place, setting it ablaze, overflowing with lava, while a cloud of burning smoke takes over. This can only lead to trouble for him. Then Liu, who's impressed, realizes just how much power the old man is unleashing, but she knows the consequences are going to be severe because this drug is unstable, and his body can't handle any more of what he's pumped into it. It's completely insane and could lead to a massive mess, and he won't be able to control it. In that moment, the system alerts Leoran that he has less than a minute to take this guy out, as everything is on the line. Leoran decides it's time to act, and tells the Utician that the fun's over. He activates the Morning Moon Pillar, and suddenly, chains appear on the battlefield, surrounding the old man. The tension ramps up, and the Utician feels the oppressive aura that's just been unleashed, starting to tremble at the base. Nico, on the other hand, smiles as he realizes Leoran just played his last card, and it's a deadly one. The Utician falls into the trap, caught between lightning strikes, while the chains hold him tight. In a panic, he screams that he was attacked from behind, but he still thinks he's gonna break free from the chains. Leoran, cool as can be, tells him that the chains weren't made to imprison him, but to ensure that soon Uticun will be one less head in the game. Uticun's eyes, my friend, light up with a mix of shock and pure fear. It looked like he'd seen the devil right in front of him. No doubt, in this moment of desperation, Leoran realizes time is ticking away like the wind, with only 16 seconds left, and gives the green light for the chains to destroy the Utician. And at the height of the chaos, the Utician feels doom closing in and lets out a scream, but it's already too late because the chains start wrapping around his neck, and, with a hard yank, they rip his head off, spraying blood everywhere. As the decapitated body stands still in front of the pillars, it's a true horror show, man. And then his head flies off and Leoran gets that epic notification. Congratulations, you've defeated the Uti. He gains a ton of attributes and stands there on a mini blood moon looking like a total vampire god, super pissed. Since he completed his mission ahead of time, he pulls out a special reward, 3 transformation skill points. It's like he's getting some serious upgrades. After taking a breather, our main guy turns to the other warriors and says, "Hey, you guys can head out, no worries." He explains that the fight against the Utician was personal and had nothing to do with the other warriors. He's sure that Jusian was just using them to get ahead, so Leoran promises he'll play nice because his mission is to take him out and nobody else. With that serious tone, he tells the warriors to drop their weapons and clear the area, giving them just 30 seconds to bail out or things are gonna get crazy. And just like that, time passes and Lu Aruan, who's playing the survival game, starts to realize that Yute really messed up but still lost to Leoran. He realizes this guy is incredibly strong, but he's starting to worry that Leoran might be having a moment of generosity, which feels really off. Rao starts to think about why this guy is acting this way, almost like he's finally waking up. He wonders if Leoran might be tired from all the fighting, but come on, who wouldn't be after thinking it over? Rao decides it's better to scram. Can't risk his life on a hunch. He turns around and starts running because, you know, better a live coward than a dead hero. The other warriors catch on to the fact that the situation isn't good and start booking it, clearly knowing they don't stand a chance against the one who took down that demon. Everyone's making a run for it, realizing Leoran is a real monster, a boogeyman. My brother said he was in the thick of it and is furious because Leoran let the warriors escape when he could have wiped them all out. The other girl, on the flip side, questioned Leoran's decision, even though T was already catching on, realizing that if a real fight breaks out, things could get ugly. They're gonna mess up, and deep down she turns red, realizing that Leoran meant to protect them. 30 seconds go by, and he notices the others have already run off, except for Liao, Jai, Luke, and Zoe. He can't hold back and asks why those guys are just standing there when they could take them out easily like they did with Tiao and Zhe. Guy, brave as ever, says he's not afraid to die but won't accept that his friends fell for nothing. Luciano then chimes in that he's ready to die as long as he can get some justice. But then, Luke Zane interrupts, saying Luciano G is being foolish because if Leoran was behind the murders, he wouldn't be there letting this happen. He realizes De Leon just used them as pawns in the game. Luzem, shocked by this truth, asks the girl why she's there, knowing what's going on. Luke Zane then takes a step toward Nico and Bashida, explaining that she's still there because her fight isn't over. She knows they both have serious strength and is excited to test her limits. Leoran finally understands the situation with the two. He realizes that Luciano G is an idiot, driven by justice and courage, and Luke Zane is just an Isuanabi, a hero who jumped into the fight without thinking. Suddenly, something sinister and utterly insane happens. Uchiha's body starts to evolve, and Leoran Leora is stunned by this. He thought Usi was finished, but his body morphs into a giant fireball. The guy realizes that the drugs are still coursing through Usi's system even after death, like he's some kind of complete zombie junkie. The energy of the body is about to explode, and it's going to be hell, a catastrophe. At that moment, he gets an alert from the system, indicating a colossal energy source is happening. Leora wonders what else the system is watching if it isn't the burning body. That's when a huge summoned whale appears floating above them, ready to cause chaos. Luke Skywalker is the first to notice that a supreme level being has just shown up, the summoned. Being is Salju and Faye, who looks disappointed, saying that Teachin doesn't know when to quit. She mentions that he's the only one to blame for relying on drugs. Like a pathetic beggar, she still does this with such indifference that it would give anyone chills. Saint Jinho, ugly as hell, tells the whale to sort out the mess by swallowing the ICU body. The whale, on a mission, gulps down the ICU body, which explodes inside her, but somehow she comes out unscathed, and the monstrous fish starts puffing smoke like a veteran smoker. Then there's Leon, my buddy, totally shocked, not believing the whale just swallowed that bomb and came out clean. He realizes this whole thing is part of the powers of a beast summoned by Saint Genfei, making her weigh more than she seems, and her beast can pull that off. He gets that her presence is linked to Tia Chiano, but a bead of sweat rolls down his face because he knows he's in a tough spot if Saint Jefferson decides to go hard. At that moment, Saint Jefferson plays the fanboy, excited to finally meet Leonore, suggesting he might even be hotter than she thought. Leoran is in shock when she realizes Saint. Jean knows who he is. Wow, she claims she knows almost everything about him, even that his sister is in her senior year of high school. Like, what's that about? Leonore immediately goes on the defensive, thinking this girl is threatening him with her intel. Then, Leonpin shows up and makes it clear to Leonore that she doesn't have any other intentions with him, you know? She reveals that after digging into Qian's memories, she discovered who he really is. Yup, she even mentions that she and Saint Genfei came on behalf of the Smart Association to put a stop to Yotisham's plans, which is some serious devil business. So, Leoran shifts his gaze to Sun Ri, wondering if she's involved in all this. Just then, Sun Ri pops up and tells the master that she's a ping. She's her mom. And on top of that, she has the ability to read people's memories. She apologizes to the master, saying it wasn't her intention to expose any info about him. But every time Leoran thinks about it, the only thing on his mind is how hot Sun Ri is, right? After that, he activates the skill Castle Forged with Blood to give Fate a slap in the face and rebuild the ruined village of his succubi thanks to the Blood Castle. He also gives a helping hand to his followers, healing everyone as if he were a doctor. Everyone, the succubi, are just blown away by the healing power happening inside the castle and can barely contain their excitement, feeling a bit like fans at a concert. Meanwhile, Ugly Puppy is just a pawn watching it all unfold. Ugly Puppy comments on what he learned about the succubi and tells Chun Ri that he found out they worship Leroran like he's a real god, doing everything for them easily. What caught her attention the most was the part about pleasure. She knows what she's talking about, but pretends to be oblivious, looking away. Leroran runs into the girls right when they're talking about more intimate topics and asks Ugly Puppy why she bothered to search for them so much. Ugly Puppy replies that the bedroom matters are curious to her, but she's here to discuss something more serious and suggests they move to a more private spot to talk. So they head towards the meeting room in the Blood Castle where the magic happens. As they settle into their roles as opinion leaders, Leroran is curious why Ugly Puppy didn't come in making threats even knowing everything about him. He thinks Ugly Puppy is there to recruit him, and she praises the kid's sense. Ugly Puppy reveals that she's interested in Leroran's story because he used to be an ordinary guy, totally talentless and with a serious illness. After getting attacked by a big creature, he survived and in the process awakened, gaining extraordinary powers similar to those of a beast. Ugly Puppy mentions that this is an incredible evolution. This guy is like a Pokemon. While Leroran listens to this, Ugly Puppy realizes that everyone believes his rebirth is the system he controls, which is an evolution. Leroran quickly picks up that they're almost on the right track. Ugly Puppy then says that she wants Leroran to join the Association of the Awakened, both human and beast, so they can help them with the tough stuff. She assures him that if he goes for it, she'll ask for special privileges on his behalf, but he has to promise not to harm anyone. In return, he and his succubi will be protected by the Association and won't have to take on official missions or deal with extermination squads, which is the incentive. Jin Fei even goes the extra mile, telling him that she can let him roam the city without all those stupid rules, as long as he promises not to cause chaos. And keeping up with these amazing offers, she says if they're ready, they can guarantee a spot for his sister at the best university in town after graduation, so she can land a solid job with the association. Leoran is all about giving his little sister a good, peaceful life. After laying out all those proposals, she says she's gonna give him some time to think about what he wants to do. But with no time to waste, Leoran looks at Jin Fei and just tells her to accept the offer. He realizes now that he can walk among humans while sidestepping the beast aura, but that's such a limiting idea, you know? But now, with the official identity, he's free to do whatever he wants without being tied down. Lee Howan admits he needs to have some status. It's crucial for him. You get that? Then Jinfei mentions that since he accepted, they'll need to send over some samples. Lee Howan's like, huh? What samples? What are you talking about, crazy lady? Jinfei explains they need a blood sample, saliva, and the kicker, semen. She brings out 3 vials and asks him to separate them, and you won't believe it. Lee Howan is in shock realizing they want his semen. Like, seriously? They want his kid, right? Jinfei tries to calm him down, saying they need a complete analysis of his body because his powers supposedly evolved to turn him into a beast. Lee Howan easily provides the blood and saliva, but when it comes to the semen, he has no choice but to drop his pants since Jinfei refuses to leave the room. Are you out of your mind? Jinfei turns bright red when she sees Lee Howan's huge member and finally understands why the succubi are benefiting so much from him. Leonore, totally clueless about what's going on, asks why she's staring at him, finding the whole thing really weird. Then Sayori, looking less than glamorous but holding it together, says she can't leave because she needs to make sure everything coming from him is really his. Poor Leonore, being all sincere, says he's having a hard time because Jinfei just won't stop looking at him. He even suggests she help him out, but Jinfei quickly declines, saying she's never done anything like that and tells him to call one of the succubi instead. After all, she believes the succubi are better suited for this task. You've got to be kidding me. What a bizarre situation. Leonore agrees and calls Nico for backup. Nico is super excited because her master called her on a mission. Wow. She kneels down and takes her master's delicious banana in her mouth like it's her last meal. Man, what a strange narrative. What the hell? Meanwhile, Samir is outside feeling that intense jealousy and wondering why Leonore called Nico, and he's not wrong about that. He's enjoying one of the best moments of his life. He can't believe that Nico, who theoretically has no experience, is doing so well and ends up losing himself in the moment. Nico is pouring all her passion into this since she feels useless in the fight, and giving pleasure to her master is the only way she's found to help him. On the other hand, Saori Faye is practically melting where she's sitting, thinking, man, this girl is super heated. She can't believe Leonore called someone for help. She thought it was a joke, but Nico is doing so well that she wishes she could be in her place. For a moment, Leonore manages to gather all the samples they needed. I see. Saori praises both Leonore and Nico for their performance and promises to send the vials to headquarters for analysis. After all, she's already made sure everything is original. Nico then turns to her master and asks if he enjoyed her performance, admitting it was more than words can say since Saori got what she came for. Saori Faye believes it's time to say goodbye, and she lets Leora know that there's going to be a level assessment for the awakening at headquarters next week. She also says she'll pick him up at the time. Everything gets a bit tangled with this, and someone clarifies that joining the association means he has to go through an evaluation to prove his strength. Everyone in the association has to do it, and he won't be an exception. Only Guy mentions that he felt his power. He kind of woke up at dawn. He believes Leora is stronger at night, and promises to schedule the assessment for the end of the day so he can show off his full power. I'm sure it's going to be in a training room, no doubt. Leora is impressed with her insight, his mind totally reeling as he realizes how powerful the awakening feels with that supreme tear. Then there's Juf, who reminds him of a pretty cool proposal he made and encourages the protagonist to perform well so he can brag about it later. Then, the scene cuts to where Bid is chilling, spying on everything, with her tentacles. If Ri shows up, and instead of causing chaos, she's just chilling, interested in what Bid saw. Bid tells her that Ri witnessed something incredible, and tries to explain with a blowing gesture, if you know what I mean. Ri, all naive, doesn't even get what that gesture means, and thinks it's something super powerful. Suddenly, Orin appears from behind, and asks why they look so nervous. Chun-Ri, curious about what she saw, asks Leorin about the gesture, which surprises him. Leorin wants to explain everything awkwardly, but holds back, telling Chun-Ri that one day she'll understand what that gesture means. Later, our hero is at the castle counter, reminiscing about the wild day he had. He knows he managed to deal with UT, an older guy, but insecurity hits hard and he blames it on the mini-moon of E and the morning moon's execution pillar effect. He realizes that the power he has now could even delay the assessment, meaning the association might not give him the advantage they had prepared for him. He figures he needs to seriously bulk up in just 7 days to reach a level where the association cunning or delivered benefits that he really wants. Nico shows up on the balcony and asks what's bothering Leoran. Is it about his evaluation and leveling up? Awakened, Leoran is shocked and realizes that Nico can read his mind. Nico comments that she has spent enough time with him to guess what he's thinking. Plus, she says she always sees Leoran trying to evolve. Nico mentions she has a proposal for him, but it's going to wear him out. However, if he keeps at it and applies the method, he'll become stronger than ever. Leoran promises Nico that he's not tired at all and asks her to explain what the method is. Nico starts by asking if Leoran has heard the rumors about succubi. She explains that it's a gift passed down from generation to generation. Her predecessors used to siphon the essence from men when they were having fun, if you catch my drift. Then they used that to get stronger. Even though it's been a while since they stopped doing that, the ability still runs in her blood. The good part is that they can flip this ability. While having fun with a guy, they can actually transfer strength to him. That's when Leoran realizes Nico is suggesting he should have fun with all the succubi in the village so they can boost his strength. Nico confirms this, explaining that he's going to have to work for it, but it's going to greatly enhance his power. She emphasizes that the succubi are willing to help Leoran since he solved a bunch of their problems, and she assures him that all the succubi in the village will jump at the chance to give him a boost if he needs it. Wow, this plan is more complicated than it seems. Leoran admits that the idea is brilliant, but he feels a bit uneasy because there are over 200 succubi in the village, and he's worried about getting worn out. But then he realizes that if he doesn't use the method, it would be a waste since the succubi are just waiting for him. He's even maximized the affection of a few already, so he decides he's going to accept her offer. Nico is thrilled to hear that and tells Leoran she'll head out right away to gather everyone. Before long, the ladies excitedly arrive at his quarters. Everyone's super eager to leave, saying they're gonna leave him high and dry. My buddy Leonardo is getting a bit anxious, but he's the kind of guy who doesn't shy away from a challenge. He's itching to see just how powerful the gift of the succubi really is, and soon the girls are coming on to him. And man, you can hear Zay moaning with pleasure all over the castle while Leonardo is passionately satisfying them, not even blinking. The confident girls are already begging for mercy because Leonardo trained them harder than they expected. One even complains her back is all messed up from all the training he put them through. Haha. Leonardo is lying in bed, feeling the energy buzzing, and realizes Neko wasn't kidding when he said the girls could transfer their powers. He feels his strength boosting significantly, but it's draining away pretty quickly using that method. Suddenly, he starts to recover from the fatigue. In fact, he notices that the blood castle can heal both health and mana in under a minute. And just like that, he's back to full speed, basically the same with endless stamina as long as he's inside the castle. Now that everyone's charged up, he's ready to keep going with the girls. The second wave of succubi is already lined up, ready to please. So, feeling pretty satisfied with the whole experience, Leonardo tells the ladies to go ahead. This goes on for a week, man, non-stop, until Sarao Jimfei shows up on her summoned bird to pick up Leonardo. He steps out of the castle all confident and tells Sarao Jimfei he's been waiting for her on the way to headquarters. Son Jeffrey, noticing something different about this guy, tries to play it cool, saying she's just imagining things because this dude seems the same as always. But Son Jeffrey sees that Leonardo is way calmer now. Plus, it's clear he's a lot more confident and mentions that he's bringing the hopes of the village succubi, who've been doing some killer training for this evaluation. He also says he feels more secure because he wants to seem stronger, so the women don't look past him. Sarao Jimfei is intrigued by this special training and already starts imagining all kinds of funny scenes. Then, out of nowhere, she realizes she's been daydreaming. And he's been flirting with some spicier visuals ever since he saw Nico backing Leora. The girl was so shocked that she didn't know what to do when she blushed, instantly boosting her score. Dude, her expression changed so much. It looked like she was guilty of trolling the sushi, but she quickly tells him to pipe down and says it's none of his business. This guy is sharp and realizes that even though Sao Jifei is a total beast, she's also pretty sensitive. Meanwhile, at the smart guy's headquarters, everyone gathers for the evaluation. Among them is a dude who looks just like Vegeta from Dragon Ball, I swear. He keeps saying that he needs to prove his worth to his mom because he feels like a complete loser among the wannabes. There's another guy with red hair, but Fugger stands out. This kid is only 18, and he's already ranked gold, thinking he's the next big thing. He tells the other aspirants that they should worship him, acting like a total celebrity. Then, out of nowhere, something crashes into the arena like a meteorite, grabbing everyone's attention. Through the smoke appears Li Jingjin, a supreme tier awakened. She's surprised to realize she's the first supreme tier to show up, and that she arrived earlier than expected. While she's pondering that, the guys are drooling over her. They always thought she was pretty on TV, but seeing her in person is a whole different level of insane. She's gorgeous, but they're freaking out seeing someone so powerful powerful in the center of the evaluation. But Fugger starts to think that Linamim is here because of him. The banished guy sees himself as a pretty promising candidate and is even contemplating accepting Lin's offer to snag a mission and a car, you know? But then he gets so lost in his thoughts that he feels this eerie aura behind him and hears a voice telling him to know his place. It's a blind old man who immediately tells Fugir that this gold ranking isn't for him. The dude can't handle the pressure and just bam, falls to the ground scared out of his mind. He recognizes the old man, and even Li Jingjin gasps when she sees him in the center of the evaluation. The old guy mentions he's curious about who he should hunt down, but now he's about to be his co-worker. Turns out the old guy is Luan, who's also a Supreme Awakened. Things are about to get real, man. Lil Sanju, with that scary vibe, says he needs to see what Aurora is really capable of. Meanwhile, the beast of Shang Jinfei arrives and warns the Supreme Awakened that Leonor is already in the mix. Both of them are super curious about who Leonor is and what kind of power he's hiding up his sleeve. The other candidates are stunned when they see a giant bird above them, and the smartest one explains it's a summoned beast from Cao Genfei. Everyone is blown away when Cao descends from his beast. The aspirants can hardly believe they're seeing two beauties in one day. Wow. And at that moment, everyone's eyes are on the guy next to his incredibly awkward awakened, who's Liaran. They're super interested in how he managed to be with his queen and start throwing some jabs right away. Liaran, on the other hand, just ignores them, but can't help but flip them off. So Jeffrey introduces Leoran to the other Supreme Awakens, asking them to chill out because he's not the target anymore. Then he tells Lo to greet his bosses. Woman Oran doesn't waste any time and compliments Lin Himim's power and beauty. This makes Lin Himim super embarrassed, but the old guy doesn't miss a beat and asks why she didn't compliment him too. Now Juninho says he's about to do that, but Luan Zhou slaps him on the mouth while making an observation. The old guy says Leonor isn't looking as good as before. Luxonio then tells Leonor that he should be thankful for the critique because if he hadn't been invited, he would have gone after him. But he assures him he'll keep an eye on him and any weirdness he'll handle on the spot. This guy doesn't understand how Leoran is curious about how the old dude plans to do that since he's blind. Wow, he really doesn't get it. Soon Leoran's evaluation starts and the dude crushes it. He scored max points in strength, intelligence, everything you can think of. He's killing it. Even in terms of resilience and spirit, Lin and Jin is blown away. Wow, it's been ages since I saw a rookie this well-rounded. But Liu Sanhu is totally unfazed and thinks that's just the bare minimum. Then there's Jin Fei, who's telling Leoran that she's impressed because he didn't disappoint. She adds that the physical tests are just the basics. Now he needs to pass the potential growth test. Leoran is all confused, not really getting what she means. Jin Fei clarifies that regular awakened ones only need to worry about the physical part, but those at the Stardust level and above need to focus on potential. The idea is to combine his current strength with the expected growth to figure out his ranking. Leon is pretty surprised to learn that potential can be measured. Shortly after, he heads to the room where the potential growth test will take place. There, he meets a girl named Kim Men Yahoo, who's a sharp diamond star that evaluates the potential of the awakened. She scolds Leoran for being late and warns him that she's in a hurry to leave. So, our hero Leoran tries to defend himself against her scolding, apologizing for being tardy and keeping it real that, like, his place is super far away, right? But she honestly doesn't care about his complaints and gets straight to the point. Out of nowhere, she makes a really weird suggestion, telling him to stick his finger in her mouth. The poor guy is obviously in shock, and Leoran is stunned by this, needing to ask again because he thinks he didn't hear right, you know? But suddenly, she reinforces the invitation, telling him to put his hand in her mouth, which totally makes him think, no way. He comments that she looks younger than his sister, which is kind of disappointing. The girl then insists that, hold up, she's of age, and drops this creepy line about her special skills with her tongue. Like, by licking someone's skin, she can feel their potential. Dude, she even says that licking his finger is the softest option. She has, unless he wants to go for something more hardcore. And man, on impulse, Leoran sticks his finger in her mouth and she starts licking, even though it's part of the evaluation process. This whole thing feels really weird. It's coming to our hero too. Then, the power of the cookie sticks to our boy, and she dives into his potential dimension. But from what she feels, it's not pleasant at all. And get this, she realizes that Leonor is going to be a big deal when he reaches his maximum potential. But in the middle of that, a voice pops up calling her foolish for risking a peek at the true form of a god demon, this terrifying spirit, and it warns her that she needs to know her place. Fear hits her hard, and she snaps back to reality, jumping to the corner of the couch, sweating like crazy. Leonore, totally confused, asks what's going on, wanting to know what she saw. But before she can answer, the guys in black show up at the door, saying the evaluation is over, and she can leave without even waiting for the results. What a mess. Still in shock, she's face to face with Salgame as he walks into the room, and even Salgame is surprised by her reaction. He asks what level she thinks this guy will reach. Leonore takes the chance to tease him, asking if he's going to be better than her. And the Supreme Tier, feeling smart and thinking she's going to shine, says definitively that Leonardo will be tougher than her. Leonardo goes like, wow. Stunned by what he just heard, the girl storms out and gets even more curious. Then, moments later, the PA system blares, and everyone has to listen, announcing that the final prospect has completed the evaluation. They declare his rank as legendary, and due to the awakened title, Leonore got the killer Crimson Blood of Demons. Now, Leonore feels on top of the world hearing this. She realizes it's a huge sign of respect from the older guys, and best of all, it's not a flashy title that puts a spotlight on him. He's happy because it fits perfectly with his vibe, but before he can think too much about it, he's already surrounded by a bunch of journalists snapping photos. News spreads everywhere as if it's wildfire. People are shocked because they've never heard of this Leonore before. When Sao Yu finds out, he smiles and pats his chest. And Leonore is her sister. She's all proud to see her brother made it through, even after hearing some creepy stuff 30 minutes before the announcement. São Genfei is still chatting with someone about the rankings. In disbelief, São Genfei can't believe that Leonora could actually surpass the supreme rank and hit the incomparable rank that confirms it. But São Genfei still has her doubts, and shoots back that the only supreme level awakened one is more than enough to protect a big city, reminding everyone that there are only a few supreme ranked awakened ones in the country. The incomparable ranked awakened ones are like the elite of the elite. They exceed and surpass the supremes in every aspect. Since the nation was founded, there's only been one single incomparable ranked awakened, so you can imagine how significant that is. Honestly, there are only 5 countries in the world that have an incomparable ranked awakened one, all because of their unique power and level. Genfei can't believe Kim is suggesting Leonore could become one in the future. To anyone who knows, it sounds crazy, but remember when Genfei says her instincts have never failed and mentions everything she's seen him perform so far. She argues that Leonoran already has everything she needs to be a supreme level awakened one. That's when the president of the Awakened Association, Anasil, chimes in, saying it's too early to consider Leonoran a supreme level awakened. He talks about how Leonoran could go even further and become one of the pillars of the association in the future. But if his assessment isn't off, he needs to provide the right space and environment for her to develop. Wang mentioned that if the supreme level awakened ones are the balance of national power, labeling her as such would make others keep a close eye on her. So, Wang suggests putting a high legendary level guy to keep things chill. Meanwhile, even with a plan to keep it secret, news that Leonora is legendary is spreading like wildfire. When Liu Jin hears the news, he gets the whole picture and finally realizes that Leonoran has actually defeated Yutian. He's relieved he didn't do anything stupid that could have upset Leonora. On the other hand, Lion King is disappointed, because for Leora it was a legendary angle, wanting him to be more. Zoe's feeling a bit down for not getting closer to Leora. This guy's fame could have helped her shine later on. Sonjan, Faye, and Leora start heading back to the castle. On the way, Sonjan can't take her eyes off Leora. She always knew the kid had potential, but she never imagined he'd be on that level, an unmatched awakened one. It's like he's a national treasure, and she realizes she's literally right in front of him. Leonore notices Sound Jeffrey can't keep his eyes off him and asks if there's something he wants. Sound Jeffrey, trying to play it cool, denies it and says she's just stretching so her neck will be a bit more comfortable. Dude, this guy is so sharp he can tell she's lying through her teeth after hearing the lamest excuse ever. Meanwhile, at the blood-forged castle, a bunch of journalists and media people surround the mansion because they've found out that this chaos belongs to our hero Leoran. These folks storm the area, wide-eyed, unable to believe Leoran built his castle out in the middle of nowhere, like really in the ghetto. Rumors are flying among the press while the crazy folks snap photos of the castle, which is seriously impressive. Some say Leoran can tame strange beasts, which is why he built the castle just for her, get it? And since they haven't found Leoran yet, the media is capturing images of the succubi inside, all curious about what's going on in the castle. The succubi are already fed up with these journalists and can't believe these guys showed up to bother them so early. But they can't do anything, because Leoran has told them not to hurt humans now that they're officially registered and can't touch them anymore. Suddenly, one of the girls decides it's time to take action and promises her friends she won't hurt the humans, but she will teach them a thing or two. With that, she heads outside with some of her friends. This quickly grabs the media's attention, who were waiting for Leoran. The succubus is ready to give a few life lessons. The journalists are mesmerized with the beauty they're witnessing and struggling to believe that this is the life Leonore has been living all on her own. Everyone starts to lose it, wishing they could be him. In the end, this guy is was just having a blast. Suko makes it clear that even with the guys around, she can't match Leroy's legacy because they'll never have the same stamina he does. And just to up the ante, she grabs a whip and starts laying into the guys, making them crave even more. What the hell, man? She keeps going. Like that until Leroy shows up and asks what's happening. He reminds her that he had told her not to lay a hand on the humans. Suko replies that she was just trying to teach some manners, but might have gotten a bit carried away. Actually, Leonore chimes in that the situation escalated because she ignored his warnings and acted wild. Suddenly, Suko gives the whip to Leonore, admitting her mistake and begging him to punish her hard. She throws herself on the ground, pleading with Leonore to treat her rough. What a mess, dude. Rough. As she says this, she can't stop blushing and moaning, and she even encourages Leonore to go for it. Man, Leonore is shocked by the scene, realizing that she was probably expecting him to act like he usually does. What a situation. Since it's what she asked for, Leonore agrees, picks up the whip, but just before he can start, the reporters begin bombarding him with questions and flashes. They even ask if it's true that a sweet thing can make a man see heaven. What nonsense, man. Leonore quickly gets frustrated with these ridiculous questions and starts yelling at everyone. His aura sends a chilling shiver through the crowd, even breaking a few cameras. The guys are stunned and drop to the ground in fear. What a scene. Leonore shoots a threatening glance and tells them to stop twisting the facts, or they're going to regret it, damn it. Meanwhile, Suko is watching from above, dumbfounded that Leonore is already getting into trouble with the media at such a young age. She knows this is just the beginning of her hell with the press. Those journalists are a bunch of manipulative guys who won't stop annoying her. She's worried that the media will turn against her if she doesn't figure out a way to handle these people. Later that night, the centaur pays Leoran a visit in his quarters. Leoran's a bit surprised to see her and asks why she's dropping by so late. Like, what's going on, bro? The centaur reveals that she's developed a new technique and needs Leoran's guidance on it. Hearing this, Leoran perks up, thinking that the centaur had been training while he was away. He then asks her to show him the technique because he's eager to see what it's all about. The centaur reveals that this technique was created just to impress him. How sweet. And then, wouldn't you know it, the centaur transforms into a new form, the mount form. She changes from her giant form to one resembling a horse and asks Leoran if he likes her new look. What a surprise. Leoran feels a bit let down because horse legs are mainly for running and riding, right? Nothing too special. But the centaur clarifies that she's not talking about the kind of mount Leoran is thinking of, and reminds him of what happened in the spider cave. Everyone got super hyped after munching on Bide's tentacles, and had to just watch while the suppos in the building had fun with Leoran. How unfair. But the centaur is confident that things are about to change because she has created a new mount form just to merge with him. She tells Leoran that it's finally her time to enjoy everything he gave to others, and admits her admiration for him is pure and goes all the way to the sky. Like, aw, that's adorable. She begs him not to hesitate to let loose with her since she can't stand playing hide and seek anymore. But still, Leoran remains uninterested, finding it super weird to merge with the centaur given her long horse legs. Meanwhile, man, this is tough. I'm narrating while he's just stuck on that thought. The centaur insists he should lie down with her, dude. Then she asks if he doesn't find her attractive enough. What the heck? At that moment, Leoran gets a system notification saying that the centaur's desires are overflowing and he needs to address it immediately. Otherwise, things are going to cool off. Leoran can't believe the system is forcing him into this weird activity. What a bummer, man. However, he concedes that he's been neglecting Centaur, and this can't just be left like this. He decides he's going to give Centaur everything he owes her all at once, since her affection hasn't reached its peak yet, and she can't give him a brutal weapon. Leoran touches Centaur's face, and you can already see she's melting from it, so happy. She's glowing from finally getting what she needs. This is making her his woman. They both start having fun after a pretty intense session. Centaur's affection hits about 100%. Oh, how delightful. I think I'm going to switch writers. Man, Leoran witnesses her combat prowess while they're together and realizes this is no joke. At that moment, the system notifies him that he's unlocked a mysterious reward, a rare gem called Heart of Nature, which doubles the potential of nature-type abilities when equipped. What luck. Dude, he finds Centaur. Finally, she wakes up. Our boy Leoran asks how she's feeling, and look at that. She flashes a big smile and says she feels amazing, like a goddess. She even mentions that just thinking about it makes her body tingle like she's been shocked. And guess what? Just like Rin, Centaur gets the notification that she's reached level 6, all thanks to Leoran's essence. Now, Leoran activates Soul Resonance, and out of nowhere, an exclusive weapon emerges from her chest. It's a tough weapon with various stats, and it has an enormous chance to reflect damage. He's blown away by the armor, especially by that specific chance to reflect damage. Dude, that's just insane luck. But wait, he also notices he's gained a boost to his resilience. That means he's going to have a ton of HP. Then he starts getting a little worried about the Heart of Nature gem, since technically he doesn't have an any nature-related abilities. What's up with that? He wonders what to do with the green gem that's looking at him, all possessive-like. Since he can't use the gem, he starts thinking about giving it to someone who might be able to, but he's unsure if it would work for them. Now he's pondering who could receive the gem. In his team, there are only 2 people who would use nature-based abilities. Baloo was laughing at the idea of giving the gem to her, but then he thought about what she'd do with that kind of power, and man, the answer was pretty grim. She'd probably burn everything to ashes if she had even one chance. So he realizes that giving her the gem would be a terrible idea. The dude figures he needs someone more emotionally stable. Things aren't easy between those two. Then the scene cuts to Ratchet, who's in her apartment, deep in an online war against people trying to smear Laren's name. She sits down and starts replying to all the comments she dislikes, kind of like the chat queen defending her master. She doesn't want anyone trash-talking him. She's ready to fight to the bitter end if that happens. After wrapping up that online battle, she flops down on her bed, completely worn out. She vents about how online trolls are spouting nonsense about her master without knowing what he's been through. She's fuming. Suddenly, she hears Laren's voice in the living room, asking why she lets online drama bother her so much. She talks about how Chun-Li doesn't care what others think, because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. He's like, whoa, when did he even come in? Leo doesn't admit he was there the whole time she was typing. Since she was so focused on taking down the trolls, he decided to let her finish. She mentioned she couldn't just sit by while some guys were trashing his name, right? Then she asks if her master came from the castle just to see her. Naturally, her curiosity gets the best of her, and Laren reveals he came to visit his sister and thought he'd drop by to bring her a little gift, but he adds that it's big and they can't open it in the apartment. Wow, that totally raised the girl's excitement. Then he suggests they go to an open place where they can unwrap it. You know I'm curious too. Laren takes her by the arms and flies her up into the night sky. Ah, how romantic, dude. As they soar, Laren confesses he's feeling something nice in his chest. It's like a flashback to the first time he flew with Neko. Meanwhile, Chun-Li is blushing like crazy, her mind racing with all sorts of thoughts about what the surprise could be. What could it be? Soon they find themselves in a forest, and Liaren thinks this is the perfect spot to use the gem. Finally, Shun takes a look around and realizes they're isolated, concluding it's the ideal place. So, Liaren says he's got a little present and pulls out the green gem. Things are about to get serious. He warns her that you don't just give something like this away casually. She's going to feel an immense power flowing through her body as soon as she puts the gem on. That's a huge responsibility. Shun laughs, surprised and definitely trying to wrap her head around it. Then, remembering she has to keep the gem inside her every day, she starts imagining some wild things. Meanwhile, Leorin, knowing this, decides to just insert the gem into her body to keep her calm. Classic strategist move from him. The gem hits her stomach and starts to merge, while she begins to levitate. It's a completely crazy scene. Once the merging is done, Liaran moves closer and asks her how she feels, curious if she's noticed any changes. Chun-Ri feels a shiver down her spine and comments that it feels like her whole body is alive. Of course it would, right? Liaran is thrilled to see the gem is working and asks if she's ready to try out her new power. Chun-Ri, a bit shy, admits she's nervous to give it a shot, but Liaran reassures her, saying the gem just multiplies her power tenfold. Liaran wants to see how strong she's gotten with the gem, so he takes her to a secluded spot, basically a lab. Finally, Chun-Ri realizes Liaran only brought her to the forest to test her abilities and not for any other reason. You get me? And Liaran confesses he's been so busy that he kinda left her out, but he wants more of her attention. He promises that if she can impress him in the battle they're going to have, he'll reward her properly. Ooh, Chun-Ri gets excited hearing this and asks Liaran not to back out when the time comes. The anticipation is just building. Chun-Ri then takes the first step, summoning her 16 ice rings. It's a real show. The rings form around her, and she launches an attack at Liaran. Even Chun-Shi is surprised to see the ice rings. They're bigger than before, a clear sign that the ability worked. She feels confident, believing that this will help her earn Liaran's reward. As the rings approach him, Liaran repels them with a blood counterattack. After preparing for the ice ring, Liaran looks completely disappointed, clearly unimpressed with what he just saw. He mentions that he found it amusing and wants to see some real limits, meaning it's time for the real deal. Liaran unleashes a red storm filled with bats, and the tension rises. The bats swarm around her, though they're a bit confused. But since she hasn't fully reached her maximum potential yet, she decides to show Liaran what she's really capable of. She releases a powerful burst of ice energy that deflects all the bats at once and creates an ice domain that freezes the entire area in an instant. Our hero, Liaran, is caught off guard by Chun-Ri's attack, and wouldn't you know it, the system immediately updates that he's been hit by a cooling ability. What's going on? Suddenly, his speed drops by half, and his attack power is reduced to 75%. Liaran is shocked by her ability ability to freeze everything around her like it's nothing, and he feels the impact hit him hard. He's thrilled that he decided to give her the heart of nature, thinking it was worth it. At that moment, he finds her laughing joyfully with the master's praise, thanking him profusely, but deep down, she knows she hasn't fully impressed him yet. Determined to push herself even more, she leaps towards Lee Howan, apologizing for what she's about to do. And can you believe it? She jumps over him, wrapping her legs around his neck, making the scene even crazier and catching Lee Howan by surprise. She uses this position to drag him down and activates her wicked spell, the ice prison. A massive ice structure envelops our protagonist, and you can feel the chill of the ice prison. Then she asks Lee Howan if he's impressed by this move, even though he's trapped in the ice. Prison, thanks to that anger necklace, Lee Howan becomes immune to its effects. To add a touch of humor, he comments that he tried to take the situation lightly, but to make everything weirder and funnier, he reveals that the part he enjoyed the most was she had him laughing, mouth wide open, because the guy can still move after that scissor move and the ice crystal trap. In a burst of bravery, Lee Howan decides to step up his game, breaking the ice by saying he doesn't deserve to be called a master. Something like that throws him off. Chun-Ri, stunned, seizes the moment to praise her master, declaring that he's the best. No question about it. She apologizes, thinking she could learn from him, but realizes she trusted her strategy too much, using her best attack to no avail. She admits that the showdown was epic and that she ended up losing. Chun-Ri, staying sharp, reminds Lee Howan that he promised a reward and she wants him to deliver on that. At that moment, a system notification pops up, saying Chun-Ri misses him so much that she wants him around at the very least. And the dude, not paying attention, is about to experience a drop in Chun-Ri's affection. And to make matters worse, if her affection goes below 100%, that's it. The exclusive gear will stop working and the blood demon essence will vanish. Lee Howan is stunned by this info. He knows the affection system requires some effort, even though he has maxed out the good vibes with his followers. Lee Howan isn't about to let all his hard work go to waste, so he jumps into action, declaring that possession is awesome. Chun-Ri, smiling, suggests they move forward with this adventure. Chun-Ri agrees, gives him a kiss, and without a moment's hesitation starts stripping right there in the snow. While this fun and passionate interaction rolls on, Chun-Ri imagines she's playing with bamboo, shifting directions with infectious energy. She's twisting and spinning like a real ballerina, super pumped about how Lee Howan treats her. After this whole show, she can't help but ask what Lee Howan thought of her performance. Lee Howan, smooth as ever, assures her that the show was lit, and at that moment, reveals that he has one last wish. He wants Lee Howan to join the Red 7 group. She connects the dots and realizes her mom was the one who encouraged her to do this. He gets that his mom is trying to use their relationship as a way to get him into the Red City group. Chun-Ri casually mentions that she wasn't surprised he noticed, apologizing and explaining that his mom insisted, so she had to go along with it. Shuri, on the other hand, reassures him that there's nothing to worry about, since several groups have been trying to earn his trust. But deep down, she explains that now that he's got some status, he doesn't need to join any guild or group. And then, she drops the big news that's going to change everything. He plans to start his own group of Awakened. That's right, this narration has been long, man, and there were some trickier parts to narrate, right? I hope you enjoyed it, and if the series does well on the channel, there'll be more parts. Thanks. Don't forget to share what your favorite moment was, and stay tuned for the next video.